A couple of weeks ago, we had a guest on this show who was a self-proclaimed anti-fascist leftist. Some people didn't really like that all that much, but it generated a lot of controversy, and there were a lot of people saying we shouldn't have booked this person because they were disingenuous or lying. The exact same time, there was a guy who appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast, and we heard very similar things coming from the other direction at Joe Rogan. So I immediately tweeted, let's have him on my show. This crazy guy, Alex Jones, who is on my show right now. But here's the thing. Listen, I realized if I brought Alex Jones in here, YouTube would probably just ban me outright. So I thought, well, how do I guarantee that happens? I brought on Michael Malice as well, just to make sure that we have that extra degree of, I guess, chaos.
Kim Jong-un's boyfriend.
That's true.
And now Michael's
All I want to say is
strong
I'm very envious. My house is 4,000 square feet. Yours is like a spaceship. And the smell in the woods when I pulled up here, what the hell? It smells like heaven out in your yard, dude. What's going on out there?
We're in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's very
elevated by water. It's the perfect position. But you know what?
So how'd you find this cool place?
Zillow.
But I mean, seriously, it's awesome.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate the compliment. Yeah. Why are you laughing, Michael?
Because it's off and running.
It's off and running.
It's like,
well, we're going to start the conversation.
Okay. Everybody, subscribe, hit the like button. But I guess share, because we've got Michael Malice and Alex Jones, and of course Ian. We got a new camera setup.
We're going to talk about magnetics.
We do.
I think we might get crazy with it.
There's Ian.
Look, actual floating succulent.
We do. Have
we can't really show. There's no camera angle
I wish
for
we
this.
could.
If you had a YouTube channel of just the floating succulent, trillions of views.
We have a levitating plant now, but we haven't set it up yet. So it's in front of me. It's floating, but you can't see it.
I've seen the documents.
But you know what?
You see the floating plant.
We've got a lot to talk about.
When you die, go to heaven. There's a floating plant.
I'm not going. I assure you, that will not be happening. I've got a nice townhouse picked out downstairs.
Pearly gates, and it's not St. Michael. It's a floating plant.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to be my maid.
We've already like, as we're getting ready for the show, I told everybody, like, we're gonna have this big guest. We can't.
But I'm actually an Alex Jones impersonator.
Yeah, it's not really.
You're not going to get banned.
Okay.
I'm an Alex Jones impersonator.
Perfect.
He's pretty famous.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm not actually Alex Jones.
Okay.
I'm a performance artist.
That's good to know.
There's a few interesting things that are happening right now that actually it's not just like I saw controversy with Rogan. I was like, ooh, I want controversy or anything like that. No, I actually thought.
I've been begging to come on your show for a while. Let's just be honest. I've been prostrating myself.
I actually never talked to you until like 3 days ago.
Well, you were just ignoring me.
I guess.
I was telling my producer like, I love Tim Pool. I've loved him forever. I want to get on the show. You were just bouncing off all your. I wanted it on. I'm here. The Alex Jones impersonator.
Yeah,
there you go.
Excellent.
But no. But there are some subjects I thought it would be interesting to have you on for, and so we're in the middle of this weird, very very weird election period. We had an election day. The media has declared a winner, but the actual constitutional process has not concluded. So now you've got like two disparate realities. I think it'd be interesting. We've got pending lockdowns coming. New York, New Jersey, several states have already announced they're going to start locking down. And then the weirdest thing, which kind of ties into COVID, was something you mentioned earlier, the Great Reset from the World Economic Forum, which is a actual real thing. I'll make sure we pull this up because, the
most powerful people in the world say we're going to shut the world economy down for your own good.
Well, can you show it?
Which every metric shows will cause mass starvation, total collapse. We're in debt, but they just don't have any bankers that want us to be in debt.
Our monitor broke again.
It's okay. Globalist Klaus Schwab, world will never return to normal.
Timing.
But is that from your website?
No, it is my website. It's linked directly to Infowars.com. So it's directly linked to his statements, though.
Okay.
So we actually, this has been happening the past couple of days. Our monitor busted, but we have it's weforum.org/great-reset, and it says there is an urgent need for global stakeholders to cooperate in simultaneously managing the direct consequences of the COVID-19 crisis to improve the state of the world. The World Economic Forum is starting the Great Reset Initiative. Yeah. So it's a real thing. It's on their website, and it's essentially about international cooperation in the wake of economic.
Let's go back to the Rockefeller document, Lockstep 10 years ago. We're going to use a virus, whether real or promulgated, to take control of society, set up a UN world government.
Did you print that one out?
No, you're saying it's on Infowars. I mean, what if it was on CNN? It's all about researching Klaus Schwab and Jean-Paul Juncker and what they're actually planning and what they're saying. Everybody should go look up their names. Don't believe me, and look up what they're saying about you.
Pull it up yourself.
And the carbon taxes and the shutdown of human society and the post-human world.
Here's the thing. So this even goes back further than 10 years. I tweeted out earlier this year, some very, very bad people have gotten some very useful information about how much people will put up with without fighting back at all. Regardless of whether you think it's good or bad, they have the documents. They have the data.
They have the Stanford research psychology experiments. They have the Milgram experiment.
No, I'm talking about now. They talk about this year. They ran the field test. They said, we're going to tell you to sit in your house and shut up. And not only will everyone do it, but people will voluntarily act
you
as enforcement agents of the state to make sure that you do it. That's number one.
We're getting banned.
Earlier, 100 years ago, when the Great War happened, and it was an absurdity that America would get in, I think I talked about this last time I was on your show, this was very useful for them also, because it's like, all right, we have an excuse to have a pre-fascist totalitarian government in America to run this great war, the war to end all wars. And they had that data so that when FDR wanted to have complete control of the economy 15 years later, they'd be like, you guys just did this 15 years ago. That was a war against war. This is a war against poverty. What's the difference? So they will have it'll be so much easier. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Alex.
No, you're right.
It'll be so much easier the second time to be like, you guys just did this last year. We're not asking you anything again.
And you just said it. Yale and Princeton and Oxford all are online doing studies years ago about we'll have a virus where they're really promulgated, that will scare everyone into submission, and they'll have a vertically integrated economy once this happens, and everyone will give up their rights. We'll have tracker apps on all their phones, bring a new digital currency on top of it, and the society as we know it will be over because we're saving the earth from the carbon footprint. So by shutting down the consumerist society, they will, quote, save the earth. But meanwhile, it's all a bunch of billionaires that are tax exempt having meetings on mountains with a bunch of hookers telling us how they're going to take all our money away and bankrupt us and save the planet.
Sex workers.
We got to slow down. Slow down.
All right, there we go.
So we got to. First of all, we're going to start pulling these things up because you just said a lot.
Yes, that was a lot.
But more importantly, I'm sure you said a lot of things.
Back page.
Well, no, I mean, there's billionaires saying we're consuming too much. Like Ted Turner says, I want to depopulate the earth 80%. So does Prince Philip. Wants to come back as a virus, depopulate the planet. That's all official. Look it up. And then they all have a bunch of kids, and they all have all this money. And they all have jets, and they all have palaces. And then they cut the gas allotment for British old people that freeze to death so they can heat the royal palace.
I'm going to translate Alex to like normal people.
Well, so
he's not wrong.
Just to make this point, what I'm trying to say is there's probably a lot of people who don't know the full context. So if you say something about what Rockefeller's doing, we got to start from the beginning and work our way through. Here's what happened here. Here's what happened there. Here's what this happened.
Rockefeller's funded the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, created Hitler. Yep.
Well, there you go.
Okay, all right, thanks for okay. Michael, please help me. Can you translate what just happened?
Let me talk about what Alex just said because independently I had the same kind of information. When I was in college, and everything I'm saying and everything Alex is saying, take a second and look it up on the internet. Assume we're lying, assume we're crazy, and look it up.
IBM and the Holocaust. Let's just start there.
Okay, we're not starting there, Alex. Okay, so that's not where we're going, Alex. Okay, Alex Jones.
You see, this was the challenge when people kept saying have Alex Jones on. I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to keep up with this."
You
said 50 things, and I'm like, "What do we got? Write it down, Michael."
They're saying a global depression is good
I'm trying
for
to
people
help you here.
when it will starve hundreds of millions to death. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
All right.
When I was in college, there was a book. You can all look this up called Ishmael. And Ted Turner has blurbed this book. And the premise of this book is we need to go back to before the Industrial Revolution because there's too many people on Earth. And the book is about someone getting messages from a telepathic gorilla.
Wow.
And look at this, and it got all these awards. Hold
it's
on.
award-winning.
Yes.
Ishmael,
What's it called?
What's Ishmael.
Like,
look this up.
Ishmael.
You think I'm going to make this?
Kill yourself.
They're so cartoon.
I am a gorilla. Murder yourself.
So
it's liberal.
weird.
Ishmael.
Ishmael
with a beanie on the head.
And the thing is,
I'm having telepathic messages right now from Tim. Pull.
Okay.
No, you're not. Wait, is this the novel?
There it is.
By who?
There it is.
Start over. Ishmael.
Ishmael, a novel.
So the point is, why should humanity depopulate itself? Because someday the telepathic gorillas will thank us for leaving Earth to their stewardship. This is literally the message of this book, and you can look at all the awards it got. It's being taught at universities.
Exactly.
So no matter how crazy we think certain aspects of this globalist left is, when Alex talks about it, he's giving you the moderate, subdued version.
That's amazing.
Wow, it's true. That's what I mean. I've read all their stuff.
Hold on.
Read this. I'm not making it up.
The gorilla says kill yourself. Are you against gorillas?
What the heck?
Harambe or
No, I mean literally. He says, "I'm a holy gorilla. Murder yourself."
Yeah.
It says
Double-edged dagger.
It mentions Ted Turner.
right,
So
here we go.
it says
We're checking.
Ishmael's a 1992 philosophical novel by Daniel Quinn. The novel examines the hidden cultural biases driving modern civilization and explores themes of ethics, sustainability, and global catastrophe. Largely framed as a Socratic conversation between two characters, Ishmael aims to expose that several widely accepted assumptions of modern society, such as human supremacy, are actually cultural myths that produce catastrophic consequences for humankind and the environment. The novel was awarded the $500,000 Turner Tomorrow Fellowship Award in 1991, a year before its formal publication.
No kidding.
So
It's part of a
saying,
It's part of a trilogy.
Who's the publisher?
they're saying,
Hold on, Alex.
Publisher was
It's not some random.
Bantam Turner Books.
Bantam. Turner.
Let's go further.
This isn't
Let's
some
go-
random, not house.
Ted Turner. So let's go further. Give up your will. You're bad. You're a dirty human. Wear a mask. Don't have children. Are killing the earth. Sure, the earth has problems. We should be clean. They're telling us give up our will, give up our life force for them, roll over and die. That's all this is. You suck, you're evil, you're bad, die. I remember the ads everywhere like, Ishmael, the truth. Humans are bad. Ishmael, the gorilla, tells us kill ourselves.
That wasn't the ad.
No, I heard it out on the radio. It's like,
Maybe you heard it, but that
Thank you
wasn't
for
the ad.
being here, Michael. Thank you so much.
pull it up.
I thought it was supposed to be the chaos one. I'm like,
No, you're helping.
I'm like Apollo today.
You pull it
You
up.
gotta
You
pull up
pull
the
up.
Ishmael ad.
I remember the ad on the radio, like Ishmael, the novel.
It doesn't say kill yourself in the ad. I
No, but it's
promise
like
you.
humans are bad. Oh, what are you gonna do? Here's razor blades. Oh,
Oh my gosh. What is that?
What is
you
there's-
just said it. You just said it. I'm telling you.
I can't find the commercial, but I did find a
that
video
sounds really
from Daniel
weird.
Quinn discussing how to save the world or whatever.
They want to go. He says explicitly to return back to before the agricultural revolution.
Tim,
So-
you have a nice house.
But here's the thing-
For the earth, will you kill yourself?
Okay.
And give me your deed?
You know, I've grown quite fond of living, so I think I'll pass.
But you're being hateful.
Come on, man.
Kill yourself.
You know,
and prove
well,
you're
hold
good.
on. This is really interesting that you mentioned this book because when I read the summary right there, it said human supremacy and cultural myths of human supremacy.
Yes.
It's very much not too dissimilar to a lot of the critical race theory stuff about
course.
whiteness or whatever. And
It's like aliens showing up saying hate yourself. So who's telling us hate humans? It's global corporatists knowing that we're altruistic,
Turner
loving
specifically.
liberals.
Okay, I actually read
But he-
Ishmael.
he
But
may-
check this out,
He
dude.
read Ishmael.
There's this theory that the people split in the middle cradle of the world. A bunch of people went north where there was less sun. Their skin started to get lighter and white, and they couldn't grow crops, so they had to hunt. So they got all bloodlust, and this is where the lizard brain mentality comes from. Is they had to get all hunty, and then they came back south and murdered all those dark
is that
people.
in Ishmael?
I
There's
think
a
I got
trilogy,
that from the
maybe
book.
from the sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, on top of it, whites are bad.
It's the
which
stuff-
is all crap. Everybody's warlike.
I can't remember if it's in the book or if I derived that from reading the book, but I got that immediately after I read the book.
Interesting.
Yeah, listen, here's the deal. The globalists want the future. They've already stolen all the money. They've already got all the power. They see us as like roaches in the cupboard they want to kill. So they teach us to go, you know you're hateful and bad. You know humans are bad.
Just
Go
like we do
ahead.
with roaches.
Exactly. Go ahead and roll.
Yep.
Hello,
There's-
roaches.
there's-
I'm going to spray this poison. Take this vaccine. You're going to feel much better.
Oh,
It
man.
feels kind of if what you're saying, I'm going to say if what you're saying is true. It sounds kind of eugenic in a sense that
Eugenics and progressivism go hand in hand.
for sure
Yes.
the progressives back it was like in the 1900s.
Oh, yeah, they claim they love everyone because if you're Margaret Sanger, which finally the left's taking off the
Yes,
Planned
they
Parenthood buildings,
disavowed.
she said blacks are subhuman, need to be
Yes,
exterminated.
She did not
did.
say that. That's a complete myth.
What did she say?
You're joking.
no,
she said they're weeds and need to be killed.
No, that's a complete lie. When Margaret Sanger was talking about preserving the race, she meant the human race. This is something that the boomer cons have made up completely disingenuously about her.
read
Number
her
one,
quotes.
I have the quotes too.
Are you
look 'em up.
joking? It's
I'm not
Colgate
joking.
Foundation. It's got her quotes.
Okay, what she would, I will. Let's get this out of the way because
Yeah.
it's a
She
complete
said
lie.
blacks were human
No,
weeds.
she did not say
I'm
that.
super
She was
curious.
talking about she was talking about mentally limited people. People have retroactively made this out to be black. She worked with W.E.B. Du Bois, who was the founder of the NAACP.
Who was a communist.
Who was a communist,
Sure,
and he was
sure.
driven out of the NAACP. The fact is, W.B. Du Bois was not an anti-black racist.
Well,
Number
so-
two,
no,
she
can I-
said we need
hold
to
on.
hire black
No,
leaders.
hold on. One more thing. What progressives don't realize is Margaret Sanger would be sterilizing Greta Thunberg so quickly,
Yep.
your head would spin.
Exactly. So moving past blacks, exactly. My dad was like top of his class, so they brought him in when he was like a junior in high school to UT Plan 2. And he had this professor, and he said, listen, we don't agree with the Nazis. We're not going to kill certain races. We're going to kill the retarded people.
Yes.
So what I was
I
saying
don't mean
is,
that in a mean way. The mentally disabled people, we're going to get rid of them.
if you
Yes.
if
So I get what you're saying. You're saying it's way beyond, yeah.
Yeah, it's much worse in a sense.
Well, so here's the point I was trying to make before we, went off.
That is important.
It is.
If what you're saying is true, that they're basically telling all these people, give up your will, hide in your home, put on your mask, smart people can navigate this and survive very easily, successfully, and they'll be okay. It's the those of weak mental fortitude and weak will who easily fall prey to this.
But there could also be economic weakness. If I'm not in a position to stand up for myself, I better fall in line. And that's how all these totalitarian countries work.
But then they
listen.
you to do what they want as a political weapon. So you can look at a horde of dumbed down people, black, white, old, young, and you're like, oh, screw them, they're dumb. But they're a giant army that's been economically manipulated for stimuli to come attack you. And that's what communism is.
Yeah, well, I think we're... let me tell you a story. In Hamburg, Germany, you know Luke Rutkowski.
Yeah.
We were down there covering the G20, one of the biggest Antifa, unrest events ever. Luke was walking down the street with this guy. I think his name was Max. He's just a local journalist. When someone yelled Nazi Schweinhund at him, people randomly got up and ran up to him and started beating him. Luke was getting punched and kicked and shoved just because someone yelled Nazi. Regular people standing nearby were like, I guess I'll join the mob and beat the crap out of this guy.
So that's programming.
That's insane.
That's Gustav Le Bon, yeah.
That's scary stuff.
Well, that's what Antifa does. They're saying that our rally on Sunday with all these libertarian, conservative, free speech groups down by the White House going to march to the Supreme Court. They're literally saying, Antifa's like, there's a Nazi rally. No, there's not Nazis there. I mean, we're not Nazi collaborators. We didn't work with the Nazis like certain people that fund Antifa. No, but they're just saying it, and some people believe it, and then it's a green light to attack us.
One of the quotes in my book, which drives people like this crazy, is more white supremacists died fighting the Nazis than did urban feminists. All those boys from the South weren't exactly fighting for equality of the races.
There's a video I just showed Alex before we did the show. It's called Rap News number 6. It's from 2010. And I cite this often as a perfect example of the weird flippening in politics. It was leftists who put together a video mocking Hillary Clinton as an authoritarian.
Oh, yeah.
And defending Julian Assange and free speech. And they mock you, Alex, as someone ranting that the commie Nazi fascists were coming to take over. That was 10 years ago. Now Hillary Clinton's the victim. Julian Assange is the bad guy. Free speech is bad. And the Nazi is actually Alex Jones. And
Trump is bad for trying to end these wars.
So
right. But he's a dictator who wants to not kill people.
But listen. Here's the point. 10 years ago, the left in this country was celebrating a video making fun of you because you were screaming the Nazis were coming, and defending free speech and Assange. And now it's all inverted. And the left.
What
in this
about?
country
Well, here's my deal. I was never a Republican or a Democrat. I was against Bush's wars. I was against the torture, and so I was critical of them. And then liberals would be like, well, you need to be with us against guns. I'm like, I love my guns. I was just an American. But that's exactly what happened is now they say I'm a Nazi because I support Trump. And meanwhile, Trump's pro-Israel. Trump moves the embassy. And then Netanyahu stabs in the back. I'm not against Netanyahu, but, man, Netanyahu stabs in the back and says, no, you're right, Biden won. It's just crazy.
Didn't Trump just announce a withdrawal from Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Like recently, Rand Paul thanked him
and all
for
of Trump's grandchildren will be raised Jewish.
Wow.
What's crazy is that Trump ordered them to leave a year ago. They didn't do it. He had to fire the Secretary of Defense Esper and put this new guy in who's actually a Special Forces guy who saw his buddies die for no reason to get him out. And now they're saying as soon as Biden gets in, he's saying troops back in.
Alex, knock knock.
Who's there?
Share.
Share who?
Sharing time with friends is the best thing people can do.
We're doing it right now, brother.
Is that it?
Is that it?
What?
That's amazing.
But I want to tell folks something. The Great Reset, you shouldn't listen to Alex Jones or Tim Pool.
That's right.
You shouldn't listen to Tim Pool.
You
Don't
definitely
listen to me.
shouldn't.
I'm the worst. I'm the milquetoast fence sitter. I can't
That's
give you a
true.
straight,
Or Mr. Malice.
Yeah, none of us.
Just go look at the most powerful rich people in the world who are tax exempt saying we're going to shut the economy down to help poor people. The UN's own reports admit that a lockdown's already starved 2 million people to death. It'll kill 200 plus million if it goes on for a year. They're bringing it back. And so it kills dozens of times more that have died of supposed COVID. We're not denying that COVID's a real thing, that it kills people. It's that the lockdown is meant to economically compromise us, put us into debt, and consolidate power and control.
To what extent is this a grand conspiracy or a standalone complex? Are you familiar with the term standalone
Yes.
complex? So is it possible that Amazon, for instance, is totally in favor of this, lobbies in favor of it, because they realize when you lock down the economy, people have to go to Amazon. People have to go to
Sure.
Walmart.
Are they taking advantage of a crisis, or do they create the crisis?
Right.
Look, all I know is they wrote Lockstep 10 years ago, Rockefeller Foundation. Gates put out Event 201 back in October of last year, and they said we're going to use a virus to consolidate the economy and save the earth and save the third world. But it actually kills the third world, collapses the third world, then has them flood us. And globalist Klaus Schwab, look him up, says that the lockdown will never end. They're never going to give up this power. Nazis, the communists, they couldn't get this power. But if they have the fear and get us to wear the mask, take the inoculation, carry the apps, Ticketmasters is now announcing that if you are going to go to a rock concert, you got to have an app on your phone proving you've got your vaccines or whatever. This is medical tyranny.
So I pulled it up. World Economic Forum. Actually, if you pull up Alex, you can see the screen behind him. Our monitor's not working on the display.
Yeah, you can kind of.
But it says, now is the time for a great reset. And there's a picture that says, push to reset the world. They say, visit the Great Reset microsite here. Hear Klaus Schwab on these podcast episodes, The Great Reset launch, and his book, We Can Emerge from This Crisis a Better World If We Act Quickly and Jointly, writes Schwab.
It's always quickly. Don't think about it. Quickly. Before we know what we're doing.
But then he says it never ends, though.
There's more.
It never ends.
There's more, yeah.
The changes we have already seen in response to COVID-19 prove that a reset of our economic and social foundations is possible. This is our best chance to instigate stakeholder capitalism, and here's how it can be achieved. He says, this is Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. I have it pulled up right here, NewsGuard certified. Switch back to Alex, and you can see you can see the NewsGuard tag right behind Alex. NewsGuard says,
well, as long as Microsoft says so.
Absolutely.
Bill Gates certified. Okay.
That's what we're going for.
COVID-19 lockdowns may be gradually easing, but anxiety about the world's social and economic prospects is only intensifying. There is good reason to worry. A sharp economic downturn has already begun, and we could be facing the worst depression since the 1930s. But while the outcome is likely, it's not unavoidable. To achieve a better outcome, the world must act jointly and swiftly to revamp all aspects of our societies and economies.
Wait, hold on. From all aspects.
All aspects.
All aspects. They're not.
And what he says
there's more.
You've got to go into debt and own nothing, and I will control you.
Let me keep reading. He says, all aspects of our societies and economies, from education to social contracts and working conditions, every country, from the United States to China, must participate. And every industry, from oil and gas to tech, must be transformed. In short, we need a great reset of capitalism. There are many reasons to pursue a great reset, but the most urgent is COVID-19. Having already led to hundreds of thousands of deaths, the pandemic represents one of the worst public health crises in recent history. And with casualties still mounting in many parts of the world, it's far from over. This will have serious long-term consequences for economic growth, public debt, employment, and human well-being. According to the Financial Times, global government debt has already reached its highest level in peacetime. Moreover, unemployment is skyrocketing in many countries. In the U.S., for example, 1 in 4 workers have filed for unemployment since mid-March, with new weekly claims far above historic highs. The International Monetary Fund expects the world economy to shrink by 3%.
Guys, we got to pause here because they're making it illegal for you to go to your job,
Yeah,
and they're saying, look, all these unemployment numbers are through the roof.
Yeah. So what exactly
and it was
happened
Democratic
in
governors.
mid-March?
Yeah. It wasn't.
Well, let's expand. It never ends. They admit that it's, if you actually read it deeper, he says it's a 10-year, 100-year, it's to save the earth, cut carbon. He says we're getting rid of all small businesses. We're never going to stop. So he's up there saying, we want to fix this, do what we say. We want to get you back to work, but it doesn't do it. It's a clampdown to get you into debt and control you. He admits it. So that's what I'm getting at. This is a fascist, authoritarian takeover to kill normal economies. They tell all the small businesses to shut down, but only the big economies can stay open. This is modern warfare. This is the takeover.
And he's not wrong, because in New York City, where I'm from, what they've done to New York City is just absolutely devastating. To me, the best thing about America is when you have this immigrant family who creates a small business and they make something of themselves. Century 21, which is a clothing store I spent a lot of time bored as a kid with my mom. After my entire lifetime, they're going out of business. Ice and Vice, which is the best ice cream place in America, they're out of business. They couldn't survive COVID. You're a small business. You don't have 9 months of liquid assets.
And the globalists know that.
Hold on. Please,
so by bankrupting, they take over.
All right.
No, go ahead.
So but Amazon, they can play the long game. Target can play the long game. Walmart play.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is this is far more consolidating, because the argument is in a free market, companies consolidate.
And they've all made record profits since it started. We're all going bankrupt. They're making record profits.
The rich get richer.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're absolutely right. They admit it, though. They say we're vertically integrating because having lots of local businesses, they say, is bad for the earth. No, you spend the same carbon buying from their big companies.
Of course.
In fact, local's less carbon. If you believe carbon's bad, let's just go with their thing. Carbon's evil. We're bad. We're a bad life form. Buying local is less of a chain, less of travel, less of infrastructure, less of energy use. So why? No, they don't want the competition.
And it's a lot easier for me, without even having to use the law, if I just have to get Jeff Bezos on the phone and say, Jeff, can you do X, Y, and Z, instead of me having to call 20 people.
Right. So there's a passage here. They say, governments should implement long overdue. I'm going to stop. This is from the World Economic Forum website. They say, governments should implement long overdue reforms that promote more equitable outcomes. Depending on the country, these may include changes to wealth taxes, the withdrawal of fossil fuel subsidies, and new rules governing intellectual property, trade, and competition. Wealth tax, withdrawal of subsidies. That's what we're hearing from.
But again, all these billionaires are tax exempt offshore. They want to knock out local elites that actually have infrastructure. Everything they say, they don't pay taxes. They don't have regulations. They're knocking out their competition. And their very COVID lockdown hurt small businesses on record. So everything they say sounds good, but it's an inversion of reality.
So why is it that Democratic governors, for the most part, are the ones locking down their states, and Republicans, for the most part, are the ones resisting?
Because they created a UN compact and a global government compact. They signed deals with China to move our jobs there with economic agreements with global corporations. Trump broke those agreements, saying they're fraudulent.
TPP.
They're pissed off. Exactly. They're pissed off. And so now we've got to go under economic sanctions for the business losses of China under Trump. And so because Trump put them under the last year and a half of sanctions, we have to be shut down while China's open, using the COVID hoax to pay back China because there's a corporate agreement.
Hoax.
When I say hoax, the response to COVID, it's a real virus. It's man-made, so they can track it. It has incredible gain of function. So they can own everybody. So everybody gets infected like a mosquito bite, but they're not actually sick. And so the response to COVID is a hoax. The programming of COVID is a hoax. The taking our rights, locking us down when China's open for business, the response to COVID is a hoax.
Okay. Just to clarify.
No, but when you talk about hoax, I mean,
they're going to take that out of context for sure.
Sure, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Let's say Jones says there's no COVID. No, COVID, you pull up Newsweek, you can pull up Time Magazine, you can pull up Associated Press. Fauci and Gates and Obama 5 years ago had illegal North Carolina, Chapel Hill, biological testing, airborne, gain of function, chimera, bat, COVID-19. They even call it COVID-19. They even call it COVID-19. COVID-19 2 years ago. And they develop it. Then it leaks out of this lab, and the very people then that are running the
no. Okay, we got
in North Carolina.
You said Gates, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
See, this is where
Microsoft just patented Internet of basically a pill that you can swallow that measures your body's heat.
What's the source on that?
Bitcoin.com, Microsoft cryptocurrency system. It's called the Internet of Bodies.
It tracks your every movement by satellite to make sure you follow the orders.
And it pays you cryptocurrency.
No.
What are you looking at me for, Michael?
Hey, just like Joe Rogan.
You got to reel
Let me
him in.
Let me say this. Just like Joe Rogan.
Okay, you want me?
I go. Most of the new polio cases are caused by a UN Bill Gates vaccine for polio.
He looked that up, didn't he?
They looked it up. It was AP. I'm not making this up. Listen to me.
So they actually Joe posted this on Instagram where Bill Gates was being interviewed, and it was I think
80% of the people got sick, and they said Joe's lying. Jones is lying. That was one study. 80% got sick, 20% went to the hospital. His mRNA vaccine, 100% got sick. That's in the Associated Press.
But listen. It's one thing if you say that they're doing tests, there's new vaccines, people got sick. We see CBS actually brought it up. It's another thing to say that Fauci, Bill Gates, and other people had a secret meeting and were like manufacturing viruses or something.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's say, here's the headline. I'll give it to you exactly. Fauci funded controversial Wuhan bat virus technology. Then you pull up the other one.
Whoa! Oh, like that's the first one.
But what is this website? This is not a certified.
Yeah, we gotta double check it. We always check our sources.
Oh wait, what?
What?
Yeah, New York Post. Yeah.
New York Post. Dr. Fauci backed funding for controversial Wuhan lab studying origins of coronavirus.
I brought this up before.
No, that's for specific. That's not even the one. Listen. I'll give you the next headline if you want it. Look up.
Well, we
look
can't.
Up New Scientist. New Scientist was North Carolina studying dangerous gain-of-function bat coronavirus. And it's the exact virus that they then moved to China because it was illegal to test here. I've already had. You got to.
I can't find this one.
Tim, you got to have him on. He's Dr. Francis Boyle. He wrote the U.S. Biological Weapons Treaty, and then it became a world law. He's a guy like prosecutor Slobodan Milosevic and all those guys, and he has it all. And he told me this all in March. He's the one. I'm not a bioweapons expert.
But why trust this guy? I couldn't find the article.
Okay,
So,
well, let me give you the
from
exact
New
article.
Scientist, you said? Yeah, I couldn't find it.
It was in a. It was
Yeah,
in
but
a,
newscientist.com though, maybe.
NewScientist.com?
Yeah.
Well, let's do this.
It was. He found it right there.
Yeah, I
Bring
just
it to
sent
me,
it to
bring
you
it
on
to me.
Facebook, Tim, if you want to grab it.
I don't have it on here.
Listen.
What's the headline?
Oh.
Listen, all I'm telling you is that here's what he said. He has all these
1
sources.
second. Let's get the
The headline's Lab-Made Coronavirus Triggers Debate from the-scientist.com.
So this is okay.
Oh.
It is November 16, 2015. This is about
What?
This is from a certified NewsGuard website that is green across the board. If you can pull up, Alex's camera, we
here,
can
let's
show.
look at that.
Those have got a
just
NewsGuard blurb up there.
2015.
Yeah.
Just behind Alex Jones on the monitor, you can see I have the NewsGuard
NewsGuard
certification,
verification.
and it is 100 out of 100.
Wow.
And now here's the it wants me to
sign up?
I don't want to sign
No,
up for
go
anything.
away.
What is this? Make it go away.
It just says they were doing illegal research.
Well, let me read this and make sure, because this is from November 16, 2015, and it says, okay, it won't let me read it because you got to pay a subscription.
Boo.
But let me just give you the gist of what I can get. Lab-made coronavirus triggers debate. The creation of a chimeric SARS-like virus has scientists discussing the risks of gain-of-function research. Ralph Barrick, an infectious disease researcher at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill last week, November 8th. I got to keep trying to block this, join the thing. Let me read it. They say,
Do a screen capture.
published a study on his team's efforts to engineer a virus with the surface protein of the SHC-014 coronavirus found in horseshoe bats in China, and the backbone. Oh man, this is really
Do a
annoying.
screen cap.
Well, I'd have to screen cap and then post it somewhere. They say the background of one that causes human-like severe SARS in mice. The hybrid virus could infect human airway cells and cause disease in mice, according to the team's results.
Use the
There's
snipping tool.
There's an
That's
update
fine,
though.
yeah.
There's an update though. Let me read the update.
Maybe.
March 11th, 2020. On social media and news outlets, a theory has circulated the coronavirus at the root of the COVID-19 outbreak originated in the research lab. Scientists say there is no evidence the SARS-CoV-2 virus escaped from a lab.
And where's the link to that? Oh, scientists say. Now the Pentagon and the State Department directly say, here's what happened. And Boyle can't tell us all this is classified, but he's a really credible guy. I've been interviewing 15 years. He said he has all these sources. He said, look, they were testing a vaccine for airborne coronavirus, bird flu, basically, SARS. That's why it's 5 different viruses. It leaked out of the lab, just like AP reported 2 weeks ago. 6,000 plus people got really sick from a virus leak at a vaccine lab in China, or just like the Chinese virus vaccine was killing people in Brazil just last week. China is the big giant lab. The poor Chinese people.
Well, so what's that AP story you mentioned? 6,000 people. What's the headline on that one?
It's brucellosis. 6,000 plus get ill or die from brucellosis leak from vaccine lab China. But that was a side issue. And then they've also got Brazilians die from Chinese COVID-19 vaccine test in.
So we have a couple stories actually. The New York Post: more than 3,000 contract bacterial disease after Chinese lab leak. And we have Medical X Express. Once again, I always use NewsGuard certification, and I believe this is funded by Microsoft.
Right. Whatever Bill Gates says, he's God. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So our God has said this is good.
Well, so
And he said he wants to get rid of the population, and he wants a shot. He says, I want to get rid of people. There's too many people. I want death panels for old people, and he wants to take a shot.
did he really say it like that?
He said, yeah, I want death panels, and his dad, his mom was the IBM board. And
But we have death panels. That's the thing. Like if someone has low quality of life towards the end, they do have to sit down and make that decision. We have that
Right.
already.
I just think it should be a firing squad. I agree with Bill Gates.
No, you can't say that.
But
Man. Come on.
here's the thing. Bill Gates says you'll get rid of all.
Do you like Apple that much?
Not being sarcastic.
No, I got to be serious. Don't talk about killing people.
No, but here's the thing. They take everything we say and make it this big thing. They want to get rid of old people. They want death panels. They want getting rid of old people. They've said that.
Have you seen the old people? They're not fun.
Well, here's the thing.
No, not even. I'm not. I'm
The
not.
golden girls are long gone.
Bill Gates said those are death panels, but you're not supposed to talk about it. And so you've got the new guy that heads up. Biden's new guy that heads up his COVID-19 response. Ezekiel Emanuel says, "I want to die at 75."
Right, that's
Yes,
true.
I do
Yeah, he
remember
had that
that.
article about like people. It's kind of like Logan's Run.
And he
Right.
admits we want to bankrupt insurance to bring in a government-run system.
What,
over
what,
healthcare.
what is a death panel? So I found a story from the National Review that says
God,
Bill
help
Gates
us.
supports death panels from 2014.
Oh.
It's once again NewsGuard
But
certified
there's a
website.
video. There's a video of him saying it.
And this is
He says we need to get rid of old people. But that's
Read the quote. Read the quote from
which
Bill Gates.
which I don't.
I'm sure in the article there's a quote.
Where here?
Yeah, I'm sure. Scroll down. I can't read. I'm blind.
Let's see. Let me read it.
I'm blind as a bat with COVID.
Now, in a Rolling Stone interview, Bill Gates joins the chorus. He says, like bioethicist Daniel Callahan, that we have to be careful about making technological improvements in medicine because we won't want to make them available to all.
Oh,
Here's what he said. If you accelerate certain things but aren't careful about whether you want to make those innovations available to everyone, then you're intensifying the cost in such a way that you'll overwhelm all the resources. And then RS says, like Rolling Stone, like $1 million chemotherapy treatments. Bill Gates, yeah, or organ transplants for people in their 70s from new artificial organs being grown. There's a lot of medical technology for which, unless you can make judgments about who should buy it, you will have to invade other government functions to find the money. Joint replacement is another example. There are 4 or 5 of these innovations down the pipe that are huge, huge things. Rolling Stone says, yeah, but when people start talking about these issues, we start hearing loaded phrases like death panels and suggestions that government bureaucrats are going to decide when it's time to pull the plug on grandma. Gates' response, the idea that there aren't trade-offs is an outrageous thing. Most countries know that there are trade-offs, but here we manage to have the notion that there aren't any. So that's unfortunate to not have people think, hey, there are finite resources here. And then National Review says, but they do want to have the government or bioethics committees delegated the task by government decide
bioethics committees.
when to pull the plug on grandma. Moreover, trade-offs is a code term in this context for death panels. So I think this article is they're using the phrase death panels in the context of
No, there's a quote of him saying we need death panels.
But
There's video.
Listen,
There's
what,
video. There's video.
What I'm getting from
$1 million.
this,
$1 million. There's a quote of him saying.
I'm not saying I disbelieve you.
No, I'm
There-
saying,
there's
I'm
a
not making
YouTube
this
video.
up.
I think he's saying that he perceives the meaning of death panels differently than you're saying.
Well, let's
Right,
be
so
clear.
listen,
Let's
hold
be
on,
clear.
hold on.
He wants here's the deal. Obviously, they don't give everybody the health care they give everybody. He wants a bioethics panel of eugenicists to decide who lives and who dies.
So we have to have that.
Well, or we can make
You
atomic
can't-
printers to print oil and food and expand rapidly.
Here's what I'm saying. Bill Gates. Listen, you can look all this up. Bill Gates' father was a secret Army officer, got declassified, running major operations at Cold Springs Harbor.
Okay.
His mother was on the IBM board. Thomas Watson was the highest order in Germany. He had awards above Hitler. He ran Nazi Germany. He ran the haulers, the machines, and the tattoos.
Let me,
No, this
let's
is
slow
all on
down.
record. It's all on record.
Let's
It's all
slow
on
down real
record.
quick.
It's all on record.
That-
And
that-
he seethed it all to Bill. He gave it all to Bill to run it. This is literally
So that quote when Bill Gates was
Thomas
talking.
Watson gave birth to Hitler.
Did
Okay,
he?
so let's-
Out of what?
He
His
gave
mouth?
birth to Bill Gates.
All right, well, hold on.
right.
We're going too fast.
Interesting,
Hold
yeah.
on.
Okay, I got one. Knock,
Wait.
knock.
Oh my gosh.
You know I'm releasing the Death Star plans here.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Olive.
Olive who?
Olive you, Alex.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Okay.
All right, I approve.
IBM and the
What
Holocaust.
I heard Bill Gates saying, in that context at least,
we were never going to get off.
I've had a conversation with people who say healthcare is a human right, and I say, but resources are finite.
No,
and-
obviously they can set up. We see a medical tyranny with COVID. I don't think there should be unlimited resources. People should have to pay for it themselves. We don't need a socialist system. Once they trick you into that, you get it. Gates gets us in a socialist system and then says, "Oh, we the bioethicists decide who gets it now." That's why you don't want the socialism, because then he's the kingmaker. I say we shouldn't have that. I totally agree with you.
But someone
hold
has
on.
to be making these decisions. I think is the point.
Can I take a piss?
Let me ask you.
What?
Where's the bathroom?
Oh, gee.
You gotta go. It's downstairs
in the
and
kitchen and
yeah.
to the right.
And there's a labyrinth castle.
yeah,
you have.
yeah.
There's a-
Folks, Tim Pool is rich. Okay?
But he is gonna take
like an
your
80-story house.
he is gonna take your fingerprint to open the door.
Yeah, sorry
yeah,
about
biometric.
that. Yeah, it's true.
No, it's
No,
not.
guys,
it's
I'm
not.
not making any of this up. Listen,
I've got a link.
So hold on. I have a question.
Klaus Schwab says we're never reopening. So
I have a very serious question.
burn in hell, Klaus Schwab.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think happens if everything carries on exactly as it is? Like, so imagine that's, I'm saying outside of this, with people starting businesses, people having kids, population expansion, do you think there's a point at which we have too many people, resources are strained? And
this is the question that I ask myself every day, Tim. That's why I respect you and love your show. It's very smart. Your guys are smart. And I totally agree with you. You just said the truth. Bill Gates is either Jesus Christ or he's Satan.
I didn't say that.
I heard you say it. You said it in those words. I heard it. Alex heard it. You just said Bill Gates is either Jesus Christ or Hitler. We all heard it.
I'm very close to joining
Satan.
Bill Gates. Let me just hit the voice room real quick.
Okay.
My bladder's loaded up like a.
That's true. He drank a bunch of coffee.
Double cheeseburger.
I've got a link to a Bill Gates YouTube video that you might want to check if you want. It's called "End of Life Care versus Saving Teachers' Jobs."
Interesting.
And he says,
Just get rid of old people for to save jobs.
Possibly.
He says that.
I haven't seen
I've
it yet.
seen the
But
clip.
all right,
This is what Rob said.
but straight up, just to make it clear, no talking about firing squads, none of that stuff. It's not a joke because people go crazy, and we got a lot of people watching. And when you have people who hear this stuff and they freak out, I don't want anybody.
No, I'm being sarcastic when I say firing squad old people.
I know, but
No, you're talking about Bill Gates firing squad. You said.
That'll be the headline. I don't want to hurt Bill Gates. I love Bill Gates.
but people.
But he's Hitler.
I have a picture
No,
of him.
Oh my gosh.
Listen.
I'm actually in love with Bill Gates. Right?
when
now.
you when you talk about this
The
stuff,
sexiest man alive. Okay?
when you accuse someone of wanting to kill old people, then you talk about firing squads. There are people out there who are going to go crazy.
No, we don't. We want to make him a martyr. Bill Gates says
We don't want people to be hurt.
He says if we kill an old lady, we get 10 more teachers, but that's a death penalty. You don't want to say that.
What if he's a bad person who's advocating
That's the
bad
quote.
things?
He's got it right there.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying if that's bad, don't do it.
I want to explain this. It's about, obviously, this is all real. There are too many people some places. There are issues. The point is who runs all this. And I'm just saying they haven't been honest about it. That's my problem. So I want to come back and respond to your incredibly important question of where I am every day. Because I had a chance to join these people. They've already come to me a bunch. I'm not going to say names. Believe me. People are richer than Bill Gates. I get it. I know all this stuff. I just can't sign off and kill all these poor people, man.
You ever see the movie Watchmen?
Yeah.
It's like the end.
He's
where,
going to nuke everybody for the world peace. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, as a comic book character, I'm offended that you refer to Watchmen specifically as a movie.
What is it, Mr.
All
Manhattan?
right,
It's a
all
comic
right.
book series.
Yes,
Dr.
it's a
Manhattan.
graphic novel. You're right.
No.
Forgive me, good sir.
You're smart. I'm not kissing your ass. You guys are smart. I mean, that's it. It's Mr. Manhattan or
Dr. Manhattan. Yes.
He's
He didn't
like
go to 12
Rorschach.
years of Blue Skins Medical School to be called Mr.
Whatever. Dr. Manhattan. We're going to nuke everybody. It's in justifies the means. We're going to do this to save the planet, and maybe it's true.
Well,
Maybe-
so
here's the deal, here's the deal.
listen.
Then frickin' I'll start. I mean, dude, who's going to decide who lives and dies? It's like Superman. Let's see another analogy. The first Superman that just came back out, where he's like, Zod goes, these people are inbred and they're scum. He goes, yeah, they are, Zod. You going to decide? You're more inbred than they are. I mean, it's like, dude, you can't make this decision. That's the whole Hollywood's telling you.
You think it's
they're
'cause
making
Superman
the
was a-
decision for General Zod is Bill Gates,
And Superman's
and he's
the-
freaking going to kill us.
And Superman's the illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
Is Superman Alex Jones in that analogy?
Oh, that's a good question.
No,
I
I'm just telling you.
I think he's Bizarro.
In Watchmen, the graphic novel, Rorschach says, "I will not lie to these people about what you did, even if it means the destruction of the planet. I will never compromise." And then Dr.
kill him.
And then, Dr. Manhattan
Or
says,
Rorschach, they blow him up.
Rorschach says, "Do it," and then
kills him.
Dr. Manhattan blows him up.
And I'm
then-
kind
and then
of, so
hold
if I'm
on.
anybody, I'm Rorschach. Because I'm like, dude, this is uncool.
But Rorschach was a sociopathic.
No, he wasn't.
homeless man.
He was an objectivist.
All right. Well, then take it away.
Well, I mean,
What do you well, no. Listen, this is a
See,
very
I
went
serious.
out to
Tim,
the
you just
bathroom.
said it. Hollywood's telling us this is the only discussion.
This is
I apologize, everyone.
Sorry.
I apologize for my guests.
What was that?
he really has to make.
He has to go to the
Keep saying I'm
bathroom.
interrupting.
Go to the bathroom.
No, he's saying, I'm saying.
He's pissed off.
I'm
Oh,
going to talk
he's
very low.
pissed off,
But you
pissed
guys
off.
actually get it. It's in all the culture. It's everywhere, like Moonraker. With who was the old James Bond guy? Not Sean Connery, but
Roger Moore.
But
Roger
listen,
Moore.
listen.
They're the elite going to release a bioweapon, kill everybody. They're up in space. They come back at Utopia. This is their ethos. This is their game plan.
But it also sounds like you watched a movie and you started to believe it.
And then I read the Club of Rome, and I read the CFR, and I listened to The Great Reset, and I actually heard what Ted Turner said.
Ishmael.
So Ishmael.
Yeah.
So look, I think there are a lot of crazy people who with power that do crazy things for sure.
I don't
Like
like
walk
that
us
word.
down and say it's for our own good.
Crazy is when you say you don't understand what they're doing. They're doing things. It's like North Korea. They're doing things to very consistently according to their own logic
For
and
power
for
and control.
Yes. It just seems crazy to you because you would never think in these terms.
I just like.
Probably,
I'm not kissing you guys' ass. I know me. I'm not. I'm glad you guys.
You keep saying that. I'm
glad you guys get this.
It might not be true.
Little punch in the arm.
This is the challenge.
Want to fight?
With the question that I asked, the
Not even a little.
I'm about to take you all on, all of you.
Okay.
No.
the philosophical conundrum of if we sit back, do we burn ourselves out? And if it sounds like, you view a lot of these people, and I'm operating under the assumption that these things are true, that they're mustache twirling villains who are out there to just hurt and destroy people. And is that the case? Are they just villains who hate and want to burn?
They think they're doing the right thing. It's the question of, do we live in a society with finite resources, or do we live in a society where we can advance technology to provide enough resources for everyone?
Non-zero sum game. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
And these people actually think it's finite, and that's not going to change. So we have to think in those terms.
Finite.
Well, no, the universe is not finite.
No,
As far as we can
Earth
tell.
is an infinite resource, and we've only literally just started scratching the surface.
I promise.
You think Earth is infinite?
This
In
is
a
the best
sense,
podcast
yes.
I've ever done. I love how smart you guys are. I got to release my bladder.
All right, go for it.
All right, go for it.
Number 1 or number 2?
Just the latter.
No, we don't need to know that.
You don't tell me what I need to know.
Well, then you can ask him privately.
I just asked him publicly.
goodness.
He's gonna go do number 4.
Oh my gosh.
There's pizzas
There's
here?
pizzas here. Yes,
there
we
are
got
pizzas
pizzas.
here.
This is the most.
Yes,
Are you going to
pizza.
go to the bathroom or are you going to eat pizza?
Yeah, I'll get out.
He's gonna eat while he pees
Delicious.
because he likes equilibrium.
Oh my.
We're
That's
getting
a zero sum.
We're getting banned.
That's a zero sum.
I love it.
We've been banned. We've been off the air for half an hour.
Well, no, we got a lot of people watching.
Oh,
so,
man.
so how's it going, Michael?
This is better than I expected. I'm envious of the audience. To be
I am
honest.
too.
Getting to
oh.
listen to this. Geez, I am such in an opposite space from where Alex is.
No, you're not. You're not completely opposite. You agree that there's a lot of very nefarious people who are using
Sure,
things
but
deception and
I just
control.
mean in terms of him screaming at the top of his lungs and talking about firing squads, and I'm like, I'm not into that. That's way over the top.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea to be talking about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, because we've seen what happens when you look. Let's say you have evidence that someone committed a crime or something, and they're doing something bad. And you come out and start screaming about it, and then you say, I want to see this, I want this. Like, people will pick up on that. I'm not saying that, it's direct incitement in a sense, but with great power comes great responsibility. And with great influence, you might make people snap off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen.
Hey, in regards to you saying that the Earth was infinite, Michael, expound on that.
There's a great book by Julian Simon called The Ultimate Resource. And the premise of this book is that the human mind is the ultimate resource and that we haven't literally scratched the surface of the globe. We have, I mean, if you go out how far down we've dug, it's barely anything compared
to
he's ready. What did you
Yeah,
do in that room?
but listen about that. The ecosystem is delicate relative to the
That's
rest
a
of the
myth.
planet.
There's
If
no
you
such
take
thing.
the planet, though, he's right. As an orange or an apple, it's thinner than the skin, the atmosphere, and our biosphere. But our
Orange and
potential-
apples are not natural.
But our
objects.
potential is unlimited. But this is the big. Tim brought up, though. You brought up too. This is the ultimate question we should discuss.
Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No. But the point being, in terms of a population, how much we can sustain, a human being creates more than they take out. That's why we're getting wealthier all the time.
An example is animals want to be where we're at.
That's not true at all.
No. We're forests, wherever we're at, it has more animals. Like in a farm.
So listen. You're both. I know you're probably familiar with Fermi's paradox, both of you.
Yes.
So there's, for those that aren't familiar, it's the question, essentially the question of if there's intelligent, if the universe is as massive as it is,
Right.
shouldn't we have encountered some kind of intelligent life? And then there's a bunch of ideas as to why we don't encounter intelligent life, and one of them is the great filter, which is that at some point intelligent life destroys itself.
Yeah.
So
The Atlantean moment.
is it possible that you have a bunch of people who are trying to avoid that, or do they think?
That's exactly the whole world government is based on what you just said.
I want to talk to you about.
No, Tim just released the big secret. You go ahead.
No, because you were talking about making contact.
I have a pen, though. I want to write this down. These are great questions.
You want to borrow my pen?
Yeah, let me borrow your pen.
It's mammoth tooth.
All right. When you're done, I'm going to lay out the big secrets.
So, talking about contact with. That's mammoth tooth. Don't throw
Oh,
it.
sorry, I
I
didn't
don't
realize.
care about the pen.
That they're extinct.
Jeez.
I can't believe I audibly gasped. Well, that's there go the last lingering vestiges of my masculinity. I want to talk to you about the machine elves because I saw you on Logan.
The machine
Don't throw
elves?
it,
Wait.
please. Don't throw it, Alex. That's
machine
from an
elves?
extinct animal. Just put it there.
Here.
Yeah.
That's a great image of you guys.
You were talking about on Logan Paul about how all these high up people smoke DMT and communicate with these interdimensional beings. What is it that these beings want from us, and what is their nature in relation to us?
Okay, this is a true story. And I'm not opening myself up to criticism here. I'm going to tell you the true story. My mom has a friend who was a research scientist who a lot came around the house when I was a kid, still comes around every once in a while. And she was visiting from San Francisco, and my mom would go on road trips with her. So I'd be sitting in the back of the Volkswagen Bug while they were driving up to like Arkansas.
Were you an adorable kid? You must have been really cute.
I was in the back seat
With these
listening to
cheeks.
this. And she was talking about doing these advanced research projects for DARPA.
Yeah.
And how they had like basically astronauts, they're interdimensional astronauts. They were liquid veining them DMT, and how they were mapping these other dimensions, communicating with the machine elves.
Yeah.
How the machine elves would give them technology, but always cause them problems. And like so, I remember being a kid, a couple times in the car on these long 10-hour trips. My mom a few times went with her, to different places. And who cares? A 5-year-old, 6-year-old's in the back.
Sure.
And later when I was about 7 or 8, she came out of the house, and she was sitting there talking about San Francisco. And before it was called Silicon Valley, and I remember sitting there at the dinner table hearing them talk about, how we thought we'd meet aliens in another planet, or we thought we'd find. No, it was actually all interdimensional with the drugs and then the psychedelic research institutes in San Francisco. So I was a kid hearing that.
But my understanding is they operate in a 4D space and they can communicate with us in a 3D space, just like if I look at a comic book strip, that's me, a 3D person looking at a 2D space. What is it that they're interested in with communicating with us? And what is it their goals? Do we even know?
I don't think we know, but when I was on Joe Rogan 2 years ago and talked about this, he then, like a couple months later, had a professor on going, in Japan and the U.S., we're starting official studies with intravenous DMT to go in and map this. And so here's what they know. I've talked to some people off record that they're doing mass groups on DMT. They've been doing it for a while where everyone sees these entities.
Yes.
Everyone's having the same experience. They've got people who are talking to everybody while it's happening, and they're seeing the same deal. So they know this is not individual hallucinations. This is either they're seeing another dimension, these are aliens, or somehow our minds are linking up, and maybe there's a controller there who's projecting a mass image into the other 50 subjects. But they're up to 50 and 100-person groups where almost everyone is experiencing the interface with these other creatures.
But we don't really know much about them then, or what they want.
No, we don't know, but here's what we know.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay.
Well, hold on. If that stuff's happening, how come it's not very public? I mean,
Because that I know about. So, okay, go ahead. You answer that
No,
question.
you go ahead. I'm ranting. But later I want to get to why the plan was sold for no war and to save humanity is why they launched this whole program. What you just said. That's the answer. It's like we're too advanced. The Atlantis blew themselves up, whether it was real or not. That's the argument for world government. And if it was real, I would support it. But actually it's not. And so it's more sophisticated.
Okay,
I'd like to hit that later when you get a chance.
So why haven't we had a mass public communication with the elves?
Because the public does not have the capacity to deal with this kind of situation. Most people...
And the elves are like janitors. People have to interface a bunch. Sometimes a Big Daddy shows up, and it's like, it's not elves.
And a lot of times, from my understanding, they're surprised that you're seeing them.
Oh.
Yeah, you're
I just watched that movie from
it's like you're jumping into somebody's bedroom at night.
Yeah.
You ever see that 80s horror movie From Beyond? With who was in that movie? It's I think it's supposed to be based off of what you call it. Who did Cthulhu?
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft,
Come
yeah.
on.
So basically, it's this scientist creates a machine that stimulates the pineal gland, and then
H.P. Lovecraft, and it grows out.
Yeah, and then they start seeing these weird things floating, and they're like, "Wow, they're always there, but you can't see them." Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
I forgot that movie. Yeah, there's another
Creepy movie.
too,
Gross.
where the pineal grows out.
That's it. That's From Beyond. Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is how it's been explained to me. Okay. So who's this?
That's a stick figure. I have
No,
no
but
idea.
you can see it's labeled, right?
What does that
So
say?
that's
What is this?
MM.
Is that Michael Mallon?
That's
you.
me.
That's
Next
right.
to that is who?
Is it says they?
What's this? Alex. Can you
Oh,
read? So that's
I
Alex.
can't read your handwriting.
And then there's you next to
That's
it, right?
me. That's me. And there's a little house. Is that smoke coming out of the chimney?
Yes, but hold on. So each of those figures correspond to three of us. What does that house correspond to?
My house.
No, that house doesn't exist, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a representation of a house that has no referent in reality. So in the same way, many of the people that we see in 3D space do not actually exist in a 4D space. They're background, but they're not fully real. In the same way that me drawing this house is not real, even though these three figures represent the three of us.
It's like Skype.
So you're saying that like we have a fourth dimensional projection and some people don't?
Yes.
What determines whether
That's
someone
crazy.
has it?
Probably the
I
way
don't know.
it's the way you vibrate. If you vibrate,
Interdimensional will.
yeah, you'll crack the Higgs field at a certain form of vibration.
The Higgs bonds or whatever.
You have pulled Tim Pool into this parallel universe. I have no idea what's going on.
You
No,
do
here's
know
what I'm
what's,
telling
you
you.
do know exactly
This
what's
is-
going on.
I understand what you're saying.
NASA tried to abandon space travel because of this. When they found out about this,
It's like
I mean,
Stranger Things.
This is real.
Yeah,
They're like
that's the upside down. That's exactly
upside
correct.
down world. They're-
You're laughing, but I'm not
Interesting.
joking.
Let me tell you guys a story. All right,
what's the story?
So I don't smoke. I don't drink. I got tattoos. I was but I wasn't boring when I was hanging out with my friends when we were teenagers.
That's not how they tell it.
Oh no, they loved it. They always thought I was stoned because I would say crazy
It's
things.
interesting ideas.
No, for real. Like, so I'm sitting in my friend's house, and they're baked out of their minds, but I'm not because I don't smoke. And I was like, "Hey guys, I know what ghosts are," and they were like, "What? No way, dude!" And I was like, "Yeah, check it out. Think about what we hear in terms of ghost stories. An old building. It's always old buildings, right? What if you were a being that existed in more dimensions than 3? The time dimension you experienced as space.
Yes.
An old building would be a large building because you could freely move about from the 1800s to the 1900s. So if you were a derelict interdimensional being, you'd be like, dude, I found this really big house. Let's go occupy it. Because you're derelict, whatever these creatures do in
Homeless,
there.
yeah.
Maybe you lost your job or whatever, and so you're just a vagrant interdimensional being. And so you go into this, and it's like you're chilling with your other derelict, gutter crust interdimensional beings, and you look over at your buddy, and you're like, hey, can you go back to can you go up to 1980 and grab me a tab? It's like, yeah, and it's like going upstairs to them. But then periodically they get little critters, humans that occupy the space. That's why they do parlor tricks. They slam the door and they jiggle the lantern to scare you, and then you leave, and then they get their space back. So
I think that's
it's a
what
fun
it is.
idea. I
It's
told
also
my friends.
interdimensionally, we have a resonance in energy. So if somebody gets murdered or something really bad happens, particularly, it leaves a psychic scar interdimensionally in the time-space rendering. And that's what I was getting back to. Whether it was the Babylonians or whether it was the Egyptians or whether it was the Mesoamericans or whether it was the ancient Druids, they would build altars on these ley lines, interdimensional vortexes of energy in the earth, which are easier, I guess, for it to resonate. It's what they think. I don't know how this all works. And then they would demand blood. So you didn't want just elves at your event. Elves are like a NPC. You want like a 100-foot tall praying mantis. You want a big goblin demon. You want whatever it is to come and give you knowledge. He'll tell you about the wheel. He'll tell you about electricity. You may not get it, but it's going to give you a lot of knowledge. But the coin it wants is blood. And what it wants is children. The energy of children. And
No,
that's
no,
why
all
every
right, all
culture.
right. No, he's not wrong.
Every culture.
He's talking
Every
about interdimensional praying mantises who
No,
want
but
blood.
You're looking at him like a blue pill person. Listen to what he's saying between the lines.
I'm
All
telling-
of these mythologies had certain similarities, and that's what he's talking
Exactly.
about.
Every culture there's a God that's going to give me knowledge.
It's in the Old Testament.
Yes.
Moloch, do not
Yes,
sacrifice.
Do
to
not give
Moloch.
your
Look,
children
look,
to the fire. They want blood. And so it's like chumming. Like you can go to the Caribbean. There's places I haven't gone there. Yeah, I'm a scuba diver, but you go pay like $1,000. They'll put you in with tiger sharks. But every day for 30 years, they bring rotten fish and feed them.
Yeah.
They show up
Train
like
them.
dogs. And so you go to these ley lines, these temples, where the Aztecs were killing hundreds of people
They
a
were,
day.
yes, yep.
And
I
it's
saw
all
Apocalypto.
because they were calling in the big stuff. They
know
weren't
what I'm
just,
talking about?
Yes,
They weren't. 'cause listen,
that's
you-
how people learn about the Aztecs.
Here's
Yes.
the deal. It's like
Apocalypto.
baseball cards. You're a high priest. You can take DMT and see elves all day. But you start killing kids at a certain point on a routine basis, you're going to call in some big daddies.
Slow
wonder if
down.
it's
So what do I
because-
got to
Sounds
do?
cra-
Does it matter
this is-
how
okay,
ugly these
okay.
kids are? That
So the
Listen, hold on.
knock 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 knock.
Who's there?
Noah.
Noah who?
Noah's having more fun than us.
True. Very true.
Listen.
No, I'm not even into this. This is what the occult is.
I would think
it's
that-
all the black magic. It's
But
all the
do
grand
you do you really believe this stuff is real?
I'm not involved in it. The globalists are obsessed with it, Tim. It's all the black magic books. As you kill a kid, the demons come give you knowledge.
It's indisputable that it's real. What it
No.
what it
Hold
means-
on. You mean the
The
practices,
psychology, the
beliefs.
practice is real.
It is indisputable that
very-
it is indisputable that people are having similar experiences that people who don't know each other.
I
So
saw
what
this-
that means, we don't know.
You want to know one of the craziest things?
Exactly.
I've
I
ever
don't
seen?
know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was watching MythBusters, and they put everybody in a booth so they couldn't see each other, And then when one person yawned, like dominoes, they yawned.
Yeah, it's all psychic.
That was weird.
So Sixth Sense.
Now, I'm half kidding. Like, I think that there's scientific explanations for shared human experience and shared human beliefs in the sense of like
The
culture.
Jungian stuff.
Like what?
The Jungian stuff.
What is that?
Jungian, the collective unconscious.
Carl
No,
Jung.
what I mean is like.
Why would anybody come up with killing kids? Why does it keep popping up?
Because the bodies are our bodies are vibrating, and they're because as the vacuum has density according to Nassim Harame's Schwarzschild proton.
No,
paper.
okay.
Equal density.
He's
so
right, though.
we're leaving a vibrating impact on the vacuum,
not right.
and blood is magnetic.
He can hear
blood
you.
has iron in it, and
course
which
you should hear me.
is
Okay.
magnetic.
Right,
And so it's
listen.
affecting the vacuum.
There's a reason why people think children have some kind of power or healing power, and it's because they are young and they grow and they have life and they have energy
And all their teeth.
And yes, and it's why in some cultures they purposefully infect children with diseases, thinking it'll cure them.
That's called a vaccine.
Oh yeah, like in
No,
some
no,
areas
no.
of Africa, they rape a kid thinking it makes them get better.
And it's a horrifying practice. Or they'll take an infected needle and they'll stick a kid or another person, thinking that your vitality
Sounds
can
like
transfer.
vaccines, yeah.
It sounds like there are people who have like natural, almost instinctive beliefs. It crosses cultures. All humans have shared functions
I
that
agree.
probably make
So
assumptions
Tim
about
Pool,
things.
where did that imprint come from? Why is every culture getting
Because we understand life.
Well,
It's why.
That is the most wrong sentence you've ever said.
What, we understand?
life.
Okay,
That is
okay, fine. We understand some things.
Sure.
And it's why Easter has the rabbit. The rabbit is fertility and springtime and life comes back.
Ishtar,
Is that what it's called? So the point
the
is,
goddess of fertility. Yeah, you're right.
people would understand the concept of
And the Christians
new
are
life
worshiping
coming.
Jesus on this day he rises. It's really Ishtar.
Yes, and same thing with Christmas. Yeah, and Mithras.
Like what, pagan?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Christmas is Mithra, and then
Ishtar
Easter is Ishtar.
Yeah.
So if some people are vibrating and apparent in like the fourth dimension, like you're saying, or other dimensions, and
Are they-
some
are
aren't,
they-
I wonder if that's because there becomes maybe it's like a clog over their ability to vibrate
No,
naturally.
Yeah, killing kids opens the gate.
And the children don't have that clog.
No,
they're
no,
still
no, no,
pure.
no, no, no.
They're still just
No,
functionally
that's not it at
vibration.
all.
You don't
This
think-
is this
No,
is
that's not it at all.
crossed into a realm far beyond what I think is sane logic.
Okay, but I mean, there are
It's
groups
not. Of course, this transcends sanity and logic.
throughout history. There are people
Doesn't make it
sacrificing
false.
children. Why do they always sacrifice children, then, Tim?
who does?
There's been all sorts of groups on record sacrificing.
You- like-
the
you-
Aztecs.
Like historical groups.
What about
weird things?
Moses? The story of Moses is about all the
because-
boys were killed.
Why?
Well, also,
why?
you've got Abraham about to kill his son.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, why is it that there are some people who think they can transfer their disease to a baby? Because there's something that people
There's
say
purity in the child.
purity,
and they
innocence,
believe-
and vitality.
There's also
and
the
so
belief that the greater the pain it causes you, the greater the sacrifice. It's kind of like the ant versus the grasshopper, right? If I make a great sacrifice now, I'm going to get a benefit in the future. And that's true. If I hold off food in my cupboard and I'm hungry today, I'll have in the winter. But they reverse the cause and effect, and they're like, well,
If
okay,
I take, I do better.
yeah,
This-
if I
listen,
cause
let me tell
harm
you
now,
something.
I'm going to have benefits later.
By the way, Tim, I want to be clear. I don't believe all this. I'm telling you from my research. You asked me a question before I went to the bathroom earlier about, well, aren't they trying to stop war? That's totally their front deal. And you also why are they? You had another point about, well, why are they doing all of this?
And we're talking about international billionaires and corporate interests and elites.
Well, here's how they recruit people. They set up League of Nations and the UN saying, we just had a war. We just killed 10 million people or whatever. It was more than that in World War I. It sounds good. You get all the good guys to join you, but then it's betrayed by other people and other corporate interests who aren't really trying to stop war. They're trying to control all the good people that would try to stop war so they have power and control. It's a big scam.
If you tell me that there are very wealthy and powerful people who are scared of overpopulation and climate change, and they're willing to do dramatic and dangerous things to hurt people to get their way, I'd say sounds like it's based in reality. If you tell me there are weird satanic death cults that transcend time and interdimensional beings, I'm going to be like, you just...
Okay, here's why you're wrong.
But no, you're talking to me about religion.
But let's go
No,
further.
no,
Let's
no,
go
no,
further.
no. Can I defend you for a second? I can do better than you do. Because a lot of the things that Alex says, he says it in a certain manner that we've been so trained to dismiss it. Here's a good example.
It's not about It's not about dismissing. It's about you're speaking of things outside of perceivable reality.
No,
The
no.
outer limits.
Hold on. Let's talk about Bohemian Grove. Okay? If I sat down and told you about Bohemian Grove, that there is a group in California where all these powerful people get together, and once a year they burn down a figure in effigy, like in
right.
Burning Man, and they have these weird festivals.
Giant owls.
Yeah, you would think, okay, this is crazy Alex Jones talk and blah blah blah.
No, I disagree.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. not just you specifically, people. Like if you just say this, they're like, okay, that's crazy. You look on Wikipedia. I mean, Nixon was there, and I can't repeat what he said. I mentioned
it was
the way he talked about it.
Rogan.
And the one time Dave Gergen, who is the most like stone cold, like no affect person, was when Alex interviewed him.
He lost his cool because that's his religion.
Look this up. Look up David Gergen, Alex Jones.
But
what happened to Bohemian Grove? And David Gergen flips his ass.
Yes. But could it just be that a bunch of weird people have a weird ritual?
But the thing is, it's not it, because we are trained to think that powerful people don't do weird things. Right? The powerful people, they're nice. They have their dinners. They have their Davos festival.
I disagree.
They wear perfect suits.
No. Hunter Biden with a crack pipe in his mouth.
Hunter Biden is not one of these people.
No, I agree.
He's
So let me try to answer your big question.
And hold on, let me say one more thing. If it was just crack, it would be fine. The things they do, because that's just pleasure. The things that they do are so weird and depraved. These aren't things that you and I would ever think of doing.
They're rites of passage.
Where do you guys learn this stuff? What makes you think it's real?
Infowars.com.
Well, yeah. So
no, when I was a kid, I just grew up knowing all this stuff. But I mean, and my family was all good people. They were all like against the government, against the system. They were all knew about it. Like my mom's dad grew up in Dallas, in the richest area of Dallas. There was this famous German inventor and who invented like modern air conditioning. He had this big research lab. My grandfather knew him. So I was growing up here. My grandfather told me how stuff really worked. And the same thing on my dad's side of the family. They were and saw a lot of stuff. But let's just say this: there's scientists and there's everybody else. If you ask who runs the world government, who controls it, it's a scientific elite. And then they have a college of scientists and a whole strata of individuals. They don't even talk to anybody else. They think everybody else is idiots. And then that's all there is this group of people that are like trying to control. And what they sell the public is, we're trying to stop war. We're trying to stop famine. We've got such advanced technologies that if we don't have a world government to control the technologies, these disruptive technologies will kill everybody, which I agree with up front. Except then there's an evil force running them that is actually handing out the weapons and handing out the technology to the worst people. They never want the good people to have it. They're always like, don't have that. You're like, okay, I agree. They hand it out to the worst people.
So I'll first to address the elves and the mantis and the sacrifice stuff. It sounds like I've heard these stories before, and people try to convince me of religion. Things that you can't tangibly see, you can't actually prove. They're outside the realms of reality. I've heard numerous stories, all conflicting and all challenging each other.
Well, here's the deal. So we're not talking about Jesus.
They could all be wrong.
And we're not talking about...
For sure. So if you're going to come to me and say, I've got this system, here's how it functions, say, been there, done. I've heard that before.
But Tim, here's the deal. I'm not endorsing any of this. I'm not sitting here endorsing...
Sure. I understand.
What I'm saying is the globalists believe that by taking the blood of children, by being ruthless, they prove their power. It's a gang initiation.
I don't know about that. Here, let me ask you this, because I've always wondered this.
Know about what? Gang initiation?
No, I got you. When you say the globalists, who specifically are you referring to? You never kind of make it clear from my understanding.
When I say globalists, they want a one world government that controls
Who's
all
they,
five.
though?
Are they international billionaire
to?
elites like
Klaus?
corporations?
The Davos Group.
The Davos Group. Okay.
So here's the other point I'll make. The one thing that really just I feel like disproves a lot of the global conspiracy stuff is, can I ask you a personal question, Alex?
Sure.
Are you rich?
Not really. No.
Were you at any point? How do you define rich? I don't want you to have to publicly say, but I know people who are extremely wealthy. And they're nothing like this. They're not interested in anything like this. And they're extremely disruptive. They're politically active. They do things that fly in the face of what you're saying. And I wonder why it is, if there's such great control over these systems, how these people come to exist with the wealth they have and the influence they have.
Well, that's why they want a global reset and a monopoly of power, because there's all these mainline. I call people that have $100 million middle class, $500 million middle class. I mean, people that control institutions are what you call rich.
So what you're saying is that you're worth $100 million? Is that what
I'm lower middle class. I mean, I'm not.
So it's 50?
Here's the deal. I've made a lot of money, and I put it into the war.
So how is it that you've been able to become so influential and successful if there is this group of to be fair, they banned you from everything. And that was seemingly coordinated all around the same time. And it was, very strange.
Because there's not just good or evil in the world. There's all sorts of ideas. And so that's why I'm still in there, because there's will. The universe is all about will.
I know what's going on. You're saying Alex Jones has controlled opposition. That's what I
Not at all.
heard. We all heard you say it in those
I'm
words.
wondering why it is that I hear these conspiracies about different groups controlling different things, and I'm like, then how is that guy a billionaire?
Oh, I totally agree that it's a cop-out to say one group controls things. There are powerful globalist groups that recruit a lot of good people in the name of let's stop war, let's stop disruptive technologies, let's stop this Atlantis moment where we have this technology that blows us up. Let's bring in a global government of control to stabilize the planet and save it. You fly above the cities. You see the overpopulation in some areas. I'm not debating Bill Gates about that. We've got major problems. But then I see the globalists themselves. They're promoting transgenderism of children. I'm not against some dude that wants to say he's a woman or is a woman. I'm against taking children and telling them they've got to have a sex change and be chemically altered at age 5. And I'm just against the whole thing. So I see what the globalists are pushing, and it's very, very destructive.
So my view on the current wave of critical race theory, intersectionality, social justice is rampant social media-based radicalization where you're only allowed to say positive things about one side, right? So it's like you were telling me before that people are allowed to smear you and insult and attack and degrade Alex Jones on Facebook, but not praise. Facebook said there was a rule that we're banning these people. You're allowed to insult them and hate them, but not praise them.
Well, yeah, about a year ago, Zuckerberg did. We're expanding the ban on Alex Jones. You may not say his name unless it's negative and you're disparaging. So what a cult. Like you cannot say this person's name
right, but listen,
unless you attack him.
I don't view that as, you know, a mustache twirling villain saying I've got a plan to stop Alex Jones or we must do something about him. I see it as we've created a culture where Twitter has gamified being a nasty, mean person.
Thank you.
But so, yes, absolutely. Good job. Good sir.
Nowless.locals.com.
So listen, when you go on Twitter, you can say something really nasty as long as it's from a left perspective and they don't ban you. And the reason why that is because they're all in that worldview thinking they're the normal people.
Yeah, it's total bullying.
So listen, when I was talking to Jack Dorsey and he said we have the misgendering policy, I said you realize that half the country, actually way more, yeah. So but I'm saying from like the left and right perspective, they view misgendering as a phrase completely inverted to the way you're explaining it. Jack Dorsey said misgendering is when you call someone by a pronoun or, you know, by the gender that's not their preferred or you know, how they identify. But conservatives would say it's the opposite. If someone is biologically male, but they say they're female and you use the male pronoun or use the female pronoun to respect Jack Dorsey, you're misgendering, right? The point is there are different perspectives. Jack Dorsey thought he was the normal guy like everybody else. They did a study and they tracked networks on Twitter. And they found that brand marketing overlaps with the resistance because the people who work in these New York advertising firms are friends with the people who work in these news outlets, and they all think they're the same normal people.
It's an echo chamber.
It's not a conspiracy. It's more of an emergent phenomenon of regular people.
Sure, but if they're consciously trying to marginalize the out group,
they're not.
They're not. They're not trying to consciously marginalize.
They're always trying to expand their power.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm
they're
saying
bullies.
is
they know what they're doing.
Why wouldn't the secret Trump voters speak up? Why wouldn't they do it?
Because there's asymmetry.
Here's the thing. I want to hear this, but we keep saying the liberals mean well. They're misunderstanding. They're Chi-Com,
saying this.
Globalist run. They're ruthless. They're winning. They're destroying us. They're enslaving us. But they pose as liberals and go, ugh.
Yes.
So we just bow down to them.
There are extremist activists.
Alex Jones is more Alex Jones than I thought he was.
Yeah, he is. Listen, there are activists. There are extremists. There is a small group of them. And what I think happens is it has always been with, you know, not with Jon Stewart, and then eventually you get these cookie cutter garbage versions of Jon Stewart.
Yeah, his children born out of wedlock, so to speak.
The cool place to be is the right is bad, the left is good, John Oliver mocking conservatives. So what ends up happening is you have these extremists, small percentage of the country, but a large number of people who bully and take advantage of this phenomenon.
That's what happened to Islam. The more radical it becomes, and the more radical it becomes an extremist.
What happens is most liberals are probably in a giant mob of people screaming, and they're scared, looking around at each other saying, I'm not going to stick my neck out because they'll cancel me next.
I think you're wrong. I don't think
wrong?
They're scared. I don't think they have an identity, and they only have an identity as part of a group. If they were in Iran, they would be hardcore jihadis. They're not scared.
No. I'm talking about the people who are scared. I'm talking about that there are people who are just going with the mob.
You project your intelligence onto them.
Yeah.
They don't care. They want power. They want control.
You're talking about the extremists. the organizers, the activists, the full-blown revolutionary communists, those that have taken the fact that there are many liberals too scared to speak out, and they just want to be accepted.
All I know is, Tim, they lie. They lie. I try to tell the truth. They make mistakes. They just keep saying, Jones wants to kill us. Jones is a Nazi. Jones, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm talking about DMT elves.
I'm gonna
and they're like literally running around saying, I want to murder black people.
Well,
they're liars.
I'm going to talk about H.L. Mencken. Just one quote.
What's
H.L. Mencken, when the great journalist of all time, just 100 years ago said, the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. And it is very effective for me if I do not have a strong will or strong position to just be part of the in-group as much as possible and go along, because then I know, like a school of fish, I'm not going to be picked out. So they're not scared of the left. They're just scared of being an individual.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
So they're within the mob, and they're worried about.
I'm joining it
well,
right now.
I'm saying many of these people are scared that the mob will turn on them too.
I don't think they think
them.
in those terms because they don't think of themselves as someone who could. What is happening?
He's wearing a beanie.
Oh, okay.
He's donned the beanie.
Okay, do I
listen.
I want to conform, Tim.
I have some friends who voted for Joe Biden. I just had several conversations with them, and the
Give me the
strangest.
tinfoil. I'll wear one. It's even more famous.
You brought tinfoil just
No,
for this?
you had tinfoil.
You took my
He's
tinfoil?
stealing our
No,
tinfoil.
it's tinfoil.
Tinfoil.
That's right.
Tinfoil.
Tinfoil.
Probably
Give me the
it's actually
tinfoil.
aluminum foil.
Give me the tinfoil.
That stuff probably works on some level.
Yeah, I'm done.
Aluminum foil. I actually read something that
This is very famous.
it magnifies
I'm a famous
the radio waves because it bounces them around from underneath.
Wait. We got our tin.
I
Oh
know.
yes, the tinfoil hat.
Who gave these guys my aluminum foil?
I don't know.
The hell?
My kitchen so we can
help.
bake
The hell?
cookies and barbecue
me.
chicken.
I don't bother knowing their names.
Oh wow. Okay, that's cold.
Thank you, sir. I want that tinfoil hat put on
I'll tell
my
you this. You know, I think I've
Suddenly, I'm defeating your hate beam.
my
my
hate
God.
beams.
Whoa.
Wait,
I think-
knock, knock.
Who's there?
Mary.
Very good.
Merry Christmas to you and your loved ones.
Oh my gosh, Michael. Who said you could tell
Tim,
jokes?
let's keep going.
Listen, I think I've said things over the past several years that, you know, Joan says crazy stuff. You went on the Rogan podcast and you were talking about animal hybrids and interdimensional beings and all this weird crazy
The
stuff.
animal
about
hybrids is real.
Yeah, chimeras.
Totally real, yeah.
Well, I understand chimerism is real and the research they're doing is real, but you were talking about like them trying to fuse people with like cow DNA to protect them from 5G or some ridiculous.
No. They're trying to grow humanoids for organ harvesting inside cows in utero. It's like 25 years
They're
old.
doing it with monkeys.
Yeah,
too.
they're trying to grow human organs in animals.
Yeah.
How you liking this
Yeah,
hat?
yeah.
Yeah, it's not new.
Right.
Tim,
Yeah.
You're wearing tinfoil.
trying to
Tinfoil.
It's looking
So
quite
I
good.
actually
like it.
read that what happens is the radio waves can still go up and then they bounce around inside your head.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
So,
makes sense.
you know. But
He doesn't look
listen. I'll tell you what's getting more and more difficult because
show.
without what?
Yes, it's true.
said
Yes.
Getting more and more
Hey,
difficult.
is this
it
a
is.
record show?
Absolutely.
Is this a record show right now?
It is our biggest show ever. Yes. it is.
Let's keep going for several hours.
All right.
Yeah,
No,
man.
I want to go back to no war.
Well, so what I want to say, and there was a point where I think Joe Rogan posted something where he was like, people owe Alex Jones an apology. I think it was like Epstein stuff or something, and then I was like, you know, when I heard the stuff you were saying on Alex Jones, when Alex Jones said the stuff on Joe Rogan, and this was
tinfoil upsetting you?
no,
No, it looks great from here.
When was that episode? Was it 2019 when you went on live with Joe
Yeah.
after a long time, and you were saying a bunch of crazy stuff, and I'm like, look, if you come to me and talk about satanic cults and these weird practices, I think you're going over the top. But if you talk about interdimensional stuff, then you're going way over the top. I think you're shaking your head at me. I think the
You don't
idea
know
is
no,
sure.
Interdimensional
Listen.
vibrations.
I think the ideas are fun. I think talking about it's fun. But what is getting weird is the fact that we had a UN doctor say no more lockdowns. You can't do this. We had. I think it
All
was.
right, let's get serious.
Well, hold on.
I'm taking the
hold on.
tinfoil off.
Yeah.
I
So
want it,
hold
though.
on.
I'm not
We
kidding.
had the
Wanna
world.
own this?
I want that. I'm going to put it on my mantle.
No, can we put it on our mantle?
Sorry, I had dibs, Tim
Holy
Pool.
sucker.
Yeah, pass
No,
it
no.
on.
Okay, listen.
No, the
You
lockdown.
can make another one.
Here's my
Hold on,
problem.
hold on.
I feel guilty that I go on shows and I joke around too much because it's so. This lockdown is the whole future of Earth. I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Right. So
Let's
listen.
get serious right now.
Yeah,
This
seriously.
is what I take seriously. We had a report from, I believe it was a UN doctor saying 250 million people will starve if we do this.
That was the head of the UN Food Program.
Yes, it was a very serious
No,
deal.
it's the head of the UN Food Program.
Right.
He said 237 million will starve to death if we don't stop this. And then now they're going, the UN says lockdown 2. You're totally
No.
right.
But a World Health Organization doctor said not to lock down, and we must avoid this at all
Yes,
costs.
yes.
And now the fact that Cuomo and Murphy are saying we are instituting more lockdowns, and the fact that Joe Biden's his COVID advisor came out right now and said we need a 4 to 6 week national lockdown. It flies in the face of the advice we're supposed to be taking from the UN and the World Health
Wait, it
Organization.
also
that's
flies
right,
in the
that's
face of the data, because we had the lockdown, and if a 4 to 6 week lockdown would have worked, COVID would have been solved in May.
And it didn't. Well, so what they're saying
Where's
is,
he going?
where are you going?
Pizza
He's grabbing
town.
pizza.
I want
They're-
pizza.
Pizza time.
Is it
They were saying a national lockdown.
By the way, when Alex is getting pizza, that's not a euphemism. We really mean pizza.
He really is getting
Yeah,
pizza.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
pepperoni?
Here we
They-
go.
Not children.
We got pizza.
They said, listen,
I want pizza.
they want a nationwide lockdown because the initial lockdowns we had were statewide, and there were many Republican states that didn't lock down. Now Joe Biden, he's the candidate. You know, I'll tell you what's really funny. Do you know Dr. Naomi Wolf?
Yes.
She tweeted this very famous viral tweet now. If I had known Joe Biden was in favor of lockdowns, I never would have voted for him. Something, I'm paraphrasing. Well, she did. Joe Biden said he would follow the science if they wanted a lockdown. He then acted like, no, I'm not going to lock things down when Trump was using that in the election. Now we're hearing his advisor saying, no, we need a lockdown. We do. Then Joe Biden said there's going to be a dark winter. Is that what he said? He said we're facing a dark winter?
Which, again, when the first world locked down, that creates a chain reaction to kill the third world, cause mass starvation, the UN admits. So the very UN is coming out and saying, don't do lockdowns 3 months ago. But now they're saying they're going to do it. It's incredibly dangerous. And, again, they've proven that lockdowns don't stop coronavirus spread. So this is all about power and control for central government.
You know, we had the human race was like wiped out by some huge percent during the last global flood 13,000 years ago. Is it just like
Is that true? Was it?
Yeah, after the global flood
happened.
Michael says no,
12,800
it's
years
not
ago,
true.
there was a flood 12,800 years ago.
I couldn't do this without you, Michael.
We should get Randall.
got you, baby.
Randall Carlson.
Except for
can,
our disagreements on the
can
elves.
supply the data. The
we'll talk about
geological
where.
data. But
I'm not
we
kidding.
do seem to have
I
extinction
can prove it
memory.
yeah,
You can prove
okay,
it.
So, assuming
kidding.
that extinction memory is real, is this just another extinction thing, and we're part of this thing without realizing it?
It's a simulation. We're in some kind of video game, and it's we're not the main characters. Welcome to the real world.
No, we are.
No, we're
I'm verified, baby.
when you play video games, you know you're the character in the video game. You know what I mean? Like you are watching. You're playing Skyrim. You make your character, and your character's running around and doing stuff, and you know I'm controlling this. The NPCs don't, so we don't know we're in control of
You're
these
not
avatars.
an NPC.
I'm not.
You're not. But
Then how do I rage quit and just go back to the fourth dimension?
Alt F4.
Can I get a trainer so that I can give myself like heat vision or flight or something?
But you,
Yeah.
What is this?
you're frustrating me, and I'm gonna have to sit you down and have a talk with you, young man. I'm not
Yeah?
kidding at all.
Dude, okay, so
Are you
we're-
saying that I can fly and get heat vision?
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm
That'd
just
be
saying
cool.
that you're looking at things in the wrong way, and you are kind of missing a broader point.
Yeah, globalists have a psychological gestalt of who they are. Doesn't mean it's even real in this dimension. It's a psychological impression where they want to sacrifice kids, they want to rape kids because they want to go against God, they want to have power over people. And this historically happens. It doesn't mean
Look, you give me things I can Google search and I can pull these things up and I can
Just
read
Google-
these articles.
Tim, just Google raping kids.
No,
You'll
no,
get all kinds of results you like.
I'm good. I'm
That's-
good.
Look
yeah.
at the videos tab.
No,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
no. It's look. You can tell me that Bill Gates said a thing about death panels. You tell me about the sacrificing kid stuff. That's just not anywhere.
Can I say something? Though?
well, you could go to Chichen Itza where they were sacrificing 1,000
Yeah,
kids.
but that's you're talking about ancient cultures and.
Why did
and-
every ancient culture do it?
Okay.
I gave you my answer on this one already.
Let me. I'm gonna.
The same reason they look at new life as pure and innocent and vital, and they think they can get something out of
And
it.
some God is demanding it.
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna
I-
give perspective here. Okay. All of us know people who went to college who probably, when they got drunk with girls, did things that they shouldn't have. And these are like things that, yeah, maybe they shouldn't go to jail, but certainly they're bad people, right? We know that. I don't think any of us knows anyone, hopefully, who systemically for decades would drug women and have sex with them against their will when he probably could have had sex with them when he wanted to. Yet that's what Bill Cosby did, right? And he's
Yeah.
not alone.
They want the power.
Right. So for us to think about what would you do
I
if
see
you're
what you're
really,
saying.
really evil, right? We would say, okay, maybe get a girl drunk. I mean, just if you or kill someone. We would never in 100 years think in these terms. And then to go on TV and be America's dad and chastise people for wearing their pants down below their butt.
Yeah, Mr. Malice, what you're saying is the key. They want to do things that are against the natural order. They want power over people. They want to take their will. Whereas me, I'm not a ladies' man, but I've dated a few ladies. I'm all about their pleasure is my enjoyment. having a woman passed out, it sounds like nothing fun. They want that power. They want that control. That's kind of a gateway to pedophilia, where they want to take the innocence. They want that power over your will. They don't want you involved in the decision-making process. They're so satanic, they want a dead connection.
I'm just going to say one thing. I don't know about literally killing children. The point is, a lot of these people are so depraved. It's the kind of thing that if we sat down, we would never think in these terms, just like Bill Cosby. We'd never think in those terms. And yet it happened, and a lot of people knew about it, and we talked about it, and no one
Say
believed
Harvey
them.
Weinstein.
No, listen,
I was
hold on,
told
hold
by
on.
Hollywood folks 2 years before it
They
came out.
knew. They all knew.
Here's my point. We know for a fact. I've watched enough episodes of Law and Order SVU. There are deranged people who do terrible things to other people and children, and I'm sure some of these people happen to be extremely wealthy and powerful, and will probably find other people who agree with them to carry out these horrible
And their
things.
drug is getting away with it.
And we know about Epstein. We know. And so that is tangible and real. To extrapolate beyond that and say there's more, I just say...
Wait, do you even hear yourself? So you're saying, oh, Cosby's real,
No.
Weinstein's real, Epstein's real, but that's as far as it goes.
No,
Next
I'm
thing
saying Epstein's real. To now tell me that there's satanic death cults that are sacrificing
All right,
children
let's do
is a
this.
step
Let's do this. 'Cause
beyond what we
so
know.
I'm so excited to be
fair.
here, and you guys are really smart. I'm not kissing your ass. Let me ask this question. Let's get into, is Trump planning a military coup? Let's get
That's
into...
a good question.
That's a great
Let-
question.
You don't
okay.
like it? You don't like it?
No, you said
I
it
don't
before
think
the
he
show.
You don't think he
I'm
is?
not leading the
Okay.
show, Tim. You said this before the show. You said, I want to get into, is Trump planning a coup?
Well, I asked because I said we talked about this yesterday.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
just going back to this.
Yeah, I want to get your perspective.
So, yeah, this is something that's being brought up by leftist journalists. There was an article written in The Guardian. Actually, I still have it pulled up from the other
Sure,
day.
we do have it pulled up,
titled
yeah.
"Can Trump Actually Stage a Coup and
But
Stay
is
in
it
Office?"
NewsGuard approved, though?
That's The
It
Guardian.
is.
It's the
So
the
it's
approved.
news-
The best of the best. So they're asking, could he really do it? And we've been hearing for quite some time that Trump is not going to leave office. He'll never leave. I think Michael Moore was saying it. A bunch of people
Well,
were
you
saying
know what George Washington said.
what did George Washington say?
I cannot tell a lie, so I'll be honest with you. Trump
He
told
never
people...
said that.
I know. It's a legend.
ironic.
It's a fable.
That's what makes it ironic,
The cherry
though.
tree.
Yeah,
Michael.
never
But
happened.
think about that makes a
Ruining
deeper
everything.
point that things that we're told as truths are actually lies.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm
Change
saying.
It was an allegory for
Oh, I learned that when I was very, very, very little. I'll tell you. So wait. You're going to quote Donald Trump. Can you put it? You said Donald Trump said something. Remember?
Well, I was going to give you some big stuff. I understand that George Washington, the cherry tree, that's all allegory.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Tim.
Tim.
Tim Pool's a dim fool.
What? What
That's a
kind of
good one.
joke?
Write it down.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Tweet it. So,
No, I talked to one of Trump's top advisors right when he was first elected. And Trump said, well, I figure they're going to try to stop me. And when they do, I'll have the Marines surround the White House. And so
That
Stop
sounds
him from what?
military.
stop them from an outside group overthrowing the presidency if Trump thought
Just
it was
like-
an outside overthrow. So your question was, is Trump setting up a military coup? Well, if you have Joe Biden, who is sold out to the
Well,
Russians,
it's the Guardian, mind you. It's the Guardian.
yes.
The Guardian says, can Trump actually stage a coup?
Can I
in
say
San
one
Francisco?
thing? Just
So we're allowed to say it because they did.
No, but the thing is-
God said it. I may now riff upon my God, the Guardian.
Yes.
they're putting the scenario so that when this doesn't happen, they can say we defeated Trump's military coup.
Exactly.
No, I agree. Here's where Trump's at. Trump is so pragmatic. He's super, so straight-laced and so straightforward. It's insane. It's like autistic. Okay? In a good way.
We don't have any of those people watching this show.
Yes, we have lots of them
Absolutely
watching.
none.
So,
No, we have a bunch of leftists watching the show, pulling clips, and then getting ready to, smear and
Well,
whatever.
too
complain for it to be banned.
They have the documents.
But what was the question? It was about what? Oh, military coup.
Yeah.
Well, just a coup in
If
general.
Joe Biden is illegally trying to steal the election, if that's the case, if there's all this fraud like we've heard, who knows, then Trump has a responsibility if someone has gotten $3.5 million from the Russian Moscow mayor's wife and all the millions from the Chinese. He has a responsibility to fight that. And so in the real world, Trump has moved the Special Forces operative in as Secretary of Defense, never before done. Usually it's a bureaucrat, never a soldier. He's moving all his people in from Defense Intelligence, General Flynn's people. They're taking over every post. And so, yes, if I was going to man the parapets to battle a foreign takeover, if that's what Trump thinks, he's definitely doing it. And all the signs are there that Trump is preparing a military garrison against a foreign takeover in his view. Wow. So, yes, I think it's very legitimate that Trump is preparing.
You know that Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh and Roberts were all on Bush's legal team for Bush v. Gore?
Oh, I did not know that.
And Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh onto the Supreme Court. That's weird.
Fun.
That's weird. It doesn't mean anything, but all the people who could have chosen. It does mean
something. He said they're going to steal the election 2 months ago with these mail-in ballots. When they do, the Supreme Court will assign it. So you knocked it out of the park, Tim Pool. You hit another hole in one, dude. Just admit you're smart.
Was my knock joke a lie?
No,
someone chatted that to us on the show, and I didn't know. And I looked into it, did a segment on it. I didn't realize. But listen, what I'm saying is, it's smoke. It's not fire, but. We're looking at a whole bunch of weird pieces that seem to be in a weird position.
Yeah, we're not in Kansas anymore.
And smoke can still kill you.
I tell you this. I am looking at a whole bunch of weird things like all of the bellwether towns, not all of them, but many of the bellwether towns being wrong. Again, on its own, doesn't really mean a lot. Right. We had COVID and riots move people around this country. We had some districts like Precinct 538 in Florida have 107.56 voter turnout, which was explained by people changing their addresses at the last minute. We also had in Wisconsin several counties that experienced the same thing. All of these things on their own can be explained, but all of these things together, plus Trump firing the top brass at the Pentagon,
America's in crisis,
and so we had Michael Tracy on the other day who said, was it Michael Tracy who mentioned this?
I think so.
He mentioned
I love him.
Was it? No, it was Jack Murphy. It was Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy mentioned that one of the guys
what was it that he said?
One of the guys brought into the Pentagon was like a very serious Trump fan and loyalist.
Yeah, it was Murphy.
That was Murphy.
Yeah.
And so when you hear stuff like that, when you hear Mike Pompeo said there will be a smooth transition into a second Trump administration.
No, they're not giving up. And notice the odds have gone now from Trump losing to starting to win as people realize, because you can debate this all day. We've never had mail-in ballots like this. We've never had things going like this. This is a crazy time to be alive, guys.
Something.
Mr. Malice, you have an incredible tinfoil hat. Put it on.
I don't want to ruin this. It's on my mantle.
Something I thought was really interesting.
I'm going to have. I now have your DNA. I also have a piece of Alexander Hamilton's hair, but
there's some interesting things outside of what I mentioned with these counties and stuff. There's also UCF Dornsif did a new. They have a new question they call the wisdom of the crowds, where they were polling people, not asking them who they would vote for, but who they thought their friends would be voting for.
Interesting.
And they said in the past 5 elections where they tried it, it was spot on and more accurate. But it didn't work this time.
It was a fraud.
Maybe, but I'll tell you what. The point I'm making is that people certainly think Trump can still. Some people think Trump can still win. More people are starting to think Trump can win. One of the most interesting things is that even though the media said over and over and over again, President-elect Biden, even though we haven't gone through the constitutional process of actually, certifying the elections, some states have certified, not all, and the federal certification, I believe, is December 8th. Predictit.org, where people buy shares. We saw Trump get a bump the other day to 18 cents, meaning
18% chance.
Well, not necessarily 18% chance, but that people were willing to risk 18 cents to make a dollar.
So let me ask this question. What do they do if Trump ends up winning? What happens to the left and their Chi-Com operatives?
Civil war.
Can I say one more thing? For 4 years, we were taught that the most important thing we have to do for this country is to preserve the sanctity of our elections. Sanctity of our elections, right? We spent 4 years looking at irregularities of 2016. Now,
we're told don't look at it.
The corporate press wouldn't spend 3 days looking at irregularities, even if they don't change the outcome.
Right.
And to question any of these irregularities is now akin to treason.
Yep.
Right.
Well, that's right. And we're also told that we saw Biden and all of them say we're going to dispute this if Trump wins.
Hillary said, no matter what, do not give up.
Yep.
The video's there.
Well, why is Trump not supposed to do that?
Hold on. This is what I tweeted. Hillary Clinton told Joe Biden not to concede under any circumstances.
In those words.
And Trump,
in those words.
Yes, and Trump must have thought it was good advice.
But did NewsGuard say that's okay?
Is what?
Did Microsoft say it's okay for you to say that?
I got to call Google and just make sure after the fact. They'll probably, ban my channels or whatever.
Yeah, because how dare you have a memory?
Look, I'll tell you this.
I know, right?
There's a name I can't say on this on YouTube at all, or Facebook or Twitter, and I think if you guys know it, don't say it. They'll take us off the air in 2 seconds. But that's a reality. If there is a name of a human being involved in all of this, and if I say he worked for the CIA, and if I say his name, the show will get pulled.
He's in a prison right now.
That guy? Don't say his name.
I won't.
They'll pull us off the air. It's that we're lucky. We're like, listen,
because they fear a patriot doing the right thing.
And
that's Trump's biggest failure is not standing up for him.
No. I'm not talking. No, I'm talking about somebody else.
Well, I heard his name now.
The Ukraine whistleblower.
Oh yeah.
You can't say his name. They deleted posts.
Oh yeah. Me too. Oh yeah, I know his name. Yeah.
Don't say
Don't
it.
say his
Don't
name,
do
Alex.
it. Don't do it, Alex.
They pulled
But
posts.
talk about a control of AI like you can't say
dude.
the name of an Italian restaurant.
I know.
So there's this question that I often talk about, the limits of what we can talk about, and
How uncool is that? Because remember, just 6 months ago, Tim, they're like, no one's censoring you. Now they don't even deny it. It's like remember, like, oh, no one's censoring anything.
right. I'm willing to say I won't say this guy's name. I call him Voldemort. If it means that we can talk about the fact they're restricting us from even talking
No,
about
I
this
agree.
guy.
I agree.
But here's the important part: is that Rand Paul, a senator,
Yep.
on the Senate
He
floor,
got censored.
He got censored. They pulled
Yeah.
a C-SPAN video off the web
So
because he was-
senators can't say the name of this guy.
That's how insane things have gotten. So I bring this up to say, I've got my limits. There are things where I'll be like, okay, look, I won't swear because we don't need to. I'll avoid saying this guy's
You
name.
choose your battles.
Because I don't need to. But if we're going to talk about the reality of what's happening, and they'll ban me for it, well, then the
I
ban
totally
is coming
agree.
sooner or
Who
later.
cares about that? Who cares about that guy? Can't even say his initials. EC.
Right.
Oh my God! Now
Don't
I'm
do
crying.
it.
No, I agree. But think about it. In America, you can't say the name of the guy that makes an accusation.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be able to face your accuser.
That triggers an impeachment of our president.
You're
Can't
saying
say his name.
A corporation censored one of our congressmen?
Yes.
Yeah,
A senator.
Senator.
You
Was-
can't even face your accuser, brother.
Rand Paul on the Senate floor was not talking about whistleblowing or impeachment, was talking about something unrelated, and simply by saying a name, they pulled the C-SPAN video
So that
off
was probably
YouTube.
an
Which
error
is a beta
AI,
test
right?
of total control. But let's talk about
No. I reached out to Google and I said, does this mean, it was in reference to a Fox News video that brought the guy up. I said, now that the mainstream media and press and politicians are talking about this, are we clear to say the name? And they said no. And they took down Fox and C-SPAN. That's
Tim,
crazy.
you're wondering why you're not banned. It's not because they're
Yeah, why aren't they banning me?
they're not keeping you around because you're in the next paradigm and they're going to ban the route below you. It's because the people inside Google are listening. They know you're right. You're convincing. You're smart. It's not an ass kiss. You were asking, like, why have they banned me today before we went live? It's because you're convincing. They know you're right. And so they even have a soul still there before AI totally takes over.
I hope you're right.
I think I'll get banned. Whatever.
Are you guys going to take the Neuralink?
Nope.
No.
Oh, let's talk about Elon Musk. I like Elon saying no to forced vaccines. The COVID exaggerations, the hysteria, he's dead on about that. But meanwhile, he's like, come into my little corner shop at the mall. I'll put a brain chip in you for $20.
Yeah, no.
It's super creepy.
It's
man.
down to 20?
Whatever. I'm being sarcastic. That's a literary flourish. But no.
You go to it's like a tattoo parlor and piercing and Neuralink.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
get a Neuralink.
get
Mark of
your
the
brain
beast.
chip, like getting your ears pierced. Yeah.
You think it's the mark of the beast?
Well, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. Well,
I just think a corporation putting a cell phone in my head doesn't sound too good.
don't you want to join the Borg though? Doesn't it sound good?
No.
Just
No.
well,
You will
it's
be
either like
assimilated.
join
Listen,
the Borg
listen.
or the Borg controls you, right? Like
Loki,
like a slave.
Loki said, "Is this not better?"
Are
when
you-
he was subjugating the people in.
Don't
the,
quote my dad against me. Okay, let's not
I
do
was
that
actually
dance.
quoting a Marvel movie.
I know who Loki is.
Yeah.
Of course.
But it's really interesting that it's very similar to the Borg. Are you guys familiar with the Borg?
Yeah, Star Trek.
It
Yes,
was-
yes, nerd. We are.
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
I know, right?
You will be assimilated.
My understanding is that the lore of the Borg was that they were regular people like humans, and they developed rapidly developed medical technologies and communications technologies, and they integrated them, and then a hive mind naturally emerged out of their connection, and so then all
Which
of
is
a
the
sudden everyone
globalist plan.
synchronized
That's their plan, actually.
to make a hive mind.
Yeah, that's the globalist plan. Like
sounds
Google was
boring.
designed to be this AI interface with us. We interface with it, then it creates a hive mind, then we accept that integrated chip.
But don't you want to be immortal as part of the one?
No, I don't.
No, I'm good on that one.
Well, do you think Neuralink's really going to bring that about? Or
No, I just think Musk wants to act like he's always on the cutting edge. So he's got the truck, he's got the Neuralink. I think it's all a
Spaceship.
bunch. I think it's all like 50. I agree with Steve Wozniak that the best AI has 1/1,000th the power of an ant's brain.
Yeah.
So the power of AI is getting us to agree to it and then having us go under its control and follow its orders. The real power of AI, all this is automation, is us agreeing with it and giving our will over to it.
You know-
AI does not exist. It's us giving our will over to that.
Just like the guy, whoever that voice is that drives your car for you. Like if you have people at a certain point where they just plug in whatever it is in Waves, whatever it's called, I don't know how to drive, and they're like even when they see there's a detour, like until the machine tells them to make that
Yeah.
left, they won't do it.
do you hear the story about the lady who was told by her iPhone to make a left, and she drove and just ran into a ditch? Like she was driving on a road, And this was some news story where it was like turn left.
No,
in 50
it'll be
feet,
wrong. They'll drive
and there
into
was
rivers.
nothing there, and she just drove into
A
a
lady
ditch.
did this?
They'll drive
Doesn't
into-
sound right.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound right.
People
was-
have driven into rivers.
Yeah,
yes,
they
that's what
have.
I'm talking about. There was one woman who was in Australia.
And that woman's name was Teddy Kennedy.
It told her to turn down a desert road, and she
God.
drove like 500 miles into the desert, and then her car broke down, and she was like, "But it told me it was an Apple Maps thing when like Apple was all broken."
I read 500 articles there more I scan over. I mean, there's a bunch of articles where people like literally the GPS is wrong. They'll just run off a cliff like.
Yeah.
I don't know about. I've never read anything that crazy.
You never
No,
saw Thelma and
they've
Louise?
driven off ditches. They've
I
driven
know.
into
I know
lakes.
the woman who drove into a river. It was like
Yeah.
it was like a ditch with water, and she it was like turn left in 50 feet, but there was no road, and she did.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Bill.
Bill Gates who?
What?
What?
What is going on here?
You
Knock,
can
knock.
add.
No. We're not. This isn't no.
like, no.
This ain't no
My
improv
job.
He's got you.
show. I came here with the routine, and we're doing it. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Bill.
Bill who?
Building 7 was in controlled demolition. Saudi involvement. I have the documents. Just got to open your eyes, see it.
Well,
Is that a quote?
Here's the story. I've been on air from like 8 a.m. when the World Trade Center got attacked. Real terror attack really happened. And I go to get a pizza at like 4 o'clock. I'm listening to CBS Radio. They had CBS radios back then. They're like, Building 7, Solomon Brothers, CIA headquarters, 47 stories. We're going to control demolition it in T-minus 2 minutes. So I'm driving home eating pizza, about to get back because my studio was at home then. And then I get home and I go, did everybody hear they blew up 7? Callers go, yeah, we heard that. Then they go, no one is telling the truth. Building 7 was not blown up. When 5 years later, they archived it all. Back then, the web wasn't big.
Oh yeah.
I got bad.
Tim, I'm nice to animals. You think I'm going to eat the cat? Tim, you think I'm going to eat the cat?
You're not going to eat the cat. What are you
I
talking
like
about?
cats. I got cats.
Yeah, Bucko's is the hardline issue, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know
So
what to tell
if
you.
we have the video from YouTube and I also have the recording, I'll be good.
You can
I'll be
fix
like,
it?
Oh yeah, I can put it together.
Well, it is what it is. I don't know. This happens sometimes.
Yeah. It's all
Welcome
good.
to living in the mountains, I guess.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah,
it's worth it,
it's
right?
rough.
I think it's worth it.
We were talking about war, right?
Well, I wanted to talk about, we never really finished the conversation on Trump.
We didn't. We got a little distracted and
Boarding
Yeah.
up the windows.
And we got to the point where we were like,
Let's
what
get
is...
serious about the debate, about the election.
Yeah.
Dude, what's up with this proprietary computer program called it starts with a D?
Dominion.
Dominion.
That's a machine.
Voting machine.
It's a
It's a voting
proprietary
machine.
voting machine that's tallying the votes for us
From Canada, yeah. And I think that is... I don't know. I don't think it's the key issue we need to be discussing.
It's crazy though.
People talk about voting machines, and these have been issues, and we could bring them up, like the Diebold machines. We had the hackers at DEF CON talking about manipulating votes with simple code and stuff like that. Sure, but I think what we're looking at with Trump's legal arguments, for the most part,
Let's wait till you're live on air. Is it ready?
I think we're back.
I think we're
I
back.
think so.
I
We
see
are
us.
back. Do not visit Pantot Video.
Yes, do not.
No. Trump's argument, and probably the strongest, is that some counties were treating ballots differently, right?
Yeah, talk about that because they would count one party one way.
No, so that's what the lawsuit alleges is that in Michigan and Pennsylvania, some counties allowed for curing and would seek out somebody whose ballot was, improper, and then say, you have until this date to fix it. In other counties, they wouldn't do that, thus creating an
Symmetry. Yeah.
right. So it's a equal protection equal protection clause, I believe it's called, violation. Trump just won a legal case in Pennsylvania.
A big one.
It was big.
It's a big win for him.
Oh yeah. Because it sets the stage
Yeah.
for. So the case was that the Secretary of State did not have the legal authority to extend the deadline for curing ballots from the 10th between the 10th and the 12th. But if that's the case, it sets the stage. The Secretary of State didn't have the authority to make any changes at all. So this could be the beginning of a domino effect.
Exactly, but how does it gut level in? Even if Trump finds fraud, is there a new election?
I do not think there is. This is my prediction, and you're not guys are not going to like to hear it. I don't if you hear the yelling. I do not think there is the institutional will within the Republican Party.
I agree.
To fight for Trump. And I tweeted this out just quickly that the Republican Party in the next 4 years is going to be fighting harder to keep Joe Biden in the White House than they did to fight to keep Donald Trump.
I
in the
agree
White
with you.
House.
I
know you
tweeted
did.
out.
Yeah. Just for people didn't hear.
Do you
So
guys
think
know?
it's a Nancy Pelosi moment where he's like the new Nancy Pelosi?
Do you guys know what happened with Turkey and the coup attempt?
No, I
Little
mean
bit.
I heard that story. I remember
This
the
was
story with
several
Erdogan.
years ago, and I'll tell you, it's what I'm going to tell you is based upon what journalists at the time were telling me, not based upon what is now considered to be the final historical record. Right? What I mean by that is there was some kind of military operation in Turkey. As it was going down, I was talking with journalists I knew, and what had happened was at some point a bunch of military Turkish army went to the Bosphorus Bridge. At some point, for some reason, a helicopter was firing at them, and then eventually they said it's a coup attempt. And Erdogan, who I believe was the president, was like on a plane somewhere, turned around and said this is ridiculous, and used the coup attempt as a pretext for purging all of his political enemies. What I was told is one of the beliefs, and again, this is just what I was hearing from local journalists on the ground, is, and maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, it's the idea that I'm trying to get to. These guys on the bridge, the Bosphorus Bridge, were just grunt-level, soldiers who had no idea what was going on and received an order.
Yeah.
Hey, we're deploying you to the Bosphorus Bridge to prevent a terror attack. They said, okay. Once they all went there, the news blasted, it's a coup attempt. And these low-level guys were like, what? No, we were ordered to come here. Civilians came and started beating the crap out of them and dragging them off.
Yeah.
So when you talk about like Trump and the Marines or something surrounding something, there's a really easy way that elites, that despots and authoritarians can use the chain of command to make it seem like they're under attack.
Oh, of course. Cry bullies, yeah.
No, I agree. But if you look at Biden and the Chinese communists and Biden and the globalists and all the Antifa and all the things they've done, they're the ones destabilizing the country. They're the ones that want war. And so, and I mean...
Didn't Kamala Harris already say, I think Molly Hemingway told me this earlier, that they were going to do a regime change in Syria?
Are they?
I think Kamala Harris just said this in the last couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling for war. They're calling for all sorts of stuff. So I don't think Trump's the type of guy, he's trying to de-escalate war. I don't think he's using Biden trying to steal the election as a way to launch a war. I just think it's the media trying to be the kingmakers again, declaring that Biden's the victory. And I think because the media is so hated, even if Biden,
you've missed it.
Even if Biden's really the winner, no one's going to buy it now.
The third,
seriously.
right there. You were still reverse. Trump.
Yeah, but you see this? It's deemed not credible by NewsGo.
Okay, click on it. Maybe it has a link to somewhere that is credible.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's often what I do for source. Yeah. So this story from the Middle East Monitor says the administration of U.S. presidential candidate Joe Biden will reverse a number of President Donald Trump's controversial policies on Palestine and the broader Middle East, according to Kamala Harris. The Democratic Party candidate for vice president made numerous pledges in an interview over the weekend with the Arab American News. Responding to a question about U.S. foreign policy in Palestine and the broader Middle East, Harris said, quote, Joe and I also believe in worth and value of every Palestinian and every Israeli, and we will work to ensure that Palestinians and Israelis enjoy equal measures of freedom, security, prosperity, and democracy.
Go to the Syria part, though. That's just, double talk.
Speaking about broader Middle East, Harris said that in Syria, a Biden-led administration will once again stand with civil society and pro-democracy partners in Syria and help advance a political settlement where the Syrian people have a voice. We know what that's code for.
Yeah.
War.
Yeah. And you know why.
Double check that quote. Maybe this isn't
reliable. They want those oil gas lines.
Of course.
Yep.
Right, the Qatar-Turkey pipeline.
Yep.
In 2009, I believe it was, The Guardian ran an article saying that the U.S. was planning a military intervention in Syria over the Qatar-Turkey pipeline. What had happened was, and I'm not the expert journalist on this, so definitely fact check me on this. The U.S. wanted to offset the Russian gas monopoly, Gazprom. It goes through Ukraine. So they wanted to tap into a natural gas well in Qatar and then bring that line up through Syria and Turkey. Syria said, we will not do this because our ally Russia doesn't want us to.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, destabilization, the U.S. supports the rebels, and now we're constantly trying to, go after Assad. Not saying Assad's a saint or anything like that. The plan from the Russian side was for Iran to tap into the same natural gas and then ship it around through Iraq into Europe, strengthening the Russian monopoly on natural gas in Europe. And so this is, once again, resources, fossil fuels, leads to war and conflict.
And can I say one more thing? Yeah. You, me, Mr. Conspiracy Theory, Alex Jones, everything we've said today, we've all said, assume we're misinformation, double check it, Google it for yourself. I was talking about Ishmael.
But CNN doesn't do that. It's all authoritative. Like,
they never
this is
say,
the
look,
voice of God.
Right.
They never say that.
No, quite the opposite. Brian Stelter ran a segment where he said, don't watch them.
Yes.
Their spin, only watch us. We heard, was it Jake Tapper, I think, who was like, you're not allowed to read the WikiLeaks documents. It's illegal, but we're allowed to. It was Cuomo. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jake. It was Cuomo.
Tapper's pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know what? Why did Jake Tapper always look like someone just farted?
I know. He must have a Prius. I don't know. That's what I can
Maybe he's got a bad diet and it's him.
Maybe it is.
Cuomo said, got to fact check this too, everything's we're evil. He said, listen, you're not allowed to look at WikiLeaks, only we are at CNN. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you what's in here.
Yeah. It's yeah.
I think we got to stop referring to people as elites, like people that are very wealthy.
They're
and powerful.
maggots.
Yeah, because elite
No,
insinuates
no.
that you're good at what
I'm
you
sorry,
do.
I'm a Hamiltonian.
Well,
I will not give up that word. That's my
Maybe they're
word.
not
Elites?
Yes, absolutely.
The
Right,
word
right.
elite-
And I don't like dehumanizing
The
because
word elite infers that you're great, and
There are-
people that are trying to
Some
destroy
people are better than others.
humanity are not great.
what is it?
They're
Some
cruel. They're misinformed. They're not elite.
So they're corrupt oligarchs or kingpins.
They're powerful.
Yeah.
You know,
Elite is not
You have
having a
to
moral
imagine-
component to it.
you have to imagine the simple way to explain a lot of what we have talked about is that murderers are real, and sometimes people with extreme power and money are murderers.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
it's really-
it behooves you to be a murderer because it'll be easier for you to get ahead if you have no. Here, I made this point with, I'm not going to mention her name. She was on my show. You're welcome. Who was Democratic operative. I said, if I am a president, and it is part of my job to wage war. And sometimes I'm going to have to do it, let's pretend. And I know that means a lot of caskets from good boys and girls, and then, they're coming home, and it's an unfortunate thing, and this is the responsibility I've chosen for myself in the best of worlds. Why would I not take out one person if I knew that person is keeping me from the White House? Just in that net, and she didn't have an answer for me.
If there is, I think there are groups of people that are powerful and work in concert. I think often
You mean us? The three of us?
Right. Like we plan a show, we have influence, we have a massive amount of people watching, and so that creates us. We work in concert, we get more influence. But I think there are wealthy people who are powerful who probably team up on certain projects. That's a fact. Sometimes it's criminal. Conspiracies exist.
Yeah.
So
The Constitutional Convention was a conspiracy.
Yeah. Criminal conspiracy.
And the
gets
fact
frown.
that we're taught not to think like that is to handicap us. It was after JFK was killed in 1963 that the CIA, it's been declassified, developed the term conspiracy theory. Don't listen to intellectual argument. Don't listen to facts. Don't look at the information. Just call them a conspiracy theory. It's an excuse not to look at what they're saying.
I'm going to make one point. You could talk about the universities, the media, the Republicans, Democrats, Trump, Pelosi, Biden, sports, labor unions, corporations. It is only when you bring up the CIA that the reaction is you're a crazy person. There's no other group that if you bring them up, the reaction is like, you're crazy. Name other group.
There are a lot of groups that are the figure of various conspiracy theories.
No, but if you bring up some group,
The Vatican.
Yeah, or the Illuminati.
If you bring up
or,
the sure, that's
The
that's the
Jesuits.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
The Illuminati.
Well, let's
The
talk about
CIA and
this.
the Illuminati.
Let's talk about this. Tim, you raised the point about, is Trump going to try to stay in power? Well, should he try to stay in power if it's a fraudulent election, or if Joe Biden is foreign backed?
This is a very, very serious
The Nixon question.
conundrum. A very, very,
1960.
very, very serious conundrum. There's two realities forming.
Yes.
In the mainstream reality, Joe Biden is president-elect. Shut up. It's true. In where I sit, and I'm peering into the mainstream media, and I'm looking at what the Trump the base is saying in conservative media.
In 4D space.
Yes, we have not yet gone through the constitutional process to certify a winner. And to me,
And Biden said we shouldn't do it until it was certified.
and so it's
So how are they going to deal with this when people don't buy what they say? Even if Biden really is a winner, they've lied so much, people go, wait, you're saying he's a winner, I don't believe you. Their credibility loss is so huge, what happens?
Yeah, that's
No.
That's something very helpful about Alex.
if we go through the constitutional process and it ends up this legal victory today for Trump could be the catalyst for many more legal victories. Now, the Vox.com, NBC, and the Atlantic.
Well, tell folks the victory. Just,
Trump, the Trump campaign, I believe it was just before Election Day, filed a lawsuit against the Secretary of State in Pennsylvania, arguing that she did not have the legal authority to change the deadline for certain ballots. What had been happening is that she had said, if a ballot comes in and it's missing information, we can cure that by contacting the person and they can fix it. I think it had something to do with identification to prove that the ballot was theirs. Well, Trump's argument was, you don't have the authority. It's up to the legislature to determine the election code. A court, and this is a state court. It's not federal court.
They're creating law.
They agreed. And they said, so certain ballots will not be counted. On the surface, it's just a victory in terms of ballots that were to be counted between the 10th and the 12th that needed to be cured. However, some are now arguing that it opens the door for everything these secretaries of states have done in violation of court orders or the election code. When they said we're going to do extended deadlines, and when they said we're going to do mass mail-in voting, the Republican state legislators in many of these places never certified that law. They never made that law, and thus it may be a violation of election code, in which case it could open the door for this.
Exactly, because you have a bunch of Democrats legislating politically without the legislature.
So the issue then is, if on the 14th something happens, or on the 8th, There's let's say on the 8th they certify the states. By the 14th, the disputes aren't resolved. States are jammed up. For some reason, Donald Trump is given a process victory. Everyone on the left is going to be confused. And they're
That was my next question. What happens if Trump wins?
Well, so listen, I'll tell you. My friends who voted for Biden don't watch or read news. And so all they know right now is Biden won. And I had a really long conversation with a friend of mine last night, and I said, no one's won. And she was like, yeah, I know. I was reading. I realized that the race isn't over. It's crazy. She's like, none of my friends believe me. So what do you think happens then? When it comes down to the actual constitutional process, due to these things, Trump ends up winning.
They go completely crazy.
They will go crazy because they're
and you can't blame them.
Right. So the media is going to say, we all know Joe Biden won. We all know Trump's cheating and stealing the election. He packed the Supreme Court, and Amy Coney Barrett was put at the last minute to steal the election.
So they knew what they were doing before they pulled this. This is really premeditated.
I'm not saying I know.
They've laid the groundwork.
Oh no, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying
For civil war.
Based on
it doesn't have to be civil.
Based on what happened.
Well, what happens? What do you call this?
Peaceful divorce, Alex. Not every breakup has to be with punching your husband
I'm not.
in the face.
I don't want a
listen,
civil war. I'm not saying it's going to
I want a
happen.
divorce.
I'm not saying.
I'm asking,
listen,
what do you think happens?
Let's Tim finish, and I'll answer your question.
I'm not saying anything was planned. What I'm saying is, if you have 77 million people who voted for a guy, don't read the news, and are then told Trump is president,
That's a time bomb.
they're all going to be like, oh no. And there's no effective way to reach them to tell them, here's why it happened, here's what's happening. It doesn't matter who's right.
No, I agree.
Doesn't
They're
matter who's
being
wrong.
gaslit, telling he's the winner.
Yes.
They were lied to.
Yep.
So if it goes the other way, then they're going to
Well,
go
no,
crazy.
but to be fair, it has been a tradition in this country that when the media projected the winner, the other person would just concede.
But that's because before social media, the media could completely
And they
control
weren't
the
mailing
narrative.
out 80 million ballots.
And
Right,
then
right.
you had
The-
Drudge
so
come along.
listen.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to make is,
Yes.
I am not saying that the media did this on purpose. I'm saying the dominoes are falling in such a way.
No, you're right.
It doesn't matter.
No
what
matter
their
who's
intent was.
behind it, it's a perfect storm.
No, but maybe
Can
no
I
one's
say one more thing?
no one's behind it.
Let's suppose there's 100,000 ballots that were a genuine mistake. The Trump fans will go to their grave believing this was intentionally 100,000 stolen,
Right.
rather than incompetence, and you can never convince them otherwise. And I don't even blame them.
And that's why we need to have a process where we investigate.
Because here's
and
the
go through
deal.
go
I
through
don't
the
like
courts.
Governor Newsom, but at least he's well-spoken and sharp. If he ran and beat Trump, you'd think maybe that's possible. Biden doesn't know what planet he's on. And so that's why it's so unbelievable for people. They're like, I mean, Kamala,
Kamala.
Kamala
Like
only
Kamala.
got like 0.5% or whatever
I
it was.
respect everybody.
It was less than 0.5%. No one
It's
buys
like
like
she's biracial.
no one buys this, man.
No. You know what? You are so wrong, Alex. Joe Biden promised us true and anonymous
no.
pressure and Badacath care, and that is that was powerful.
He said, "I am my grandma."
When
and I am Bo
when,
Biden. I mean, it was-
when Joe Biden promised to mobilize true and anonymous pressure, and said that Badacath care is a right, I knew he was the president for me.
I mean, listen, here's the deal. I used to think like a year ago that maybe they're taken out of context. I'd watch his speeches, and I'm like, I've had grandparents with Alzheimer's. This is how they acted before they died.
Some of it's out of context.
What's that
some
Freedom
of it is.
Tunes we were
Absolutely.
talking about? Like
Well, why do you say this? Sometimes he's really can speak, but other speeches he's hammered hell.
There's because he's old and he's not with
it's called
it.
sundowning.
Yeah, sundowning.
Yeah, it sure is.
There was one
What
thing.
is that?
Sundowning. So there's a phenomenon. Again, don't trust me. Look this up yourselves.
I will tell you. I worked with elderly people.
Elderly people.
Elderly
When the sun goes down, their cognitive faculties
evening.
go down, and we don't know
It's,
why. I
well,
don't think.
well, it's because they've been up too long.
It's not because of that.
It's not.
Tim.
It's sun. It's the light, I guess.
Well, let's take my
We
dad.
don't know.
My dad's the smartest guy I know, but some mornings he's not that smart, and some afternoons he's super smart. So he kind of goes. I think they kind of go in and out.
But that's one data point. There's an actual studied phenomenon. I have the documents, and it's
You
called
do, huh?
sundowning.
You
Yeah.
have the documents.
There's a video of Joe Biden, and he says, "I'm gonna beat Joe Biden," and that's the only clip you see. And then everyone's saying Joe Biden thinks he's gonna beat himself in the race. The full video was Joe Biden saying, "Look, people often ask me what my policies are going to be. Well, I'm Joe Biden, and I'm going to be Joe Biden."
Yeah.
He didn't say beat, but it's because we kind of slur over our T's as we speak, colloquially. People just heard him say beat. There's
but
many
he
instances.
did say stuff like,
True and anonymous under pressure.
Yes, that.
man, I'm telling you, it's some freaked out stuff. I mean, he says some crazy things.
Oh yeah. He said he was running for the Senate. Is there? Can you run for the Senate and the presidency at the same time?
What about how Hunter
yes,
Biden's
can.
been gone for months, and then he has his victory speech, and then
There he is.
Hunter Biden pops out like the Jack in the
Well,
Box.
because he was keeping him out of the limelight because he's bad.
Where's that? There's this Freedom Tunes great video where Joe Biden's like, you make $1 million at the store and you're on the treadmill and you put the product in your
And it's
thing.
really him.
What happened?
And I've been in the lake. I've been in the pool with the black kids and the roaches,
gosh.
and the hairs go up.
But
Black kids are just as good as smart kids.
But he talks like this, and so I'm in the pool with my leg hair, and the kids rub my legs, and the hair glistens in the sun. That's weird. I saw a really
that is
fun.
like satanic poetry.
There was
satanic. Alex.
yeah.
Satanic is beautiful.
There was a very funny tweet someone said. Someone tweeted, I'm starting to think Corn Pop wasn't such a bad guy.
Corn Pop is real. They found his obituary.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Corn Pop.
Hey, remember Jack Dorsey wrote like, "I love the satanic verses."
But that's a book.
I
That's
know.
against Islam.
I know, I get it. They spun that.
What were we just talking about?
And
Before
I had to
we
be
got-
honest with my listeners. I said, this is not Jack Dorsey.
We were having a very serious conversation
We
about
were.
perceptions
We
and
started talking about
77
Joe
million
Biden.
people. And
You were
So I
talking
brought
about-
up satanic verses, where he
Yeah,
was not
to
being
derail
real satanic
everything.
verses.
Yes,
he was talking
correct.
about,
Yeah.
He was talking
the
about.
book. Salman Rushdie.
I'm just trying to desperately focus the conversation, but
How's
it's very
it working?
How
difficult.
about we
you know?
take questions from your commenters?
Oh God,
We
the
will.
plebs.
We'll definitely.
Yeah, we take super chat.
rabble.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't get on a plane to talk to the masses.
Michael. Yes, you did. You're
So
talking
this
to
is-
us.
Hey,
Listen.
Mr. Malice,
Yeah, Mr. Jones.
you have an original Alex Jones on TV form tinfoil hat.
TV.
It's
Not many of
true.
these are. No, that's like
That's
Excalibur.
one of a kind.
Put it on yourself right now.
You took my aluminum foil from the kitchen and put it on your head, and now are trying to act
you're
like it's some
giving
kind
it
of great
to
object.
Michael.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Woodrow Wilson had a stroke.
Now I got to go to the store and get more aluminum foil.
You got
That's
plenty
true.
here.
We're almost out now.
We gotta have aluminum foil beanies. You should sell them.
Yeah.
aluminum
he should.
foil, silver in the beanie, creating a network to repel
Silver nitrate
waves
or whatever they use.
Yeah.
Silver nitrate. Also, it's antibacterial.
Hey, Mike,
So,
Michael, you were saying that some people vibrate and can be.
No. We're
experienced
talking
on
about
another
Trump
dimension.
and we're talking
Yeah,
about
but
the
that was
election.
boring. Let's
No,
talk
it's
about
not.
this stuff instead.
I wanna
Oh,
know-
I wonder who the host of the show is. Interesting.
I want to know politics.
Yeah.
And we will wrap up on this because we are talking about what
We're
happens
wrapping up.
What?
on this topic.
You don't like
Start-
rap?
Okay.
I'm
We're gonna
just-
wrap
like
on this
tinfoil
topic.
wrap. There we go.
No. I just want to make sure that
JJ
every
Fad.
time we start talking about, like the past several times we've talked about the current state of politics and the election, we kind of veer off and then
Yes.
don't come back.
I agree. You lead the discussion.
No, so I'm just, I want to,
Yeah.
You're the only person I know that has a floating plant.
I have a
That's
floating
true.
plant right in
Too?
front of me. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
my
there's a
gosh,
couple
we
of
could
them.
show
Yeah,
it.
it's just hovering there. We didn't.
Well, aim a
we-
camera down on it.
well, we don't.
can't.
We will eventually.
I
the
am
cameras.
more hopeful than ever about the future of this country.
With the floating plant?
Because I think, as someone who is an anarchist, I think the mechanisms for people to have conversations about what needs to be done are completely dissolving at an exponential rate.
I agree with that statement because all these liberals I know are voting for Trump. Now that Trump's perfect, they're getting out of their paradigm. And conservatives are waking up. And so people are getting out of their boxes.
Yes.
And there's a big breaking up of the controlled fences that were keeping us basically on the plantation. So I think there's a huge political awakening happening, not just here, but worldwide.
And but Joe Biden did a better job beating Bernie's voters than he did beating Trump's voters. And
He
that's
did.
something that
Yep.
a lot of people on the left are going to have a very rude awakening about.
I'm really impressed by this, that Joe Biden was able to convince the Occupy Wall Street crowd to vote completely the opposite of everything they fought for.
You explain
for 10
this
years.
well. He's total corporatist,
Oh, yeah,
total
yeah.
war. Explain
No,
that.
In Occupy Wall Street, September 17th, 2011, people flocked to Zuccotti Park in New York City saying, "We are the 99%."
Yeah.
Obama was president. Joe Biden was vice president. The cabinet was stuffed with banking interests. Goldman Sachs speeches were the standard fare for some of these people. And they were very much international interests selling us out to major international corporations, notably the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which Trump crushed as soon as he got in. All of these people are there on the ground in New York City saying, Wall Street bad, 1% bad. The Obama administration. They were in power for 3 years. I should say they were in office for 3 years when this kicked off. The next year we got Black Lives Matter. These people had been complaining about people like Joe Biden for the policies he's created that were racist, or for the policies that they led that helped create all of these problems.
Specifically within the Democratic Party. 'Cause
Yes.
they're like, we don't
But
expect
that's
that better
the-
from the Republicans.
And it was,
but-
and listen. During Occupy Wall Street, I often heard this. What has Occupy even done? They got the DNC to move its money to a union-owned bank, Amalgamated. So they did target the Democratic Party on purpose. Next up, 2016. There were some protests at the RNC. A couple people showed up, mostly boring. You were there. I remember you yelled at Cenk Uygur.
That was hilarious.
The
That
hold
photo
on.
of you standing like this.
At the DNC, however, thousands of people protested the Democrats, shaking barricades, trying to jump over. These people were screaming at the Democrats for what they had done, and they didn't care about Trump. They didn't care about the Republicans. Now, most of these people, not all of them, because some of them flipped and voted Trump, are now cheering for the very man they protested for 10 years.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because we remember, we're all old enough to remember, 5 years ago, Black Lives Matter was presented as a joke by the corporate media. And they're like, look at these silly people. They're ruining things for us. They show up at restaurants, ruining people's lunches and brunches. This is ridiculous. And now, I tweeted this out. I think you retweeted it. I said, we're 5 minutes away from these riots, 24 hours, these riots getting corporate support.
Yep.
And within minutes, all the corporations like Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos does not. He cares about black people as much as he cares about white people as a resource to exploit. And now it's become normalized, even though it's lost any kind of real semblance of.
Well, I mean, that's
how did we get? When I'm talking to my friends,
it's the globalists,
and they're like, "We're progressives," and I said, "Why did you vote for Joe Biden? Because Trump's a fascist." And I said, "Joe Biden, and along with Obama, brought us into more Middle Eastern war. They destabilized Libya, bringing back the North African slave trade. They destabilized Syria, creating the refugee crisis. I've covered these things. Donald Trump...
And those aren't in dispute, by the way, what
right.
you're saying.
That's a
It's
fact.
not in dispute.
Yeah. And Donald Trump, bad first couple of years. John Bolton was a big mistake. That's obvious. Drone strikes were going up. But in the past year, they've been going down. And we've seen Middle Eastern peace agreements.
Sure, so you're talking about reality versus the propaganda.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed with Joe Biden that he was able to convince. So after the DNC cheated,
It wasn't Joe. It was the corporate
You know what I
press.
mean. You know what I mean.
But I think it's important to make that distinction.
Bernie Sanders was
Good
cheated.
looking hat, though.
Bernie Sanders.
I feel like a hunk.
Bernie Sanders was cheated by the DNC.
Yes.
Yes. They all got phone calls, Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg. Tomorrow, you're resigning, and you're throwing your support behind someone who has less
By
votes
the way,
than you.
what killed the young turds? Was it Uygur saying he wants to have sex with animals?
No, wait. I know what you're talking about.
Was him saying he loves pleasure animals?
What?
Pleasuring animals is good, he said. Was it?
I think that's out of context.
He said
He said something about it was an argument
If
about
he was
morality.
a dictator, he'd legalize pleasuring animals.
I think.
And they got very excited.
All right.
The point is, I'm asking, was it the pleasuring of animals statement, or was it him being for Bernie and then turning around the next time and then saying he's for Hillary?
It's an amazing bit of plastic, I would imagine. In terms of it's a plastic position.
Are you against pleasuring animals?
I am not. I am against this. Yes, that's a very weird thing to ask.
Yes.
Well, no, I'm just asking. Sink wants to pleasure. I mean,
anyway,
if I thought of being world dictator, I would not think about
what I'm saying
of
is
pleasuring animals.
I can't.
Admit it's funny, Tim.
Wait, you're taking it out of context. He could be the one being pleasured by the animal.
Oh my gosh, Michael, you're not.
It's
helping.
true.
Wasn't Cenk talking about
Not
how if it was the animal doing it or something?
Why is he talking about pleasuring
Yeah, I have no
animals?
idea.
Why are you bringing it up?
Let's
You see,
see.
listen,
I want-
no. I'm not a fan of this stuff. I'm really not. When people
Listen, I'm having some fun here. I'm asking about that guy. You brought him up.
because people
I'm asking. I'll do the Hulk Hogan thing here. I'm here to tell you right now, Tim Pool, or now Macho Man. I want to ask why.
low-hanging fruit.
No, it is low. It's
Low-hanging
fun.
fruit, out of context.
It's fun.
And it's not an argument that has anything
I
to do
admit
with
it.
the betterment of
All right,
what's
let's
happening.
get back to pedophile vampires.
No, we're talking about how Joe Biden and the corporate press convinced the activists who oppose war and the big banks to vote exactly for it. It's impressive.
No, I agree. You're right. I'm wrong. Why is the left claiming they're woke when all the big banks, all the money, everything is against Trump? Biden's pro-war. All of it's a giant fraud because they just want to feel trendy. They just want to hate Trump. And in a way, Trump is a triumph of the media that they could get people to turn for war and against prosperity all because they don't like the orange man. It's almost like Trump's in on it. I don't think he is.
Yeah. Well, that's actually we bring it up from time to time. When I was covering the original Trump rallies, like the first, not the original, but like the first campaign in 2015 and 16, there were people. This is a specific event. I was outside of Fort Lauderdale Trump
He did
rally.
say pleasure animals.
And there were people holding up signs saying Trump and Clinton are friends. They're in on it. It's all part of the game. And so there are people who believe that Trump is supposed to play the villain so that they can get Americans to accept war.
Like
and
it's a
banks
WWE deal.
Yeah. So Trump is the
But here's the deal. I know
purposefully
how Trump's
boastful
been
and-
persecuted. I have. Trump's fighting for real, though. But maybe
I
at a sick
definitely
level,
agree.
he doesn't know he's being played. Maybe that's what it is.
That's not impossible.
I love
God, that is an incredible hat. Where'd you get that?
Some crazy person on the internet gave it to me.
I'm loving how there's some tweets popping up where they're saying the media. There's many people in the media who keep saying Trump will not be president. It's over, and ignoring the actions he's taking to not leave. He's saying it very. He instructed the federal agent.
Fox, Kayleigh McEnany would start talking about this.
Oh, let's say this. In 4 years of Trump, this is the most boss stuff. Not giving him the transition money.
No.
Saying we're staying.
No,
Go
no.
ahead, go
The
ahead.
most boss stuff was when he turned the bus around when they were going to go
Oh,
overseas.
yeah.
That was the best.
Oh, it's awesome.
Pelosi and all the
Trapped in the bus, going in
yeah,
circles.
and they're like, okay, no, we're pulling at the plane fare. You guys got to go back.
That was amazing.
That was the most boss moment.
True.
So, man,
Is that your most prized possession right now?
I have a piece of Alexander Hamilton's hair, and I have Ayn Rand's copy of The Fountainhead. So no.
this has
Third most-
already been just a very, very weird conversation.
So is that
No
like
one
number?
sees that word. That's a basic.
Fine,
word.
give back
Weird.
the tenfold hat
Yeah.
then.
Intriguing.
I'm not giving it back.
Intriguing.
This is my hat now.
Civil War
Are you?
reps.
What are you? Elizabeth Warren, Elizabeth Indian giver? No.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Sorry, Native American giver.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, try to get our regions correct on this show.
Good stuff.
Spirit magic helmet.
If I start dancing now, it's going to change the weather.
Tim Pool has a castle in the woods.
He does. It's true.
No, I'm serious. He's got
What?
skateboard ramps that go from the fourth story
No.
down to a labyrinth.
That's
True.
not true.
Caves.
All the way to
Stop
the
telling
basement.
people my secrets.
And he's got this weird pizzeria in the basement.
He does. It's
And
very
it's
cool.
slash kindergarten.
It is
Yes.
a pizza. Yeah, we have a little pizza
No
thing.
kidding.
he
But it's,
doesn't
it's
have
only
that.
a little air fryer though. It's not like an actual oven or anything.
Yeah.
But we have pizza rolls, and you put them in the air fryer. It's really cool. It's like a microwave. It's both.
way
It's,
cooler
It's an
than
air fryer
microwave.
and a microwave. It's
We had
amazing.
to order pizza.
Yeah, I
You
know.
did, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm actually kind of offended you ordered Papa John's. To be honest,
Yeah, he doesn't like
I
Papa
didn't
John's.
order that.
Because he got fired because he's not woke enough.
he got fired for criticizing the use of the N word.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Yeah.
he was woke. He
Yeah.
was like, how dare the
He was being a
KFC
good
guy
person.
say the N word? And they were like, you're fired. And they
Yeah.
took his name off the schools and they booted him from the company. That's creepy stuff.
Yes. It is.
Hey, all I know is I'm here with the great Tim Pool
Hey, how's it going?
Correct, sir.
and Dr. Menace.
I'll tell you what, man.
Dr. Menace.
Yeah.
And we're
Menace.
here. We're here.
Dr. Menace.
Imagine the world, though, that we're not supposed to have this discussion. Who's saying
Sad.
censor us? Who's saying this is even controversial? This is a good discussion.
I'll tell you what. You know,
To be fair, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor just like Joe Biden.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
good. Doctor of education.
Well, he's going to lock. We should go back to this. This is the most important point. They're preparing a new lockdown.
Yeah.
Even though the UN says don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though they say it's going to kill millions.
specific UN doctor. I don't want to. It wasn't like a grand UN
Well,
declaration.
the United Nations head envoy for the COVID-19 global response said we
Sure.
should not do the lockdown 2 months ago, and
Right.
it's already starved millions to death. It can kill 235 million or whatever it is.
There you go.
So there you go. That's the exact statement. But I'm glad I'm at this next level fact checking because I was seeing it. I could just say the moon's made of cheese. The
Yeah,
sky's
definitely.
pink. But I mean, no, the UN says don't do it, but we're told the UN says we're locking it down forever, killing generations of wealth to go into more debt. It's dangerous. We don't want a new lockdown. My God, I like what versus all the anti-gay statements because it's pointless. Bolsonaro, he's like, we're not wimps,
Oh.
we're not idiots. We don't need to be scared of this thing. Stop it. He's right.
I think what we've seen is that we tried locking things down. It didn't work out too well for anybody. The scientists have.
But their argument is you need more of a lockdown like Australia.
Right. That's you know what's going on in France. You can't leave your house without your papers.
Yeah.
No joke. Like
Yeah,
you
it's
got
just
to
a
have government.
martial law training drill.
Got to have your government
He's
papers
right.
to go out. And they started rioting, and there was a mass exodus from Paris where like tens of thousands of cars were gridlocking the highways,
Trying to get out
trying to get
Yeah.
out because they knew it was coming.
to Tim Pool's house.
Well,
Yes.
I'll tell you, it's one of the reasons why we went out to the middle of nowhere, because the
Where were you before?
Philly suburbs, South Jersey.
This is a very nice place.
Now
here.
we're in Springfield.
yeah.
Now
sure.
we're in Springfield. Yeah,
Now you're in Missouri.
yeah.
yeah.
So
Why did you move to Missouri? It's a beautiful place.
It is a
get away
beautiful
from
place.
everything, just get to
It's
the
so
middle of
green.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Water.
To look at
and-
the arch.
To look at
That's right.
Yeah, well, I have family from St. Louis. Here's what happened. Let me tell you the story. I was in New York, and I lived on Myrtle and Nostrand. You know what that street is? You know why that street matters? No. Because a black identity extremist executed 2 cops.
Oh, yeah.
On I believe
Oh,
it was,
I got in trouble for that.
on what?
That incident. Yeah.
You got in trouble? Oh, you tweet something or what?
No, I was on. I don't want to get into it.
All right. Well,
What
anyway,
about
listen.
Target that got looted? Just apologize for being racist.
So and now they want to do like a black oriented like reopening or whatever. But so listen. I lived on this street and I didn't know what happened when it happened. I got a text saying, "Are you anywhere near the shooting?" And I said, "What shooting?" And like a text said, "Like these cops were killed." And so I immediately got up. I was sitting in my boxers eating a burrito, like my day off, you know. I'm like, I'm chilling. This was 2014, I think, and I was watching Cartoon Network or some ridiculous show. And then I get up and I look out my window, and the whole street's shut down. Lights are shut off, and there's major crime scene, cops everywhere. So I put on my clothes, grab my camera, go to my front door, and the cops standing outside tell me I'm not allowed to leave. And so I was like, all right. I go back in. The cops keep walking. Then I go out and I run up to the scene. I start filming, doing my journalism thing. I started to think to myself, like, man, this happened right where I live.
Yeah.
We've got these escalating protests. We've got these tension, these riots. I probably don't want to be in New York City. So you know what I did? I moved just outside of New York City. And then guess what happened? Somebody planted bombs in Manhattan and Jersey City. Yeah. And I said, okay, I can move a little bit further away. And then we started seeing more unrest and protests. And I decided I probably want to get somewhere that's close to an urban area, but not the biggest. So I go to the Philly area, South Jersey, but I'm on the other side of the river. Now I'm thinking, listen, I'm close enough to Philly. We got a city, we got access, we got internet, but I'm on the other side of a river, so ain't nobody coming here.
Except for Washington.
And then, sure, yes, when you cross the Delaware. But then in June, the riots crossed the bridge. Literally marched across the bridge, and we could hear the helicopters, and I was like, are you kidding me? Okay, that's it. You know what? I expect this stuff is going to keep getting worse. And then we'd already had the lockdown. We already saw that a bunch of the stores were stripped clean. Like there's a photo on Instagram I got of my buddies like standing in the aisle. There's no toilet paper anywhere, and I'm like, you know, if there's no sign of this stuff chilling out, it probably makes more sense.
No, I agree with you. I told my wife this morning.
Get out.
I said, Austin's not even safe, even though we live on the edge.
I can't believe Joe moved to he moved to Austin, right? Is that
well? Where he moved is kind of outside town. On the river, like it's controlled. But where I live, it's already gotten out of control. There's already homeless down the street. There's already more crime.
I was just in Austin 2 months ago. It was shocking what they've done to that city.
They've ruined it. They've ruined it. They've
ruined
it.
Shocking.
So Joe Rogan kind of jumped out of the fire into the frying pan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like LA's sphincter hovers over Austin.
Yeah.
When I said, you know, we should get a new place, it's also a combination of I've been trying to buy a building to expand and you know, start some new stuff and hire people. So we're unable to because of COVID. It's frozen everything. But so once we get this place, we had the internet cut out already once. The plan was not to be here. We were just trying to start building it out and getting it set up. And we're supposed to have Verizon come in and lay down the fiber lines. I said, it's getting too crazy. Let's just go there for the time being because we're getting close to election day. Then the riots broke out just before the election. National Guard gets deployed. And that's going to impact.
Well, that works well. So you got a house and where your studio is.
So long story short, I ended up leaving the Philly area because I was worried about exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah.
There was an incident where during the peak of the riots, some guys tried breaking into a gun store, and the gun owner, the shop owner, was waiting there, and he put a bullet in one of the guys, took him out. I went and talked to a local gun shop because I'm now a gun owner, and he told me that he got a call from the ATF who warned them that the rioters were targeting gun shops and to be warned.
Oh, yeah, they've been robbing in Austin. They pull the doors off, and Antifa, and they steal the guns.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's not even on news. The gun shops bring me the footage.
But check this out. This is what the shop owner told me. He said, once I got that call, I slept in my store. And I said, was that the day? And he goes, that was the day they robbed the gun store in Philly and the guy got shot and killed. And I was like, so the ATF called that guy, told him they were going to target the shop, same as you. And it just so happened that all the gun store owners were probably sleeping in their shop armed. They tried breaking in, shot him.
Yeah, so that's the point.
So I moved. That's a long story short.
Yeah.
So what do you think the left thinks activating all this? Like Hitler bombed London thinking they would give up because after World War I, 90% of the Brits didn't want to have a new war. Once Hitler bombed London, the Brits became pro-war. Why do they think the left, if they burn stuff and attack people, it's going to make people join them? It's making everybody I know turn against them. Why are they doing it?
I don't think people always play the tape forward, especially when you're living in a reality that's only tangentially related to the actual reality.
Have you seen?
In my opinion,
do you guys know Ryan Long, the comedian?
Yeah, of course.
You see the video he did about selling footage to CNN and Fox? He makes a really funny joke where he's like, basically the point is, he goes out and realized he could double up his sales. It's a sketch by the way. But he's like, I filmed these protests, and it's like when the police start swinging, I sell that to CNN, but when they start swinging back, I sell it to Fox. One time, I accidentally sent Fox News a video of some guys picking up litter off the ground, and they said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I said, "Well, if you play the video backwards, it looks like they're littering." That's kind of the joke, right?
Yeah.
They don't.
It's whatever you. It's just all scientific.
There was an incident in Denver where a security guard, unofficial, unlicensed security guard, shot a Trump supporter, a pro-cop guy, in the face.
Yeah, we saw that.
The left-wing activists on Twitter put the sequence of photos out of order
wow.
to make it look like the Trump supporter attacked the guy and then got in his face, when in reality, the Trump supporter smacked the guy in the face and backed up and then got shot.
Sure.
They took
and
the
here's
photos out of
deal.
order to make it look like...
They accuse me of stuff like that. I've never, sat there and done that. They claim I'm doing that, but just as the internet now is, the left particularly just does that. They just take things out of context.
Yep.
What about all the swastikas that are being painted by people who are actually anti-Trump?
Well, that's like
so
Jussie
weird, right?
Smollett.
They've been doing it for a long
That's
time.
Like Jussie
Yeah.
Smollett.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think they honestly believe that since this is so pandemic, that if I do it, I'm just bringing attention to the issue.
Well, that's
I'm
the
not gonna
argument
be
is,
doing it.
listen, racism's so bad, I've got to expose the Nazis. Remember when Jussie Smollett got caught, we had people like Mad Maxine Waters come out and say, well, he means well. So that was the argument. And
no apologies.
Yeah.
No strike to anyone's
But
credibility.
there's not even a question of a Machiavellian, is this bad for us long-term strategically? That's what's telling. It's not like, this blew up in our face, we're going to do better next time.
And isn't he free to go now? Like, what's the latest with that?
I haven't followed
Wealthy people
the
don't
whole
get in
case,
trouble.
but last
Right,
time I heard the investigation is being dropped.
See, but that's the crazy thing. Wealthy people don't get in trouble. So we have a system that is supposedly, trying to control everybody and doom them or whatever but they allow people upward mobility and power and resources and access.
As long as they play the game, yeah.
Am I playing the game?
You tell me, Tim Pool.
I'm having Alex Jones and Michael Malice, and we're saying a whole bunch of crazy
But I'm
stuff.
controlled opposition.
No, but here's the difference.
okay,
Here's
that
the difference.
explains
The globalists don't have full control. There's good and evil in the universe, and there's people that are actually neutral. But there is corrupt groups that want to consolidate power, want to dumb people down, want to control people. But just because we're successful, it's not like, oh, I must be bad, I'm allowed to operate. No, you're taking power for yourself in the real world.
Yeah, I already imagine that they're crafting dozens of out of context clips. They've been doing it for a while. I just stopped caring. I'm just so over this like I mentioned earlier. There's restrictions. There's a threshold that I have. I'm willing to not say a name because it's like a stupid thing that I don't need to say. But if there's an idea or a person I'm told I can't interview, I'll
Sure,
bring
when
them
you
on.
really believe in something, you're not going to be censored. But if it's some little trap they say, you're going to step into it.
What do you mean?
No, I mean, if you want to make a major idea in a statement, you do it because you believe in it, and you don't mind if you get censored. You have integrity. But if it's some little
Right.
game like, don't say the name of some whistleblower who wasn't even the whistleblower, but they want to protect other liars, why play their game and get banned because you say the name of the whistleblower? By us saying can't say the name of the whistleblower, it makes people even go more and look for it.
They can go look for it and they can find out the name on their own.
Yeah.
So that's
Which
the
is
point.
what
It's
people
like-
want. They want the Easter egg hunt.
It's a balancing act of, can I still get the information out or do I get myself shut down? But the point is, like, I have my limits, and I've had people ask to come on the show where I've thought to myself, like, oh, I'll probably get banned if I do that. Yeah, whatever. Why not? I'm done. You know what I mean?
Well, you've got the most banned guy on right now, but here's the good news. And I'm not bragging about this. It's a famous Alex Jones statement. I'm not bragging here,
I think,
but
isn't Laura Loomer more banned than you?
Oh, he got your number.
Oh, no, that's a serious
You
question,
just
though.
called him out.
I'm actually married to her.
No,
I have the documents.
I don't believe it.
How did you know you just got my number? I just
Figured
took
it out.
me to-
Tim figured it out.
I'm going to text her right
you
now.
figured it out.
That's what he does.
No,
He
that's a
figures
joke.
out.
Why'd you say she has my number?
I meant he's got your number that Laura's more banned than you as a joke.
No, actually, she got banned on like Uber Eats
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and
I
like
just had her on my
Uber
show.
and
Super
like
banned.
what's that?
Unpersoning.
They changed the terms of service specifically to ban her only.
We didn't even, you know what? We haven't even gotten into this yet. This is a point that I think we need to bring up, especially considering we have you, who's one of the most banned people on the internet. When did you first start getting into this business, talking about the things you talk about? What was the first day you did this?
Well, I guess about 1994.
94.
Wow.
So we've got that's 3 decades. Your work spans 3 decades.
4 decades.
4 decades now. Wow. Now that we're entering the fourth.
No, it's like
90s, 2000s, 10s,
like
and
27
20s.
years.
Yeah. So it's not fair to say spanning 4 decades, I suppose.
I think it's fair.
They deleted everything you've ever said or done over one moment.
And then they can misrepresent what I said.
Yeah.
Because once they delete, see, I always thought censorship was bad, but once I got censored, they would then misrepresent what I said, and then I didn't have a voice to counter it.
Exactly.
And that's the most disempowering part is then they steal your identity.
I mean, if it were me, I'd just, take the van down to the river and go fishing, kick my feet up and ignore it and just whatever.
But because I didn't give up, you wouldn't give up. Because I didn't give up, it only made it bigger. But yeah, I mean, I'll say it right now. I used to cover whatever the daily 4chan thing was for like 10 minutes out of a show, 3 hours. And so I'd covered this topic or that topic, and they would take it out of context. But I barely ever talked about the issues that they claim are my identity. And then they just say, oh.
But listen. What I'm trying to, I guess the important idea we need to consider here is, first, Jack Dorsey said we should have a path to redemption 2 years ago. Was it longer than 2 years?
You were on with Joe Rogan about 2 years ago.
And Jack was like, we need to have a path to redemption for people. It makes sense. And they never did anything like that. You get banned, you are gone. And then it's like a cascade. Everyone bans you from everywhere, and now you can't use banks.
I think you're wrong. What he meant by path to redemption is if they're going to have to throw some of their own under the bus as a sacrificial lamb, this is giving them a back door to bring them back and not have to actually implement the ban. That's what
do you
meant.
mean?
Meaning, like, let's suppose the Krasenstein brothers got that banned from Twitter is another good example. What Jack Dorsey was setting in place is that, they redeemed themselves. It's not hypocritical of us to bring back some people because we believe in redemption. They believe in redemption for their own.
They brought back the Krasensteins?
I'm saying if they wanted to, he was setting the path for it.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
That's all
Giving
saying.
themselves a reason. But we said
I know
we were
that
going to
Jack
do this.
Dorsey contacted a certain person. I'm going to stop right there.
All right.
No, but
I love that
seriously.
story.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Great story.
Almost like that story about somewhere there might be a video of Trump in an elevator doing something but we don't know what it is.
Knows.
You remember that one?
No.
That was my
The
favorite.
Huffington Post
From
one.
2018.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Trump made video of Trump in an elevator.
It was the Huffington Post? Yeah. No one knows because no one's seen it. Ooh. It turned out to be.
The white well, the elevator tape. Oh, I love this. Here we go.
I don't want to be involved in this, but
we got to read this real fast.
A tape might exist of Trump doing something in an elevator, though exactly where that somewhere is and what that something might be, no one in media can say. That's because no one in media seems to have seen the tape or is even confident it exists.
What?
Well, Tim, I'll say this.
It's real.
Retweet that.
I'll tell you this.
I can't do it right here.
For you and Mr. Menace. I think you both are very impressive, and I think you're very smart. So I've been behaving myself. But how about I give you some real gravy today?
Gravy, huh?
I'm going to give you.
I'd rather have figurative gravy.
I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you Trump's real sexual habits.
Oh gosh.
No. I don't want to know that.
I have to know the man that was his political beard.
Did he pee on a bed?
No.
Did he hire? No, he didn't pee on it. He hired someone to pee on it.
Hey Tim, I'm trying to give you real stuff here.
Yeah, don't you want the gravy?
Oh, gosh.
Not really.
Give me the
not
gravy,
really.
Jimmy.
You
Give me
know
the
who
gravy.
leaked Melania naked with the hot chicks and the lesbo scenes to the New York Post?
Trump?
GJT.
Really?
He did it.
I heard this myself.
Was it exhibitionism?
He's absolutely spot on.
I was there when the decision was made. But let me tell you more. I don't need to get Trump's permission for this. Yeah, I think he'd agree with it. If you want to know. Now, I'm going to give you real stuff here, Tim. I respect you guys.
Models.
You want the real skinny?
I thought it was
He had a
gravy.
man that went around with him as a beard. But it was not because he was having sex
That's
with men.
not how a beard works.
Hold
I
on,
don't
let's
think.
Lydia.
No, he did not.
We're getting gravy.
He did not have a fake girlfriend because he was dating guys. Trump is not gay. Be fine if he was. But Trump, in between divorces and things, did not want to be known, and so he would have a special friend that went out with him with the girls. And that's his thing, is that Trump would date a girl, usually, that's why I didn't even believe some of the hooker stories, a couple weeks, and is very germophobic.
Yeah, he is. I've heard that from a lot of reporters.
Yeah, he got over it. He actually went through, he had to, train himself to get over it. Because he doesn't care if you're black, white, old, young, but he had to get over it on the campaign trail. But even before they got over it. And so the truth is that Trump loves everybody, and that Trump's all about energy. And in my conversation with Trump, he's all about, you feel the energy, wasn't that amazing? He loves black people, he loves brown people, he loves white people, he loves everybody. And, the truth is that Trump's had quite a few black girlfriends, and just, the whole thing is that he's not the racist like they say he is.
Well, that's a different kind of
That's
racist.
the breaking news.
Are you thinking of De Niro?
Well, the breaking news is, I'm telling you, is that, what about De Niro?
He leaked photos of Melania nude. That's what you're saying.
He did leak the photos.
But why? Is he an exhibitionist?
No, he knew they already had them.
Ah.
And everybody's going to love it. They're not hypocrites.
That's tactical. Yeah.
It's tactical.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that Trump's a cool guy, man. And he's not out to get people. He's like, why don't we make everybody prosperous? Here's the secret of Trump. He wanted the stock market, which is all rigged, up for everybody so the average person made money plus the elites. So Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, they all made record profits, but they didn't get to ride it up and down and screw over investors. And so that's why they hate Trump, is that he literally does want to he listened to all those tapes when he was a kid about the positive world and positive belief, and he's into all like the Dilbert guy. He's into all that.
Scott Adams, yeah.
Yeah, Scott Adams. So he literally just thinks we can do anything. So he's mad. Like he gets to the Globals, like, "Sir, we can't let the general public have money. We've got to have it." And he goes, "Screw you. We're going to the stars." So Trump really does believe his own Kool-Aid, which I believe in too. I think it's pretty amazing.
Heavens, Trump would allow the rabble to have money.
Exactly.
My word.
How dare you?
How dare they? Good.
Trump believes the general public should
I love that. I can't remember
and have money, inflation for them. How dare you?
I can't remember who we had on, but they referred to it as the rabble.
That was
I was
Jameis,
like,
I think.
Was it who?
Rabble.
James?
No, but I mean,
Jameis.
if you want to know Trump's,
Jameis,
here's
the
he
rabble.
is a service guy. So he
yeah.
runs casinos and hotels and golf courses. All he knows is if people ain't doing good, he ain't making money.
Yeah.
So Trump
Yeah.
wants
True.
roaring 20s,
That's
man.
true.
Rah, rah, rah. So you can say he's bad. He's like an archetype. He wants roaring.
So what? Let's say.
Hey, you want Davos Group shut down, depression, lockdown. You want Trump roaring 20s.
Let's say we're currently on track as it stands for Joe Biden to become inaugurated as the next president, and
Also known as Sexy Devil.
And there's plans for another lockdown. His advisor has said it. It seems particularly likely.
An extreme lockdown.
What do people do if next year it's 10 times worse? Well,
It's never going to end. They're never going to end.
Chris Hayes said something to the effect on Twitter that people need to emotionally prepare themselves for another lockdown.
I think what Chris Hayes should take his own advice, because I don't think he and his fellow people are emotionally ready for the response if there's another lockdown.
No, I agree. Here's the deal. Chris Hayes has no power. So at an elemental level, as a psychic rapist, he wants to lock you down. It's true.
How is
No,
it
it's
rape
true.
if you're in your own house?
No. He wants to make you stay in your house, make you go bankrupt, make you commit suicide as his leftist power North Korea trip, man.
And
it's BS.
Chris Hayes wants that.
Rachel Maddow wearing glasses.
I feel like these people are more just
Rachel Maddow's Rachel Maddow wearing
No.
glasses.
Klaus Schwab and the UN want an endless lockdown to train us on world government and to bankrupt things, and I say they burn in hell.
I think that
You're gonna burn in hell.
here's what I see happening with
Twisted
media.
Sister.
Response from Sam.
Just very dry. So the media allows most conversations to flow in one direction when it comes to COVID.
Yes.
That the end is
Only
nigh.
bad news,
We must
yeah.
lock down.
Yeah.
Oh, record cases, but not deaths. It's like
But
record
so-
cases.
Because if there's any kind of dispute about paths, then you can't force people to do the worst
Yep.
situation.
Plus,
So I'm not-
UN-approved data is allowed, but the UN says don't do a lockdown, but we're doing a lockdown.
I'm saying that none of these
Danger,
politicians,
danger.
none of these politicians want to take responsibility for any death.
Right.
So they only err on the side of just shut it down and I absolve myself of any and all
Yeah,
responsibility.
no,
the
it's like the
incentives
Texas
are stacked
governor.
against them.
Right.
The Texas governor is like Governor Newsom's vestigial toe, or like or Greg Abbott is like
You know he
Newsom's
won't
hemorrhoid.
stand for the flag.
Who wouldn't?
Greg Abbott.
No, he will not.
He
won't
refused to
stand
stand.
for anything.
Wow.
Yeah, he can't stand.
So anyway, what I've often said is that if you are not allowed to say things like things are getting better, we don't need a lockdown, time to chill out, or at least there's a likelihood you could be banned for saying these things, then most people say, I don't want the responsibility, I'll just agree with the lockdown.
No, I agree. And then
media drives-
epidemiologist, like the head of Rockefeller University comes out and says, you need herd immunity, don't do this, it'll never end. And here we are 8 months later doing it again. And they go, you're banned. That's not UN approved. I mean, it's just like, who the hell cares?
And even as simple as saying, okay, the numbers of cases are going up. What's the death rate like? That's the real
It's not going
concern.
up.
If
It's a little
everyone
bit.
had COVID,
it's not
and no one
infection,
dies,
it's death rate. And death
Yeah.
rate's way down.
That's the
But
thing that matters.
The hell is here. Winter will have more pneumonia and flu deaths, and that's why they're salivating for fear.
Because it'll be
Well,
death with
I
COVID instead of death of
actually
COVID, yes.
have some interesting news. I think it was Gallup that said something like 68% of people would refuse to comply with the lockdown if they attempt to.
Oh, yeah,
Let me try and
people
pull
are
that up.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I've got a bunch of family that are well-meaning, college-educated.
say one thing.
No, listen, they're college-educated liberals. And they used to, like, look down at me and stuff. Now they're like, what do we do? We're ready for war.
In that voice?
Yeah, basically, yeah. They're not.
cool.
They're not wimps. They're like care about people. Like I'm good. I'm gonna be liberal. We're gonna be egalitarian. They're now. They think the social contract is broken.
Yep.
And they're ready for war.
68%. It's very easy to say I'm not going to comply. I will believe it when I see it. We have a lot of data this year about what people will actually do, and it's very disheartening.
Well, let's say this. It ain't going to save anybody. Never do they tell you need vitamin D3, you need vitamin C, you need zinc. Finally, Fauci had to admit that. And I got like 20 phone calls from like my lawyer. And like I had
called you?
I had this FBI guy call me up, and he goes, this FBI guy I know, he's like, Alex, I thought you were making it up when you need D3. But I saw Fauci say it, so now.
What about we were supposed to have no ventilators? Remember that?
I was wrong. I got
we need the ventilators.
It actually says that 49% said it would be very likely to stay home if the orders were given to lockdown. So the number is declined dramatically from 67% said they would follow the orders in March to 49% saying they would be very likely to follow.
But you get if they do that, it's a death sentence. It kills the economy that kills the third world.
And it also gives low-status people a position to feel empowered over other people and force them to stay home.
And tattletale.
Yeah, now they could be like, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it to save lives.
It's you're a hero.
Yes.
Yet when the protests and the riots started, there was no problem.
We were told.
Remember, they had a study in like AP or whatever. Black Lives Matter marches by the millions lowered COVID.
Yeah. That was I think it was University of Colorado.
But Trump
Colorado
rallies, AP reported.
We were told,
but Trump rallies make it higher.
We were told simultaneously that we have to at all costs stay home and we have to at all costs take to the streets to protest.
Yeah, exactly.
It was simultaneous.
Yep.
And right now you've got when Joe Biden won, they all run out. They're sharing drinks. They're like taking the mask off and swigging from champagne and passing it around. And I love it when Joe Biden pulled his mask off to cough. It's like completely inconsistent. And so you know what I see as the issue with like a lot of what we've been talking about? Smart people are sitting there watching it going, what the and
not smart, aware.
Aware, I suppose.
It's easy to train smart people to be obedient.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yep. Learned people, I suppose.
Yes.
It's an issue of will or fortitude.
Yeah.
So this is the crazy thing. At a certain point, these disparate realities don't make sense. And I'll tell you this. After they called the race for Joe Biden, I'm sitting, every day I wake up, I do news. I wake up at like 7 a.m. I'm reading the news stories. And I'm sitting there like, on one side, it's like Joe Biden wins and that's all that matters. And they're talking about his new plan and his new team. And then over here, it's like Joe Biden didn't win, there's fraud. And they don't overlap at all.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can't connect these realities anymore.
Because the narrative's broken. People don't trust the system. So the question is, what comes out of that now?
How do I report the news when there's two different realities with no overlap anymore?
Isn't it glorious?
It's insane.
I love it.
And so I'm sitting there like, this makes no sense.
So rather than a singularity, it's a balkanization.
Yeah. And I think it's inevitable, and I think it's past due.
I think you're right.
So what happens then?
I think it's going to be more freedom. And I think there's plenty of people who want to be kind of prisoners in the war on your own mind. Some people want to be victims of that war. And some of us are like, you know what? God bless you. Live how you want to live.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to disagree with Trump, because if he lost fair and square, I'd love that, because I won't have to fight so hard. I'm sick of this. But having something stolen from me is so much worse. If he can prove this fraud, and if Biden says, oh, we should wait till all the experts affiliated and documented and certified, and now he's not, I have to back Trump in this, and I'm just like, this never ends. So it's the flip-flopping because Trump was always the same. He goes, no. If it looks like fraud, I'm going to challenge it. Well, he's doing that.
Well, so this is what worries me. If you have a country, we got 208 million registered voters in this country. I think it's fair to say that you'll find instances of fraud.
Of course.
And so there's something I refer to as the scaling problem. And the way to describe it is, if Apple issues 100 phones to a bunch of celebrities and 1% of those phones are defective, one celebrity comes out and says, my phone broke, and people go, oh, that sucks. If they issue out 100 million phones to a bunch of people and 1%, same failure rate, are defective, you got 1 million people posting online and everyone's going, whoa, what's going on? All these phones are broken, and it makes them think it's bigger than it is. So if you have 208 million registered voters, you get 150 million people actually voting, and you've got all these places all across the country, you're probably going to find there is impropriety, there is fraud, but is it actually substantive?
Or systemic?
Except it always seems to be against Trump.
No, of course. But let's say the question is it enough to actually have changed the results? And if it isn't, but you get a bunch of people constantly being inundated with these stories.
Okay, here's an example. I have a brother-in-law married to my sister. I'll say his name, right here on air. Austin Rivera, great guy. He's been kind of liberal, but I think he went for Trump. He didn't even tell me. We see him every few weeks for dinner. He's a great guy. He calls me like really mad. I go, Austin, what's wrong? He goes, I was just at the Congress, and the downtown post office, and that guy had 50-something ballots signing his name. They were certifying them, mailing them out. This is the day after the election.
Yeah.
He was really upset. I said, why didn't you videotape it? He goes, well, it's a federal crime. It's a polling place. He was right. But that's a real story. Austin didn't make that up. So in my family, my brother-in-law saw the fraud. They were all against Donald Trump. They were all Democrat ballots. He sat there watching the guy filling them out.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is we should, first of all, I think it should all be investigated. We need to make sure we get to the bottom of it. If we want a legitimate, clean process, then 72.2 million people need to feel assured that we took their concerns seriously. But what if out of 150 million ballots, we had hundreds of thousands that wouldn't have had an impact, that were improper or fraudulent, and even though it wouldn't have changed the results, people feel like it would, and that triggers some kind of unrest or outrage.
But here's the thing: we've been through this before, and I'm sure Alex remembers this. In 2000, we were told
Gore v. Bush.
Consistently, repeatedly, that not every vote in Florida was counted. We were told the Supreme Court stopped the vote, and we were never going to know the right answer. Michael Moore made that movie about the election. The New York Times, I think, was the ones who counted every single vote. They counted every single vote repeatedly. With the Chads, without the Chads. Bush's margin of victory varied. There was no count where Gore had a margin of victory to win. But people will, to this day, tell you that not every vote in Florida was counted. So this is an escalation that's been going on for 20 years, at the very least.
Well, so I guess the issue then is people are going to choose what they think is the truth.
I think the issue is democracy is a sham, and it's ridiculous that I have to live my life based on what a lot of other people find popular.
The rabble.
The rabble, yeah.
Well, so what's the solution?
Freedom.
What does that mean?
Means to not have any kind of government, to have people who are nobodies who win popularity contests telling me how to live my life.
I can certainly respect the argument against the popularity contests, but I disagree with the absolute freedom in that we've seen, like, I think it was the Cuyahoga River was just polluted to an extreme end until it burst into flames.
If the river was private property, then you're not allowed to pollute it.
All
But it wasn't
I know
public rights
is-
and everything. It was public property.
all I know is-
That's the problem.
So how do you like
if everything is owned by someone.
And this is the problem I've had, because I had a conversation. Maybe you can answer this question. If I build a house somewhere in the middle of nowhere next to a river and I'm
Done.
drinking that water, and then you say, well, I'm going to walk upstream and start taking a dump in that water. Well, that part of the river is yours, right? Or what? Who owns the whole river?
Water rights, I'm not a lawyer, but
I will tell you, that's a navigable waterway, and generally everyone has group rights to the water.
That's public.
That's communism. Group rights. Take that back to Russia.
No, I'm just
The
telling
point,
you.
I'm positive, without knowing anything about this issue, that water rights is something that has already been legally adjudicated.
But I'm saying,
that
like, if
even
there's
if it
no
wasn't
government.
public, this
If
is
you have
no
surface water and you have deep water, you have mineral rights.
sure.
So there's two different types of water.
Like, I can't put a flag. Like,
And
if I-
separately in
here's another
runoff
example.
language, there's the runoff water as well.
I can't in my house shoot a laser into your house or a bright light, even though it's still your house, because that's violating your space.
Right.
So this would become a property rights issue. I'm not sure how that would actually be resolved, but the point is, this is something that there's already very many.
But you're talking about government then.
No, I'm talking about some kind of security and private defense.
By the
So-
way,
so-
have you ever seen a tinfoil hat made that nice?
No,
So
of course not. That's why I'm taking it home.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
He's stealing
I'm not joking. I'm putting this on my mantle. I'll send you a photo, Alex. I'm not kidding.
Do
how
it.
would you resolve disputes between in these cases?
By battle axe.
Yeah, hire two competing private security forces who go
We
against
have
each
that
other.
now. The
We-
point
we
is,
do, but we
whenever
also
the
have
government,
courts.
whenever the government has, it's amazing that if you have courts through a government monopoly, all that does is make things more expensive, more inefficient, and impossible to have a resolution. Whereas if you and I have an issue vis-a-vis eBay, or I'm having a sweater issue with Macy's, or some kind of condo association, those are resolved. Maybe you don't like the outcome, but they're at least be
Okay,
cheaper.
let's get serious the time we have left. What are the questions when this ends we wish we would have asked? Because we were sitting there discussing this. I want to say it. I think Trump pulls this out. Evidence of fraud comes out, and I think he is the 45th president in his second term. I'm going to go out on a limb, even though it's a long shot. I'm just going to bet on the future.
I don't think that's a possibility because of Mitch McConnell.
Really?
Mitch McConnell is not going to fight for Trump. That's why. Mitch McConnell.
Because he wants the power.
Yeah,
because
Mitch
if he
McConnell-
controls the Senate, he's really the president.
Mitch McConnell is perfectly happy with Joe Biden in the White House.
Very smart
completely agree.
statement. Go ahead and make that. Well,
What-
you're right,
what
because
you said
he'll
on
be the
Twitter.
president. He'll be the president if Trump isn't.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell will have all of the control for the Republicans,
Of course.
but that's only if they win Georgia.
I mean,
It's now 50 senators. So yeah, you got to.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Even if it's
unless-
50-50,
You got to override the vice president.
Right. Well, if it's 50-50, then the tie goes to the vice president.
Yeah, but I'm saying I also think Mitch McConnell, it'll be easier for Mitch McConnell, given their personalities, to work with Joe Biden than to work with Donald Trump.
Yep. Well, the establishment loves the establishment.
Of course.
Trump is not a Republican, and they don't like him. They never did.
And I don't think Mitch McConnell will be too averse
So
to these
look at the
wars.
left rejecting the Maverick. I mean, you said we went about Trump. They're literally saying they're the resistance as we started the show, and they're rejecting the Maverick. It's pathetic.
We're all going to be laughing when we have to wear those hats all the time.
What happens to
Those
Trump
pink
if he
ones.
is
Pink ones are going to
removed?
make it mandatory.
Hold on. What does
The
Trump
COVID
do
hat.
if Trump steps down in 69 days? Where does he go? What does he do?
You know it's going to be great, and he is going to be the best person on earth to keep the Republican Party accountable through his Twitter. And
They're
I
gonna ban him.
do not think I disagree. You know better than me.
Well,
actually.
co-host
If
Tim
I could bet
Bullshow.
money that if I was right and you're wrong, I'd bet money on you. But I do not agree that they're going to ban him from Twitter.
You might be right. And I'll tell you why. Twitter was losing users before Trump became president, hopped on Twitter.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, Twitter became relevant. All these media companies love and need Trump. So I'll tell you this. I see all these people saying Trump's going to prison once he leaves.
Yeah, just like Hillary.
No, they're
No,
not
he's
going to.
not.
Yeah, exactly. They are going to make
And
sure
Nixon.
they make Trump very, very loud and very, very comfortable.
and powerless in a sense,
No,
and
not-
political powerless.
Politically, but they're talking about he would be a
other power.
kingmaker. He would endorse candidates. They want him to have influence to such a degree where they can complain about him.
Yes.
And Trumpism.
Exactly.
But not that he will actually interfere with their plans.
They want to control Trumpism.
Yes.
Yes, or
Can
caricature.
you
it.
imagine how dizzy your plants are?
Yeah, this plant's just been
Can
spinning the whole
imagine
time.
This poor thing.
It's not spinning
Always
that much.
spinning toward freedom.
That's right.
So, if Twitter were to ban Trump, they would become
They'd be
irrelevant
dead.
overnight.
Yeah.
And that's the worrying thing too, is if Trump does not have any kind of position of authority or influence after all this, Twitter's in trouble, the media's in trouble. I read an article from Variety today where it said, it was funny, it was like cable news networks may see a post-Trump bump seeking a new audience. And I'm like, is that a joke? Their ratings are going to plummet.
They're
It's not
gonna
a
so
joke.
fast.
They're delusional.
Yes.
They believe it. That's what's that's amazing. They really thought that they're in a movie and Trump is the head vampire, and they kill the head vampire. He loses the election, and everyone shuts up and goes home and goes away. And the fact that you have Don Lemon, the fact that you had many of these other media personalities saying, "All right, stop calling us the enemy," because even these boomer cons, who I'd totally written off, are like, "You guys are all liars. You're full of crap. We're not going to listen to you anymore." They did not expect this to happen.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Why does Brian Stelter look so creepy?
Because he's
Really
a Mr.
good
He's
question.
a Frosty the Snowman came to life.
He's a eunuch.
No, see, I'm not a fan of this kind of stuff.
You don't like Frosty
No,
the
I'm
Snowman?
not
I don't-
making
I don't-
fun of his. He literally does glamour shots where he's like. I mean, have you seen these photos?
I've seen photos of him. I remember Tucker Carlson sent him some donuts.
Tucker
I'm not a fan.
Carlson has called me and said, "Please do more Brian Stelter parodies." So we're doing this for Tucker Carlson right now.
No, I'm not saying you can't. My thing is just like, you don't win friends. You know, you don't win arguments by insulting.
I
appearances.
agree that
Right.
when the Young Turks hag attacked you for being ugly, that was dumb.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But
She's not a hag. She's-
But,
But-
you
but
don't
listen,
look
listen.
like a psychotic demon.
when
What kind of
so,
demon does he look like?
An intelligent one.
You can be psychotic and
you-
intelligent.
Dapper.
I'm talking
Dapper
about.
demon.
I'm talking about Stelter. Stelter looks like a
No,
turd
he
burglar.
doesn't. What does that mean?
What is this?
It's a demon that goes into latrines.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
You know, actually,
No, I'll tell you what. You know, I'll
The
tell you what Brian
turd
Stelter. I'll
burglar.
tell you what he looks
Man,
like. He
we're
looks
closing
like.
2020 hard, aren't
Yeah,
we?
we sure
Yes,
are.
we are. Brian Stelter looks like a guy who goes on TV and lies to people. That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
I agree, but he does it with such confidence. He sits there.
It's amazing. You know, I think I often ask myself, because I've met him on several occasions. He interviewed me before back during Occupy Wall Street. I have to wonder if he's just not that smart, if that's the real issue. And I think what I learned when I worked for the Disney company, Fusion, that's what they do. They don't hire someone like Stelter and say, well, now we need you to lie to people. They specifically hired him because he's not smart.
I agree.
So
I agree. There's the glamour shots he does. Each one looks like the penguin. I mean, he does these faces where he looks like
Sure. My point
Well, I
is,
look like a fat ass in photos. I'm just saying. I look at these
It's
photos.
the camera's fault, Alex.
it's just not. It's not winning an argument. So I think
I'm not trying to win the argument.
I am.
I'm asking, why is Brian Stelter the creepiest looking person on earth?
No, he's not. He's not that creepy
He's
looking.
not that creepy.
He's
All right,
just
type in Brian Stelter.
We know what he looks like.
I'm not pulling up pictures of
We're
Brian
not doing
Stelter.
it. No.
Listen,
Oh, you're scared to look at it?
Yeah, a little
Brian
bit.
Stelter has on his show said not to watch other networks.
Yeah, what's wrong
That's
with that
probably
guy?
that should be the most.
He also said, Cuomo said you're not allowed to look at WikiLeaks.
But so when they tell you that, that should be the red flag as to why you absolutely should.
No, I agree. We shouldn't sink to the level of talking about how he looks.
Well, I mean, you can do what you want. You know, you're Alex Jones.
No, I'm going to be honest.
He's got that look where he just clenches his jaw to smile. There's a lot of people that do that.
Rosie O'Donnell does that too.
It's not real happiness, but it's
Yeah.
like
It's a grimace.
The truth is he's
Grimace.
super hot. And I want to marry Brian Stelter.
He's married already. He's got a kid too. I think.
Doesn't matter.
And
Brian,
we wish him and his family well.
Brian,
Absolutely.
I want you.
Oh my god.
I disagree with him. I think he's
Clip
better
You
when
that
he
out of
does.
and
context.
Oliver Darcy in a polyamory.
Oh
I wanna
my
marry
goodness.
both of
Now
you.
the Oliver Darcy guy is an interesting one because
He runs around. He calls it policing free speech.
Well, no, because he actually interviewed me defending free speech for Business Insider. And so the way I describe it is back when they started banning alt-right accounts on Twitter, I said it was a slippery slope to ban speech because eventually they come for you, right?
You defended me. I appreciate it.
And he interviews me in this article for Business Insider. Then he gets hired by CNN, and all of a sudden he just starts screaming, "Ban them all!" Oh yeah, yeah. Didn't he get you? He's like one of the main guys. You confronted him at the in the
Yeah, he's
Senate
been
building
calling
or
for me to
whatever.
be banned, gotten me banned, bragged about it. So I said, "You look like an evil possum." And
Wow.
then Twitter said that was bullying. Well, he's a public figure at the Capitol.
It's.
I said he looked like an evil
Look,
possum.
I'll tell you what, man. You gave him a reason. You know what I mean? I'm
Oh,
not-
I don't agree with that. It's not a reason; it's an excuse. That's not
Sure,
the same.
sure. That's a better way to put it. I agree. They had an excuse.
But why can't a full-grown man call him an evil possum?
No, I think you see what they've called other people and the things they've posted and the things they've done, and right, it's clearly a double standard. I'm just saying they wanted to ban you, and they were just waiting, and their finger was over the button, and they were like, "Possum!"
Here, let me.
The button.
I just found this on my Instagram. I posted this November 5th, 2019. So the red pill and the blue pill, and the blue pill is Brian Stelter on CNN in front of a chart about Trump's avalanche of absurd Twitter typos, and on the right you have Amy Rohrbach and ABC News and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
So Brian Stelter serves a purpose, a
Right.
complete misdirection.
Oh yeah, remember the ABC
you know what he
lady
is?
said they covered it up.
Of course.
It reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where Homer keeps seeing the billboards for Clown College. Do you guys
Yeah,
remember this one?
of course.
And then he's sitting in the safety, he's a safety inspector, and then all of a sudden the alarm goes off, and all of his coworkers roll into the room, bursting into flames. And then when it shows Homer looking at him, he sees them as clowns dancing. And that's kind of what it reminds me of. There's like this big fire, this Epstein story, Amy Rohrbach, Veritas, and then the people who are watching cable news and they get CNN just see the clown going.
Well, exactly. Well, I just want to say this. I just appreciate you having me on here because most folks are scared to have me on. They also take stuff out of context, little snippets. I'm just a regular guy promoting freedom and trying to have some fun. And I've learned, though, I can't even joke around much because it's taken out of context.
Yeah,
and that's what's so scary about cancel culture is it's not just killed comedy, it's killed real recourse.
But it's also provided an opportunity for comedy. Sorry to interrupt you, Alice.
No, go ahead.
No, I agree with you, but I mean, it's also one of the reasons the left has won culturally for decades is that's where all the cool, fun people are, and now
Right.
the cool, fun, edgy people are going to be on the right in some.
I agree.
Context.
So since when
It's an
did they?
opportunity.
Well, you Michael, you mentioned something when I asked you to come on the show. You said this is why we'll win.
Yes. So this is what I said. I said this is why the good guys are going to win, and I don't mean the right. I don't mean Republicans. I don't mean Trump people. If you had Megyn Kelly and Wolf Blitzer and Peter Jennings on a channel together, you know what that's going to look like, and that's no disrespect to any of them and their careers. None of us three, knew what this was going to look like.
No, we did not.
I had
did
some
not.
general
They all,
ideas.
No, you didn't.
I was
In
reading
general-
about when Tom Brokaw and Peter Jennings would have like a 1 hour special. They planned for months.
Yeah.
They would script every word.
And this takes us back to when I was a kid, and I'm sure probably you, Alex, I know you have a wrestling background, maybe Tim, WWF, when you had Honky Tonk Man versus Ultimate Warrior, it's like, what is this going to look like in
What's
real
gonna
life?
happen?
But this is an opportunity for those of us outside of corporate media to make these kind of events happen.
Well,
and
right.
it's
And let's talk
genuinely
about that,
fun.
'cause I remember-
And
Unless
envy
they
the
ban me.
audience.
I remember Joe Rogan, like 22 years ago. I was watching him in Houston, and he's saying the internet is going to destroy TV because the TV will become the internet. No one can compete with open free will and all these personalities. He was totally right. So that's what I'm saying. You can ban Alex Jones. You can ban Tim Pool.
Don't say that.
I'm saying you can ban anybody.
Just don't put it out
But you can't. You can elevate Tim Pool to galactic ruler,
That's right.
I like
Supreme Chancellor.
Supreme Chancellor.
it. Beanies for all.
I want them to remember how much they need us on all the interlinks. You did it before we went live. Do it again.
The Chancellor Sutler.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Oh man.
Do it. I just did it. You just
Come on, man.
The
I
point
think
is,
it's got to be natural.
Peer
I
pressure,
can't
peer
just,
pressure, peer pressure.
Yeah,
Gotta
you
be
know,
a
you,
mood.
you know, when I do impersonations, it has to be like a natural flow. That
wear the
comes.
tinfoil hat. You can do it.
But this was it was a reference to the Chancellor Sutler line where he's telling all the people that he wants them to go on the interlink and put out all these stories to remind everybody why they need the government. And it really does feel like that when you see all these stories come out where it's like
Deadly virus.
150,000 record breaking, you know.
Let me say something else. Journalist Ezra Klein and many others, they were part of a secret mailing
Journalist.
list. It was a message board. They all discussed, one of the things they would discuss is they would coordinate how to get the stories on the same page. What do you think? What do I think? Get their stories together. Even looking at it in a non-nefarious way, they were certainly chummy with each other and trying to kind of,
Yeah, let's admit there's collusion.
Yeah, but whatever. We could wrap. It was an old boys network back in the day would be called that. It got exposed. None of these people had consequences.
Well for what though?
For basically they're trying to present an objective story, but meanwhile they're trying to talk to each other to figure out how to frame it.
This was what was interesting about the journalist scandal was that there's more than one. And it was just like some guy made a list and he was like, if you're a journalist from New York, let's hang out or whatever. And they added a bunch of people to the list, which it turned into coordinating stories. But it wasn't like, it wasn't in such a way that Ezra Klein was like, now we'll coordinate all of the news outlets to tell the exact
But there
same
was
narrative.
the church hearings in Operation Mockingbird.
But what I'm saying is the journalists was literally like, oh, hey, let's make a list of all of our friends. And then let's all live in this bubble together where we share the same ideas and believe the same things.
Right,
and then,
but the
it's a
point
problem.
is,
It's a problem.
what I'm saying
but
is,
it's not nefarious.
it is nefarious because if you have a group of people who all have the same ideology and they use that ideology as their agenda to how to present the news to everyone, and that news is thereby presented as objective, and since you're hearing it independently from 4 different places, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to trust this network.
It's
I'll try
like
this
inviting
network.
a chick over to your house. You know what's going to happen.
No, what I'm saying is it wasn't created with the intent of being a manipulation network.
I agree.
But it was.
But Operation Mockingbird was.
But my point is that
yes.
none of these people had consequences for doing this, or even
They
thought
shut it down.
or thought about.
Well, here's the deal. None of us talked before this. We're just
I've been on
saying
your show
that
a couple of times.
No, but, yeah, that's technical. I'm saying we didn't talk before this interview.
Oh, correct.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
yeah,
misunderstood
yeah.
you. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying
I
you've been on the show
misunderstood.
probably 10 times.
Yeah.
I've never talked to this guy except on the phone a few times.
like
before.
3 days ago.
The point is I'm saying we didn't coordinate our
Yes,
discussion.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
We didn't
Yeah,
coordinate
I
our
misunderstood you,
discussion,
yeah.
and
But
that's
there's-
really what people are looking for is a real discussion.
Spontaneity. Yeah.
But so the issue is the journalist is I think when I first heard that story when it broke, like the journalist, I was like, is that really a big deal? Because there's like 500 of them, and I'm on some of them. I think I still am on Facebook, a couple of them, where you can see like 500 journalists sharing stories and sharing narrative from all these different
Also,
networks.
that's a
I
lot
think
of
it is a
people
big
want to
deal.
be
Yeah.
pack animals. They don't want to be trailblazers.
Of course.
But that's not this show.
And also, a lot of these people aren't
Sorry.
that bright, so it's very easy for them to be like, "What do you guys think? I think that too."
But that's
Well, that's
why,
what Mockingbird is they parrot. So Mockingbird's the actual CIA. Then you create a list like that to get others that are already followers into the list.
Is that why they call it Mockingbird? Because the bird itself is a good mimic.
Repeats.
Oh, okay. Wow.
does it really?
Yeah, that's what's. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Frank Church Senate committee hearings in the 70s.
Interesting. Yeah. Crazy stuff. And then I remember when Luke confronted Anderson Cooper because he worked for the CIA, and I was like, Luke, what are you doing?
But
Luke
also,
Radowski, he's done a lot of good work.
but here's the other thing:
Yeah.
if you sit down,
David
with someone,
Rockefeller, everybody.
if you sit down with someone, regular average person, and you talk to them about Operation Mockingbird, which they can look up on their own,
Yeah.
they will still think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I know this. There's Operation Lockstep by the Rockefellers,
What is
where
that?
they talk about a global government, global police state being brought in using a virus. Then you look at Event 201 last year with Bill Gates, and you look at Klaus Schwab admitting they're using it to bring in the Great Reset to cut our carbon and make us poor and go under their control.
But so here's the most important question of all. Wouldn't it be better to just be in the Matrix? Ignorance is bliss. Remember a Cypher in the Matrix? You just want to be put back in, man. Eating that
I want to
steak
be
was so
famous and I want a steak.
good. Exactly. It's
Here's
all-
the problem.
No, you don't-
You
it's
don't
not.
get the steak.
You want to be in the Nebuchadnezzar and that eating that schlop.
Yes, and I am. And so
I'm
are
kidding,
you.
by the way. I know. I agree. Yeah, that's why I'm in the middle of nowhere.
But the matrix that we're in is in another matrix. which is in
What?
another Matrix.
I'm hearing this
Was it?
voice from
Ian's on the other side of the room.
Neo.
I'm telling-
No, I
you're
mean,
in a
he's right.
Matrix
He's right. He's
within a
right.
No,
Matrix.
you know, it really does feel like the red pill, blue pill analogy. I think you described it the best way. That how do you say it? The red pill is when you can see through the corporate.
Yeah, to be red pilled is to understand that what is presented as fact by the corporate press is in fact a carefully designed narrative designed to keep some very unpleasant people in power.
But then you realize you're only a copy of that that's aware of it. Then you have to create a new paradigm that is not.
That's
as
exactly
hypocritical.
correct. Yes. Yeah, that's where you.
So it doesn't mean like
that's when you read your
we're
Camus.
perfect. We're like we recognize the fallacies in our species, and then we are stepping back from the paradigm and like God examining it from a third dimensional view.
Let me talk my favorite philosopher Camus. Right. So there's two types of people at least. If you're in the wilderness and you come upon an easel with a blank canvas, one people will be like, What is this? Why is this here? It's just an empty canvas. This is stupid. And the others will be like, this is a great opportunity. Like, I'm surrounded by all this beauty. I've got a painting. I can do whatever I want with it. So life inherently not having meaning is either something that's terrifying to people or something that's very liberating.
Exactly. Consciousness is impressing your dimensional view and your expression on it in a synthesis, not accepting it and being programmed.
Yes.
And so that what your show is doing is an open discussion that is closer to God than being a programmable cog.
You know what I was told by people who work at Google? That there's a ton of people there who are fans of mine and like the show.
That's what they were saying earlier.
Why are you surprised?
Hey, listen, let me tell you a story.
Did I say I was surprised?
Let me tell you a story. 'Cause I've been
Your
watching.
tone sounded
I'm gonna
surprised.
tell you guys a good story because I read your stuff. Had you on a few times. I've been watching your stuff since Occupy Wall Street. I watch you on Joe Rogan. Big fan. But I pulled up about a month ago. I guess 2 months ago now, and I'm walking over the house, and I'm not usually in my car listening to something or watching it. Almost having car wrecks watching it. I walk in. My wife is cooking dinner, watching like some podcast live view you had on the election, 100-something thousand views or whatever it was before the election. And then I already have you on my phone. I go, okay, Tim Pool's up and coming. He's already big. But the fact that I'm walking in my house, never talked to my wife about Tim Pool. And I'm watching him as I walk in, and it's synced up, and she's cooking dinner.
I'll give you
another
example. There's this.
That's a singularity.
There's a bodybuilder I'm a fan of, Antoine Vaillant, because he's a real funny doofus on Instagram, which is really kind of good inspiration for the gym because it's like, okay, if this goofball can do it, it kind of gets you motivated.
Yeah.
I was going to mention him on Rogan, and I DM'd him and go, big fan. I was going to mention Rogan and didn't have a chance. He was watching me at Rogan at that exact moment.
Oh, wow.
So for him, it's like the TV started talking to him. So shout out to Antoine.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
So you know what the zeitgeist is because it's happening.
You just made a GIF, by the way. Your face, you just went. It was like this perfect.
You know what the
Tim Pool
face
GIF.
was? It was like Alex Jones telling me that he and his wife were both simultaneously watching me, and my thought is, all I've done over the past several years is like, you know how I started doing the commentaries? I took a GoPro and I put it on top of my monitor and just pressed record and started talking, and it was like slow and kind of dry. And I just kept doing it because I like talking about things that I read and stuff like that.
Can I just add to that,
Yeah.
to all the young people listening to this? If you want to do it, Ayn Rand was on Donahue 979, and he said to her, "You've liberated hundreds of thousands of people with your novels by telling them, if you want to do it, do it." And I'm telling you, if you're young and you have this ambition to move the world a little bit, even if you fail, and you're going to fail, and it's going to hurt a lot, and it's going to suck, by the time you're 40, you're going to be so happy that you tried to do it.
But that's why I made the
promise you.
face. I'm trying to move the world.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm talking
No,
about the
I know.
audience.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
but when
saying-
you don't try to is what you do.
This is why I made the face. I'm like, I'm not trying to move the world. I was just some dude complaining
Yeah, but
about
that wasn't
feelings on
kissing
the
your
internet.
ass. You know that. It was
Yeah,
a
no,
literal.
I know.
And then like another week later, my wife's gone to play tennis. I'm hanging out with the kids. I cook hamburgers. I'm in the hot tub. I'm watching Tim Pool again. And then my wife walks out. Tim Pool happened twice. But the point was, when you're getting 100,000, 200,000 views an hour, that's going to happen. The point is, you hit that zeitgeist moment where we're not watching mainstream TV. We're not watching CNN. We're not watching Fox News. This is Tucker Carlson I love. Because I get home all the time. I'm watching Tucker Carlson. My wife's watching it. It's like there's certain people, when everybody's doing it together, that's what's happening.
And it's a certain type of person who's watching them.
You know why I always say if they ban me, I would just go down and go fishing? Because I didn't.
No, you wouldn't.
I probably would. Yeah.
It's to some extent. Come on.
Yeah. Like, what do you think I would?
Let's
do?
go back to Tucker.
Who's he fooling?
Listen, I
What
know.
do you mean? Like, I never expected to be in any kind of position like this.
That doesn't mean you're going to go fishing if it goes away.
But let's talk Tucker Carlson.
Yeah,
He'll
it
start his own
does.
thing.
No, it does not.
Here's the
That's
Tucker Carlson
ridiculous.
story.
You could go fishing now if you wanted to. What's
I
stopping you,
can't.
Tim?
No, I work 16-hour days every day.
That's your choice.
I know.
You can work 12-hour days, 5 days a week.
I can't.
But here's the Tucker
I have to work
Carlson
16.
story.
I mean, we're going to do like 20 hours or some ridiculous number today.
I can tell you, though, Tucker Carlson story. They are at Fox threatening to fire people, okay? And the fact that he came out, played election fraud videos, and said, I'll start my own network. I don't care. That was boss. That was a big move 2 days ago. I guess on Tuesday now.
Wow.
Yeah, he did that.
So wait,
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm shocked, and not shocked, but the reaction of the Fox audience toward Fox this past week.
They lost half their audience in 2 weeks.
It was just the vitriol.
By the way, I'm not
through the
name
roof.
dropping.
I feel betrayed.
'Cause you can call Joe Rogan. He loves you. You answer your phone. I can call Joe Rogan. I can call, Tucker Carlson. I want to. I'm actually proud of knowing those guys because they're cool people. The point is that Tucker Carlson is literally being threatened to be fired every week, and is telling them F off in their face. That's rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Just like you're doing what you want.
Well, that's what FU money should be about. At a certain point, it's like, you know what? I have enough in the bank. My kids are going to be secure. I'm not going to bend the knee.
but that's kind of the point I was making about fishing. Is that no? Hear me out.
I'm listening.
I'm from the south side of Chicago. I grew up with gangs all around.
That's a rough area.
People,
For folks that don't know, explain that. Because I grew up outside Dallas in those rough areas, just going to Dallas to get a hamburger.
So I'm actually from the southwest side. It's not nearly as bad as the south side, but we still had a lot of the same gangs. We had, like a high school fight involved guns and shooting at each other and stuff like that. Some people in my neighborhood overdosed and died. A bunch of people were in gangs. I grew up like this. The hot dog stand 1 block away from me had bulletproof glass with bullet holes in it. So for me, the threshold for FU money is really, really low.
Yep.
Like I've been homeless before, and I'm chill. Like I slept on a bench in a park.
Sure, you're
It's
not
kinda fun.
domesticated. You're not going to roll over for nothing.
Man, I would actually thoroughly enjoy like running through the wilderness. Just kind of like doing my own thing with the dog and like hunting for food. And I've been to the beyond the bottom.
Well, that is human freedom to be totally in
Right.
I agree.
That's why I'm saying like.
But that's what people need to get into.
It's also-
is stop giving into fear and just say, look, I'm not going to bow down to your BS.
I remember when I graduated college, and a friend of mine, I was a Bucknell student, biggest mistake of my life, or one of the biggest.
I'm a high school dropout.
We know. And a friend of mine, she basically signed up for this corporate gig making $50,000 a year, which is no joke. But it's the kind of thing, the Faustian bargain is you sell your soul and you become like the best violinist on earth. You're 22. This is your chance to be a little hungry. This is your chance to not sleep and try to be a stand-up comedian.
no, they buy you. They buy you.
And it's like you're selling your soul
'Cause
for
the system
$50,000 a year.
knows-
You don't have it's not like you have kids to look out for, like a husband who's struggling. It's like that's your self-worth.
By the way, that's why they buy up all the smartest people. You know this.
Yes.
Is because they want to control that future
Of course,
random
yes.
wild son they call bad son.
But the college system in this country creates people who can't produce.
Correct.
And so you get a bunch of unproductive individuals. They don't have the work ethic. They have
and a sense of entitlement, and they have a piece of paper proving that they're smarter and better than you.
what they want.
But then
is,
to get ahead, they buy into the political system, believing I've got to get a political power. They don't have a job.
Because that's the only way they're going to get that high status.
these are people who
They can't
spend
compete otherwise.
their entire lives being told what to do and when to do it. They're told when the food is. They're told where the food is.
Yes.
They pay.
And you're
ridiculous
right.
amounts
You're
for
right.
dorms.
You're right, Tim. They only believe in status. Like the left claims, modern left claims, they're against status. They're the most status-oriented,
100%.
strata-oriented, command and control cult members I've ever seen.
Yes. And it goes back to the Woodrow Wilson days because they were like, it's noblesse oblige. We're the elite. We're the important people. And it's our job to bring civilization to you savages. It's domesticated imperialism.
It goes back to the great white
Yes,
burden.
absolutely, yes.
So
White man's burden.
Yes,
there's
exactly right.
there's a truth to reality in a sense that you don't need any of these status things, these papers to produce and be successful. And there's a lot of
You need
examples of
skin
it.
in the game on the street.
You just need to do stuff. And
No,
keep
that's what I'm
doing
saying.
it,
That
you know?
does it. That,
right.
Exactly.
And fail a lot.
But it's really funny. You know what I love more than anything is watching these people think that they're better, not understanding why. Like, look, I'm not trying to disrespect people who are struggling coming out of college, but to the people who are arrogant egotists who think they're smarter and better than everyone, who don't understand why it is they're struggling when they're supposed to be the ones who are better than you.
Well, that's it. The arrogance of Harvard and Yale and people like that. And I'm like, did you ever work on a farm? Did you ever work at a hamburger place? Did you ever work at a hardware store? Did you ever take care of a dying person? No.
It's
they
also,
literally
did you
just
ever take a risk?
they never took a risk. That's it. They never lost.
Yeah.
It's like that song. I'm not a big Aerosmith fan, but it's true. To learn how to win, you got to learn how to lose.
But it's not even just losing. It's that moment of fear when you don't know what's going to happen. When you're scared that I've got books that I'm turning one to a graphic novel 17 years ago. It couldn't go anywhere, but it was just like all that work for nothing. But it's not for nothing because I learned a lot from the process.
Because it made you better.
Yes.
I remember having $10,000 in the bank that I'd worked for like a year to save, working multiple jobs like 26 years ago. I needed to buy the first Apple computer to edit video because I wanted to make films. And I wasn't a great filmmaker, but I was going to make these my things. It would take 5 minutes to render out 10 seconds. And I remember having like $10,000 in the bank and buying $9,000 for that computer. And the computer came and I did it. And then I made a film that made $1 million. But most people don't get that success right away. But that was so Americana to get that computer, not know how to use it, read the manual, be editing the video, shooting it myself, having it messing up, spending weeks trying to load video into it. And then that was the best experience of my life. Like that frustration is like more intense now than all these computers and staff and buildings. And it's nothing compared to me in my house, like literally trying to program that computer.
The most gratifying part of what I do is when I hear from young people who are like, you've given me the push to do these kind of things, because it sends chills up my spine, because I remember so vividly being in that position. So if I'm the guy who's, for any of them, being like, do it, don't listen to your folks, this is a chance. And this is what I tell them.
Their parents are wrong.
Their parents are wrong. I go to, because my family still doesn't believe I pulled it off. Go to any bookstore, look at all those crappy, terrible books. That could be you. You could be that mediocre, terrible writer who doesn't deserve to have a book deal. And when you put in those terms, they don't have to be Tim Pool. They don't have to be Alex Jones. You could have an audience that's not that big. You have a studio apartment. You're not taking a cab. You're not eating out of restaurants. But you're your own boss, and you're creating something of value, and that is heaven.
Absolutely. Choosing when to work when you want to work and what you want to work on. And so, look, when I wake up and I make videos, it's not because I'm like, oh, no, I have to wake up again and do work. It's like I read the news and I'm like, whoa, and then I'm ranting everyone's ears off in the house already. And like, walk up, did you hear what happened?
No, we talk like almost 2 hours before we're on air. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Oh yeah, I never stop. I got some kind of problem, you know.
The best podcast was you down there in your.
You need to wear this.
No, I have some kind of like.
Put it on him.
My brain is, you know, I talk really, really fast because there's like tons of stuff I want to talk about. So I don't have a script. When I record the news, I'm like reading a story and I'm like, go. Wow, and I just like.
But that's what folks like is the authenticity, because the authenticity. Because that's what I was going to say. Is earlier we were talking about the kids. People are afraid to fail, and I know I'm stating basic truths here, but don't be afraid to fail, folks. Get involved, get engaged, get out there. That's what empowers you. And I'm stating overly simple things, but the globalists don't want people competing with them. They don't want you to become empowered. You talk about Sean Parker from Facebook. He came out and said, "We want to make you weak. We want to make you alone. We want to control you."
I don't think he said that. He said that?
Yeah, he came out.
We want to make you weak.
I'll tell you what the secret is.
No, he said we want to exploit your weaknesses. He was exposing it like 5 years ago.
Okay.
He said, when I was there, we were trying to exploit your weaknesses.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
You should be aware of this.
Yeah, okay.
He was exposing it. He was exposing it.
3 secrets to success that you lost your hat.
The hat.
3 secrets. You can do this for your kids. You want to teach them how to play chess.
Oh, God.
You want to teach them how to play a musical instrument, probably something that requires both hands.
And how to kick ass.
And skateboard.
Oh,
I agree.
Please.
Skateboarding.
No, what you need to teach your kids is to be bilingual so that they think conceptually instead of being trapped by the prison of language.
I agree, but they need some sport to feel confident.
Well, so the reason I say skateboarding is that there's no cheating. And if you want to do it, you have to do it.
One person.
And you will
you
fail.
only compete against
so whenever
yourself.
I see the skate park and there's like some little kid about to drop in on like a quarter pipe, you know, like a vert ball, and they're scared, I say, don't worry, you are going to fall and get hurt.
Yeah, that's the big deal.
You are. Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't worry, it's going to happen.
Never wants you to have that failure. Like, I was a skateboarder, but never that good at it. I had plenty of road rash. But exactly, the nanny state would ban skateboarding today if they could.
They've certainly hindered it in many ways, but it's thriving. But skateboarding is, I think, you know, I've talked about this quite a bit. It's one of the most important things that helped me in my life, because you get hurt. You have to get hurt. There's no running from it, and there's no way to cheat. You can try and lie, but people will just say, show me the video. Show me you doing the trick if you can't do it.
No, that's why I quit skateboarding, because I got so hurt doing it.
Is that true?
Yeah, I skateboarded someone. I just couldn't handle. I was not that. What's the word? I was
lithe?
Yes. So
Good word.
I did it some, but I was doing it too big a hill and wreck and.
But you were like a wrestler, weren't you? Like in high school?
I played. I was never that sports. Yeah,
Okay.
I played sports, but yeah.
How about we take super chats? Because
Okay.
we definitely went way longer than we normally do. Because I thought, why not? You know, it's very rare opportunity to have Alex Jones and Michael Mouse.
Well,
at the same time.
yes, absolutely. I hope we did a good job.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, let's see. I'll try. Look, we've got way too many super chats.
Hey, I'm here as long as you want.
Well,
I'm not.
I'm going to sleep in the car back to DC.
I gotta be up
from
at-
Missouri.
I got to be up
That's
at
right.
7 a.m. and
It's a long
so
way.
Me too.
so. Let's just read some of these super chats. Lonesome has a question. Alex, why didn't you show up on Joe Rogan's on election night? Would have been hilarious to see Kyle Kalinske spurg out.
Okay, I'm not going to lie here on air. I invited myself, and then Joe said, do you really want to come on? You invited yourself. And I said, no, I'm not going to invite myself because I had my own crew and my own live show. I was doing a band video. And then Joe said, I'm going to come on your show within 2 weeks, and 2 weeks has passed, but I got to call Joe. He's coming on my show soon.
Right
Awesome.
on.
I invited myself also, and he didn't follow up.
Oh, yeah?
Not
Boo.
kidding.
Tribe and Clan says, Alex, for God's sakes, let Michael spend just 3 uninterrupted minutes telling us how we can get rid of state monopolies and governments enslaving the masses.
Okay, 3 minutes. Do it.
3 words. 3 words.
I honestly,
That's it. I'm not kissing your ass.
I don't feel you were interrupting me excessively at all today.
No, it's
at
great.
all.
Good
So I hope you don't have that impression.
I love you.
I love you
Hey,
more. I love you. That was early on.
we have
Knock,
a.
knock.
This is good. This is good. Amenthi says DMT elves are real, and I am one.
Oh.
No, that's not true.
No, really?
Oh,
She's not
that
one.
She's
Oh, that's
not
bummer.
one.
They're not on YouTube.
Voltic says have Steven Crowder as the next guest. Well, but the issue is he produces his show, and so like getting someone to travel outside.
That's like crossing the streams. That's usually bad.
It's not going to work.
No, it's cool, but
Unless you're fighting Congressman Gozer.
Yeah.
Do you think Gozer was hot? I've had this argument with friends.
Gozer.
Yeah.
Oh, the actress. The
Yes.
woman?
The tranny.
What?
Well, that's
What?
a hot.
You can't say that on YouTube.
Well, that's a new word you can't say.
That's another word.
Do you
can't
think
say.
Gozer
The
was hot?
transgender Gozer. I would marry Gozer.
Gozer was hot. Would you not agree?
I haven't
Gozer,
seen
the
Ghostbusters in,
traveler.
like, a very, very long
Super
time.
Gozer, the destructor.
Yeah.
You have
She's
chosen
super
the Stay
hot.
Puft Marshmallow Man.
Huh.
The
Let me
Stay
pull up
Puft Marshmallow
Gozer.
Kind of
Man.
like Grace Jones.
Now the Marshmallow Man. Now,
Let's
now.
let's fact. That's Gozer.
You mean
Gozer
do you mean
takes
Anna
on
Navarro?
the body
Oh
of
my
that.
The
gosh.
Sumerian shapeshifting
Yeah,
god?
look, she's
Yeah, she's fine.
so hot. Do you not think she's hot?
I want to marry Gozer.
What on earth?
She
My
be-
friend thinks she's
Avatar of
hideous.
Gozer.
I mean,
She-
the
he
weird
becomes-
teeth and like.
I get it's
gone-
edgy.
It's
So you're
edgy.
saying-
It's edgy.
Gozer,
Yeah,
the traveler. Gozer, the destroyer. Gozer.
You don't think Gozer's hot?
What is it? The key master? Was that the thing?
Key master.
And the ring something, ring bearer or something.
Yeah, that was
She's
Rick
gone.
Moranis.
So you're saying thumbs down on Gozer?
Oh
But
yeah,
not
into it.
smashed. Okay.
Little gone. Little gone.
Well, now you've not said you're attracted to this. That's actually a thought crime. Say you want Gozer.
No.
No.
We have. This is
Gozer, the Gozerian. Gozer, the traveler.
Wait.
Canadian Greg. Has a super
Oh,
chat.
that's my. He's a sport of mine.
This is Greg. Alex Jones. You should go on Michael Malice's show. You're welcome. You
Yeah.
guys would do a great show together without Tim Pool. I agree. I was the
true,
worst
though.
part of this whole thing.
For sure.
Oh, that's
You
not
guys
true.
would be
That's
talking.
Lydia.
I'm kidding.
Me and Michael Malice are getting married tonight. We're going to Las Vegas.
It's true. You guys have fun.
I do.
We're in Missouri. We're flying to Vegas.
Big play.
Here we go.
Vapors.
Oh my
I love your
gosh.
house in Missouri, by the way.
Thank you.
Steven Sauer says, I would like to make a wager. If Trump's legal team carries him into the deadline with no certified winner, then Tim has to remove his beanie on TimCast IRL. I will give a $50 super chat otherwise.
50.
Wait, if Trump's legal team carries him to the deadline with no certified winner? I'm not agreeing to any of these.
By the way, everyone thinks there's actually like a robot machinery up here.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. That's why I talk
seen
so
it.
like monotone and fast, and
It's
you
true.
know.
Danger, Will Robinson.
I thought it was a bowl of
Yep.
pho.
Oh, I hate
attack
pho.
fleet.
Not a fan.
No, it's not.
That's how you
fun.
cover it up.
Silent Raiders attack. Silent
Look at this.
Raiders attack.
Here's a super chat. Pan says Tim Pool breaking the Great Reset and AJ in one episode. Here's towards the next beanies, sir.
Heck
America,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
I did a segment on the Great Reset because I saw people talking
Dude,
about
why
it
don't you sell beanies? Beanie Nation.
because COVID shut down the beanie factory.
Oh yeah. We're working
Not
on
if you
it.
go to podcastmerch.com. We have your welcome beatings available for sale and
Oh,
T-shirts.
Really?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are
Sorry
they
about
like?
it.
Listen, man.
We need high quality.
I actually
beanies.
almost nixed them because I think they're so declassé, but I'm letting
You
them
can like
go.
bless them like the TV preachers, like a prayer cloth.
Why don't you sell tinfoil hats?
I'm going to start actually. Look at that. You want?
I have Super Male Vitality.
Give me
It
that.
does help
I'm
me
going to
with
make
my
Tim a
boners.
tinfoil hat. Give me another one.
Someone
Give me a
said,
tinfoil.
somebody said, Tim, F your aluminum foil. You just made like $5,000 in super chats, man.
We
Yeah.
can replace the aluminum foil. I think we'll be okay.
I
Tom-
guarantee you can sell this for $100,000.
I'm not going to sell tinfoil.
Oh, I will.
It's aluminum foil. It's not
That's
tin.
perfect.
Tinfoil.
Tinfoil. Oh, you broke it.
Oh no.
It's broken.
No, it's fine.
Too smart.
You jinxed it. Stop
We
it.
really are going to run out of tinfoil.
Raul says Jones, Malice, and Poole. Christmas comes early. Lids
We're
is
the-
greater than young Jamie.
We're the three wise men.
Three
You're
wise
welcome.
men. You know, maybe this is the one big last hurrah of TimCast IRL, huh?
Perfect.
Yeah, no. Jamie can fact check whether I'm wearing a tinfoil hat.
There you go.
Can we? Angel Chang says, can we have Alex Jones play some Demon Souls?
What's Demons?
How does
Oh,
that
the
work?
video
Game.
game. It's a video game.
Oh, here we go. BD says, now that we know Tim is in Missouri, 4chan can pull a LaBeouf on him. Tim will not divide
Oh
us.
my gosh.
Yeah, but where in Missouri? That's the thing we'll never find.
Right outside Kansas City.
342 Evergreen Terrace.
That's right. Indeed it is.
That's
Am
North
I-
Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
Am I
I'm
supposed
pretty sure that's what they said, right? They
They
said-
all said Missouri, depending on what they had different versions of the
It's
episode.
just
there was an
dubstep,
episode where they
Michael.
said this North Kentuckian.
No,
family.
but they also
They changed
aired it. It says Missouri in different parts of the country simultaneously. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. It was very
I'll
smart.
say this.
Oh, boy.
This is the show me state.
Yeah.
What are you going to show us, Alex?
No, we're here. Missouri.
Rad KB says, thank you for hosting this show with these characters. I really appreciate it. I hope you can all split a nice dinner together and joke about how others laugh at your ability to share your space with others. There we go. Well, after we leave, Michael has to educate me on the elves and the elders. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I have the documents.
Okay,
but hey,
cool.
if you haven't already, smash that like button.
Please
You
do.
know,
Smash it, baby.
I'm not sure how much it
More
matters.
questions.
considering
We're not
gonna-
in this yet. We got to keep going.
No, no.
I know. I'm
Oh,
just
God,
saying.
Talk to the
Just
audience.
saying.
This is always
Stay in
bad.
attack formation.
That's my favorite part of the show. What does that say? Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always death.
I love it.
S-Head says, Facebook just gave me a 30-day ban for posting the guy's name. Apparently, his name incites and coordinates violence.
Yep.
That's the guy we can't name. Yeah.
Still on Facebook.
So this is funny. There's only so many super chats YouTube can actually track, and it's deleted like an hour and a half worth of super
yeah,
chats
yeah.
already. That's crazy.
Good for you.
Makes me mad.
Pete
So they
Fly-
still have banned that guy's name.
Yeah.
I'm not
Still
surprised.
is.
Well, it would take work to unban it. So it's kind of like you know when you block someone on
Just
Twitter,
lazy.
they think you're holding the block button. You have to press it once; it stays blocked.
So we need to fact check this. Jacob Hawley says the court in Pennsylvania just ordered the ballots that came in after 8 to be thrown out and order recount. Check Dr.
Pennsylvania?
Steve Turley's new video.
wow.
So you wanna
Well, the
look here about-
Supreme Court already ruled last week, or Alito did, that they have to separate them. So that's big news if that's true.
So, former Ghost says, I see Tim once again strategically positioned guests with the background pictures. Rogan, nervous, side-eye Jones. Well played, Poole, well played.
funny.
No, it's just we got it's George Alexopoulos, right, George?
Yeah, George Alexopoulos.
G Prime 85 on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's his art. It's
On
amazing,
Google.
and it's just that we have it on the wall.
On Twitter.
Why
Oh,
did you choose Missouri, though,
Hold on.
of all the states?
Isn't it the land of 1,000 lakes or whatever? 10,000 lakes or something?
That's Minnesota.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
it's
be
Minnesota.
I'm gonna be doing a graphic novel of that screenplay I wrote in 2003. So if people want to tweet me your portfolios because I will be hiring you.
Oh,
another
cool. Very cool.
Tim, here you
So
go.
it-
It's another Tim Ball hat.
All right, just there you go.
Tinfoil hat.
You got to autograph it. Let's see. Zachary P says Trump just dropped an executive order on CCP takeover to WhiteHouse.gov.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
that.
yeah, Communist Party.
Yeah,
Interesting,
the company.
Let me tell you, it's on. It's a revolution, guys. We're sitting there having fun. This is a real war for the country.
I really definitely hope he doesn't nuke California.
I definitely do that as well.
Please, sir, don't detonate it and have it fall off in the ocean.
Yeah, it'd be terrible. I hate to see that. That
Don't
makes
use
me
the
very
neutron
sad.
bombs.
You wouldn't win all 49 states immediately.
Please don't drop neutron bombs. Oh.
JP McGlone says, I would love it if Alex Jones could do a shout out to my good friend John Lapis. It would make his year.
Oh, my God, I dated John Lapis for a long time.
Yeah, we all wondered about him.
John Lapis, I'm lapping up your love.
Oh my goodness.
He's got the gravy.
Gracious.
We have,
The real gravy.
That's
let's
a
see,
shout out.
Man, gravy.
Xto Sinum says, Alex Jones, will you run for president?
Only if Tim Pool would be the president, I'll be the vice president.
Would you be involved with Kanye, Rogan, Tim if we did a political movement?
No.
Does a bear go potty in the woods?
I'm not
That's
doing a
right.
political
I would
movement.
have a
I'm
pot.
dragging you along.
My political movement would be Tim Pool runs away from the political movement. and
I'll
hides.
actually like that idea.
Yeah, it's like George Washington, man. You got to force him into power.
All right.
I'd be like Ron Paul. I'd be like, I will do nothing. Like,
Dr.
just no
No.
matter what someone said, I'd be like,
Not going to
no.
do the jokes.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to use my
Jokes.
power
I
to
got
do
in
that.
trouble. I got in trouble when he had his stroke, and I said he's still the
Aw.
most articulate libertarian.
I thought that was fake news when it first happened. He was like actually having a stroke on
Yeah,
TV.
it was sad.
Have we seen Ron Paul since
I
then?
love that meme of the libertarian ideals and libertarian,
Libertarian, yeah,
candidates.
yeah.
And it's this beautiful
fox.
fox, and the other one's like this scraggly looking
Stuffed
Muppet.
animal, yeah.
Taxidermy.
You know, it's funny because, man, libertarians don't agree on much. Like, they're always fighting with each other, aren't they?
Well, any kind of little fringe group, like the Communist Party of America, they're going to be fighting over these really random things.
Hey, I've been well behaved though. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think this is like a 9.5.
Doing pretty well.
I'm glad you
Doing
judge yourself that
No,
way.
no. Oh,
If I had to grade myself, I'd give myself a 9.5.
Gandalf,
Yeah.
how do I do?
I like it. I want to go deep.
Jesse Winter says, it's amazing. I dropped out of college to work for a general contractor, and I get more done in 8 hours than my college degree friends do in a week.
We didn't ask for your life story.
Oh my
That
god.
was true.
There's a lot of super chats I'm just not reading because they're like, this is a good episode. I enjoyed
Thank you.
myself.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you.
for
How many
chipping in.
viewers we have? We want to make this the #1 Tim Pool
It was.
episode.
It is.
By far.
Well, it's the highest concurrent viewership, but not the most viewers so far.
But it will be.
It probably will be, yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, definitely.
We'll read the numbers when we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always
Infowars.com.
I think the peak viewership we had was like 160 something thousand.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
folks forget, though, they're like, at grocery stores, like, I used to love you on YouTube. We have band.video. We have millions of views a day. We are kicking butt. We had to build our own infrastructure, which is the future. Infowars.com has been updated, band.video.
And you can find him on Twitter at twitter.com/Michael Malice.
Yeah, you can. You sure
That's
can.
right.
Yeah. That's
You
Alex
can't find them
Jones.
on Twitter or anywhere else.
Or malice.
No, I'm just saying, we built our own thing.
That's true. They did, yeah.
Sam Whitfield says, Alex Jones, Michael Malice, and Tim Pool, 3 of my favorites all together on the same podcast. Thank you so much for the early Christmas present. God bless you all.
It's Hanukkah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Come on.
By the way, you know I'm going to rip this off and have a floating plant cam
It's amazing.
just on YouTube.
But have
You know
plants that are
what we're
better
actually
than
going to do is I got a 360 camera we're going to put right in the middle of the.
You better. This is
Yeah, because-
incredible.
I know.
this.
He's a
Those
huge
plants
fan.
bother me as a succulent person.
Feels like Close
Yeah.
Encounters.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you a
yeah,
succulent?
look
Look
at it, I
up
don't know.
Boophony, Boo.
Why are you succulent?
Because they say they're God's mistakes.
I know the
I
plant's
love
called
that.
a succulent, but you're a succulent person.
here we got an odd number
gosh,
super chat here.
Michael.
Boophone.
Okay.
Look this up.
Okay,
No, we
I
could
will-
put it on
oh,
the screen
oh.
for a plant to get.
He's looking at the super chat.
And Antone
sorry.
Maxon says, is it possible 45 is the last president? No one can
No.
understand what 46 says, and others just don't care. You guys become the new media, and Senate Council Order of the United States begins with 49 to 51, or 50-50 lock.
Let me answer this.
Well, there's a little bit more. States take full control, and we flip between progressive rule and conservative rule.
Let me say this first. You go. I'm going to say this. Listen, I don't just say this for effect. Joe Biden sold out to foreign interest. He is a foreign agent. Even if he'd won the election,
Manchurian candidate.
I would be against him as a Manchurian candidate, but he clearly lost. There's a lot of evidence of fraud. You can debate that all day. But he literally, with all the evidence that's come out, he's compromised. Yes, this is the end of the republic or the rebirth. We've never been in a moment. This is important, unless we were 1776, July 4th. So, yes, this is an incredibly historic moment, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not trying to be mean or theatrical. I do not agree. I think America is much stronger than people realize. I think 1876 was a crazy election, or 72, whatever it was.
It was 76 where the council just appointed the president.
Basically, they had dueling electors, the Civil
Yeah.
War.
But we didn't have nuclear weapons in communist China. And
Sure, but I think we're in a good position regardless of what happens. In terms of it being the last president, I think that's an absurdity. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. I agree.
And
But
I think you would agree with that too.
no, I agree. It's not the last president. I'm saying we've never had a president that literally sold us out for $5 million to China. At least do it for a couple billion. I mean,
Seriously.
I mean,
I was just in the National Portrait Gallery today, and you have photos of FDR sitting right next to Stalin.
yeah, but that was Malta. Or
Yeah, but the point is,
Yalta, whatever.
I mean, we've had these really bad people who've been solding out to like really other bad people. Is my point.
I think Biden is bad, but
He's not as bad as some of these others.
I mean, Clinton was bad too.
But
What about Clinton? The impeachment started in the 90s, and Alex will back me up, precisely because of Chinese involvement in the U.S. election.
I agree. But let's
of
go back and let's talk about
1992.
it. But let's
Really?
go back a
Yes.
year ago. Let's go back a year ago. We already talked about this before the show went live.
Don't trust me. Look this up.
Just real quick, Lord Malice. Let me tell you this. I'm already banned on Facebook, but a year and a half ago, we put a meme out with him not being able to talk. We said he had another stroke.
Yeah.
He had a stroke before. We played the clip of him saying, they took my brain out, they cut the top of my head off. It was him saying it. They banned me and said, don't say nice things about Alex Jones for that quote. Dude, you can take him out of context. He doesn't know what planet he's on. How are they putting this 78-year-old?
Because they already Nancy Pelosi already had the press conference about Amendment
25th
25
Amendment, yep.
and the panel who will decide, and everybody's been saying it's for Joe Biden. And Kamala
Of
Harris
course.
is going to be. And then you had that thing that was really funny where if you ask Siri how old the president is, it told you Kamala Harris's
Is that
age.
true?
Yeah.
Did it.
But
And,
there's-
and a whole bunch of ads, they call her President Kamala Harris. That's why Siri was trained to say that. Because Joe Biden says it, she says it.
That's why I don't know if we have the no.
Siri, who is the
We-
vice president-elect?
Every-
They'll say Joe Biden.
Everybody knows, or I'm sorry, everybody believes Kamala Harris is the actual president.
I don't think.
Yeah, they
that-
kept
no, no.
calling
think
her.
so.
They kept calling her President Kamala Harris.
I don't think she's the one calling the shots. I think there's people behind Biden calling the
Obviously,
shots. But it's not
there's
her.
puppet controllers.
Yeah, but it's not her.
But then why are they
Right.
trying something that's so dangerous?
Because they were scared of Bernie. That's what I think.
So they're
And they were
desperate.
right to be scared of Bernie because the corporate interests of the Democratic Party regarded, not incorrectly, Bernie to be a real threat to their hegemony.
Interesting. Then why did but Bernie sold out real quick, huh?
I think Bernie's too much of a wild card for them.
But Bernie did sell out.
Oh, he did sell out. He
Yeah.
sold out in 2016
His positions
also.
flipped to a ridiculous degree.
What a weak man.
White people
Yeah, what a
don't
weak
know
man.
what it's like to be poor.
Yes.
My favorite is when he used to say the millionaires and the billionaires in this country.
And then he
he
hit millionaire.
Then he looked at his pocketbook and went, I mean, just the billionaires, just them, just not the millionaires.
What
anymore.
about when he sold out Hillary, endorsed her, said you
Yeah.
vote for her, and this past year she goes, no one likes him and he's got nothing
Yeah.
done. She's such a petty, petty woman. I
No,
love that.
Bernie's
about her.
just
Hillary's
weak.
not a good person.
I
Bernie-
said petty. I didn't say not that person.
She's a
Bernie's
horrible
just
person.
weak. He's a weak.
Hey,
weak man.
more super chat questions.
Oh boy.
All right, let's see. What do we got here? What do we got?
Molly and Tim Pool Studio with Mr. Malice.
Yeah, you remembered.
This
Yeah.
is
Any-
your
Mr.
name.
Menace.
You've been on my show a bunch.
Jair Franco says, any hope for Julian Assange?
You know, that's Trump's biggest black eye.
Yep.
Is that he said famously, I don't care who's got it, the Russians, a guy in his basement, or Julian Assange released it. So Julian Assange put him in the White House, and Trump crapped on him. If Trump loses his election and goes down, it's because he didn't stand up for Julian Assange.
I want him to pardon Julian Assange and Russ Ulbricht. Those are the two big ones.
Edward Snowden?
I don't know enough about him.
I'd
I
like
think
to see
Snowden
Russ
should be.
Ulbricht.
Listen,
I think Russ Ulbricht should get pardoned.
He's the
too.
he's
Of
the
course.
he's the Dread Pirate Roberts.
yeah, they're
supposedly.
exposing criminal
Right.
activity
Silk
like
Road.
the Pentagon Papers, Daniel Ellsberg. They should be released.
All right. Megalith says, best episode bar none. Love the talk about how you each pursued the things that you loved. Authenticity is very important and very rare these days.
Well, we're just phonies.
Let's see. More super chats.
No, we had like a 10-hour meeting to script every part of this earlier.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we went
Let's
wildly
see.
off script.
He wrote all the
Dan
knock knock
says-
jokes for me.
Alex, please give my friend Kyle Christmas a shout out for his birthday. Thank you.
Where's the camera? I'll do it for Kyle Christmas.
There you go. You got it.
That camera right there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kyle, this is for you.
Oh,
it's-
terribly.
it's like 9/11.
Dynamic. Oh my
down
gosh.
Daji says, Tim, thank you for introducing me to Michael Malice and having Alex Jones on.
Woo.
It's a great show tonight. I don't want it to end, but it's we're getting to that
We
point.
gotta.
I gotta
Please,
get up early.
please
you know?
join my sleeper cell at malice.locals.com.
Yeah, we're coming up on 4 hours and 10 minutes. We got to do 10 more minutes.
3.5
4
hours. 3.5
Jeez,
hours.
dude, yeah.
We do 10 more minutes, we win.
Something have to drive me to my hotel.
Oh, I think we're about ready.
All right, fine. I appreciate you. Hey, I love being here, Cottage in the Woods. I love being here. No one visit Band
Elevated,
Video.
too.
Band Video.
Very Blair Witch.
Band Video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really.
So, wow. I have no idea what's going on half the time with this conversation. But
Well,
I
I
thought it
hope
was
this.
fun
I hope this happens again, and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man.
The great thing is, I love all the lovely ladies around here.
Yeah, I gotta.
Can you stop calling me that for 5
I
minutes?
gotta be honest. Like there were a bunch of things I actually wanted to ask that
Ask him now.
we never got to. So
We'll
let's
have to have him back.
Do it.
No,
Fast-
we'll go for it right now.
Fast questions.
I'll just.
He's not coming back.
We'll just do this. We'll do. We'll
I'll come back.
No,
will,
it's
yeah.
not up to you.
I'm going to marry Tim. Okay?
I think we did hit on enough of them, but one of them
Tim
was
Pool
that
Jones.
I thought it was interesting that when Donald Trump first started running, you had him on saying he was the real deal. You know, you're talking about the globalists and these interests, and then you bring on Donald Trump. Many people saw him as his big billionaire. I thought it was really interesting that was kind of a thrust for you into his mainstream position, where they started calling Donald Trump the conspiracy theory president, and your support of him. And now we're kind of on the back end of that. And I was just wondering, what your thoughts on all that?
great
Was Trump,
question.
I can tell you the thinking on that. Trump's dad was in the John Birch Society, acted like a liberal, super right wing. Trump grew up with, the lawyer that was from the House Un-American Activities Committee,
Roy Cohn.
Roy Cohn. So he was Alex Jones before Alex Jones was born. And so Trump already knew who I was. He knew that back then, before I was censored, I mean, my God, we had like 20 million viewers a day on the internet. I mean, like, it was ridiculous. It's still big. But there was like 5-6 billion views on one channel, 4 billion, 2 billion on another. And so just on YouTube. So they really knew back then. So he came in, he asked to come on the show. I did it. And he got the alignment he was doing to get that core base to do it. And then with Stephen Miller and so many others, they were already listeners. Miller, back when he was in high school, was a listener. And so much the State Department, the guys he brought in, I met with a lot of them. They were listeners when they were in high school to me in college. And so really the ideological system for Trump was, oh, I like Alex Jones. My dad told me all this. He was just kind of the playboy guy. And so it wasn't that I invented his operating system. I was already there. And so they went to those rallies, and like back then, a third of the people, sometimes half, were wearing InfoWars shirts. And so they saw that, and so they just said, listen to that. They would write the speeches off my show. The left saw that and freaked out and thought I was running Trump. It wasn't true. And that's when they went thermonuclear, just totally insane, like InfoWars is banned in the White House and all that. And so that's what really happened in the whole situation with Trump.
Interesting. You want to give a shout out to, let me see here. Where was it? Where did the names just disappear? Oh, there we go. Give a shout out to Austin, Nathan, Fred, and in a separate super chat, Kirill.
Austin, Nathan,
and
Cyril.
Fred.
It's probably Cyril.
It was
Fred.
a K though.
Yeah, or Kirill. Okay,
And
yeah.
Cyril?
Russian.
Kirill?
and Carol.
So
Yeah.
one's asking for a shout out for their buddies Austin, Nathan, and Fred,
Austin, Nathan, Fred, we salute you.
and then someone else asked for Kirill.
For those that are about to die, we salute you.
Kirill.
And let's see. What is this? Message from. I'm not going to read that.
Read it. Come on. What does it say?
Not Gay Gaming says message for Michael Malice. Michael, I'm not gay.
Good to know.
Excellent to know.
And let's see.
I am gay.
Oh, boy. Big
I am gay.
declaration.
I'm happy.
Me too.
The old English.
Last one.
Happy to have men
Last
dead
one.
balls in my face.
The Axelberry says, what will happen to the U.S. if there's another strict lockdown?
It'll cause more depression, more suicides, more problems, but will chain reaction, millions starving to death in the third world, the UN's own numbers, I agree with them. So it's just an absolute crime against humanity. It's not COVID-19 causing a lockdown that causes death. It's the hysteria and fear of COVID-19 that's causing the death.
I think it would be. I would think we would see a huge rise of states' rights and governors acting defiantly.
Yeah.
The last time we've seen that was with marijuana laws, where they legalized marijuana in blatant defiance of the federal government.
I totally agree. I don't want Trump to be pushed out fraudulently, but the sick part of me, if Joe Biden gets in and tries lockdowns, it's rebellion central. I mean, you're talking cuckoo land, man.
Well, gentlemen, this has been weird, but fun.
use that word.
Let's get
Okay,
ready
fine.
to rumble.
This has been
Unusual
unusual,
and unprecedented.
but
Tim,
interesting.
put on the beanie, put the tinfoil beanie for everybody.
Never going to happen.
See, I'll be silly.
Oh, man.
But anyway, everybody, thanks so much for hanging out. And
guys.
we're
Are you glad you invited me? I'm glad to be here.
well, yeah.
Yes, of course.
Why'd you
So-
pause? No reason.
Well, no. What I was going to say is, it was actually that I tweeted it out in response to the Rogan thing, and then I actually had someone reach out to me saying, "Do you really want to have Jones on?" And I was like, I was screwing around.
My
but
producer, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, I guess. And then you called me, and the first time I'd ever talked to you. And I got to be honest, I don't watch I never watched. I know about your stuff. I watched a little bit, just because it existed.
You've seen boil downs.
What was that?
Little boil downs.
No, I remember, in the 2000s, like going to Prison Planet and being like, "What's this?" and then thinking you were nuts.
But
know
you
what I mean?
said you went to an Endgame showing, too.
Yeah, it was in Seattle. It was crazy. It was not too long after like the loose change era, right?
Yeah.
There was-
Endgame, Blueprint, Global Enslavement.
Yeah,
Free
yeah.
on YouTube
It was
still.
packed. It was this venue some guy rented, and there was hundreds of people in it. It was nuts. And that was when I lived in Seattle, and I didn't know a whole lot about it. But I was like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, man, thanks for coming on. I'm sure.
Hey, when I was like attacking Bush, I never had problems because Bush was horrible, a warmonger, evil. And then Obama, it was okay. Then I backed Trump. All I've had is hell since then. I basically can barely pay the bills since then. But it's okay. I told the truth. I'm glad to be revolutionary. And I just think like Trump is better than Bush and better than Obama for war. And I don't know how anybody says that's not true.
And that's
Well-
the most important issue, not killing people.
yeah. Well, I'm pretty tired, so
All right.
thanks
Well,
for-
Tim, thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to all of the weird hit pieces that come out and the out of
Banned on
context clips.
video.
And,
Banned on video.
I see that, But anyway, everybody, if you haven't already, you can.
No, just repudiate me now. Just say you are a piece of shit. Jim.
Everything
Let's
Alex
watch the
Jones said on
language.
this show was wrong. I never agreed with him one time at all for anything.
This was a dare.
And any reason.
Yeah.
It was
I
all-
repudiate him.
This is all actually a scripted comedy show.
Yeah.
Everything was a joke.
Parody
and-
purposes.
For parody purposes. That's right. And that's why I brought on Michael Malice here to help produce and absolve me of any and all responsibility.
Mrs. Temple.
Yes, indeed.
Someday.
Make sure to subscribe. Smash the like button. We do the show Monday through Friday live at 8 p.m. We're going to have another show tomorrow live at 8 p.m. And you can come and hang
It's
out.
gonna suck.
I mean, compared to this, it's not fair. That's mean to the guests we're going to have
Who is
on.
it? What-
Maybe.
We don't
guests
announce.
tomorrow.
but we
Hey,
have
this
cool
has
guests.
been great. Thanks for the
They're not
courage.
gonna be cool.
I really love both of you guys.
No, they're
Big
cool.
fans of both
Okay.
of you.
Yeah, there.
You've been on my show like 10 times.
Yes, sir.
Hey, by the way, you're coming on.
I'm never leaving this place.
He doesn't have any legs.
No, but you can do
Yeah,
it
I have
online.
legs.
You already did another show before me.
I want to get Tim
No, I didn't.
down
What do you mean?
to
said
Austin.
you were
Oh,
doing-
my show. So I do my morning
Tim,
reporting.
just come on my show.
I want Alex. Maybe we can have Tim down to shoot guns. You can teach him how to shoot.
I'm not-
And we'll do a mini doc.
There's no. But listen, the issue is that I work from 8 to 4.
No, I totally agree.
Then I eat. No, but we could. We'll figure it out.
Doing your own thing's okay, but I want you to at least Skype in for my show.
I don't have Skype.
Man, someone doesn't know how to take no for an
You'll
answer.
Zoom then.
Don't. Oh, definitely not Zoom.
He's like Harvey Weinstein.
I did.
Doesn't hear right now.
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Do you
announce-
mind, like I'm showering, kind of like lava, like a little sponge?
You want to know? You want to know how I just did the Ben Shapiro show? I recorded myself on a camera, had someone drive the memory card to send it.
He actually did.
83 gigs.
That's what I meant, though. I'm jealous. Like
I've never done
Shapiro's
Ben Shapiro.
God. You do Shapiro, but not me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Shapiro.
I've been on with Paul Joseph Watson before after the Sweden stuff.
Paul's a big fan of you.
No, we'll get it sorted. We'll figure it out. But I got to be completely honest. I really, at a certain point, stopped doing anything with anybody.
No, it makes sense. A lot of stuff's BS. I totally agree. But Watson's good. I'm good. It doesn't matter. I'm glad to be here. I love your place here in Missouri. And it's a beautiful area here.
Appreciate it. If you are, if this is your first time watching, don't forget to subscribe. But you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Parler at TimCast. You can check out my other channels, YouTube.com/TimCast and YouTube.com/TimCastNews. And Michael, do you want to mention your show?
Klaus Schwab loves us. He's going to lock us down.
Twitter.com/Michael Malice and malice.locals.com. And YouTube.com/Michael Malice Official. You've been a guest on my show as well.
Yeah, that's right. That was fun. And of course, you can follow Ian, who's
Yeah, interdimensional energy is real. You can follow the vibration all along the Higgs field. And Ian Crossland everywhere.
and of course producer Lydia.
Sour Patch Lids.
Correct. Wait,
Yay,
I forgot.
Lydia.
Yeah.
It's a long night.
All right.
I imagine
I'm
we're
going to fall asleep in the car from Missouri.
So
Right.
so
Do it.
thanks everybody for hanging out. And now I have to spend a few minutes where I get educated by Michael about the elders and stuff. So
Elves.
Just don't
Elves,
visit
yes.
band.video. Band.video.
That's right.
we'll see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye, guys.
Everything band is advanced.